Sima Yu glanced at him, not afraid that he would be angry. Are you so certain that I won't be angry at you? Deja slapped her hand away while many pairs of eyes were watching. Yes. She answered confidently. She wasn't angry despite her hand being slapped as she passed him her handkerchief. Deja took the handkerchief as he wiped the blood from the corner of his lips, with the fresh scar still hurting. I wasn't returning his past favors, I just didn't want to forget the little warmth from that year. Deja explained. I know. Sima Yu understood how he felt. His life was filled with darkness, hopelessness, and loneliness before he met Yuko Luo. Third Elder D should have given him a good life as his grandfather. He should have been the one protecting him, but it would be hard under those circumstances. Also, he didn't want to forget those times too, as it was still his past even though it was dark. Thank you. Deja thanked her for standing up for him and for understanding him. You don't have to thank me, but what is up with Meng Ruji? Sima Yu asked. Meng Ruji is one of Ghost Concubine's men and he is also Meng clan's second in command. We found out that he was helping the Ghost Concubine to contact the prince from below, so we killed him. The D clan's finances has always been reliant on the Meng clan. Deja didn't explain much, but Sima Yu understood what was going on. The Meng clan would not let this matter go since he had killed Meng Ruji. However, they couldn't do anything to Deja, so they vented their anger on the D clan by restricting them financially. Even though the D clan was very angry at Deja after learning about it, he wasn't the little boy whom anyone could bully, he was now the killing god. Anyone who got on his nerves had to be careful. No one from D clan dared to approach him except for Third Elder D. Third Elder D is fine, he will go out to take a breather from time to time. He is easily persuaded by others. But he always thought that he had a say in the clan, that's why such a thing happened. D Lu added in a soft voice. Deja shot a glare at him that he stiffened up and muttered to himself, wondering why he had to comment so much. Are the finances in the Meng clan that great? Sima Yu questioned. Yes, they are the biggest business clan in Imperial Capital. 1/3 of the businesses in Imperial Capital belong to the Meng clan. Deja said. Sima Yu muttered, no one could beat his willfulness since he dared to kill the second in command of such a clan. Do you intend to deal with the Meng clan as well? Although it sounded like she was asking, her voice sounded confident. Yes. Deja admitted, Ghost Concubine's finances are heavily dependent on the Meng clan. We will first have to deal with the Meng clan before we can deal with Ghost Concubine. Since it has to do with dealing with Ghost Concubine, let me know if there's anything I can do. Sima Yu said. I won't and I don't intend to stand on ceremony. Deja said. Are you not going to thank me? Do I really have to? You thanked me earlier on. Everyone lowered their head as they laughed, seeing how she ran her mouth. No one had ever witnessed Deja like this. They could tell that he was very happy being with her. Di Lu was right, Sima Yu was special in Deja's heart. Greetings to Princess. They came over and greeted Sima Yu. The few of you must be the brains of the D clan's army, right? Di Lu told me about it. Sima Yu lifted her hand and everyone stood up. Princess, it's been a while. Although Master Ghost was hiding in a cloak, those who knew him could tell that he sounded happy. Ghost Master, it's been a while, how are you? Sima Yu smiled as she responded. She felt lament towards Ghost Master. It wasn't a good experience seeing him when they met the very first time, as it triggered the Ghost clan blood in her when he tried to restrict her body, which made her fell into a coma. That coma led to Su Jin and Gulang being trapped for years as they went into Lost Place to look for a solution for her after knowing about her condition. The second time they met was in the Immortal Land, where they went through life and death together because of what happened. He was very sincere to Deja and made Deja accept him. Seeing him again was like seeing an old acquaintance. Ghost Master, you came back early. Did you kill Meng Ruhai? De asked. Of course, since when did the Ghost Master fail? Di Lu said smilingly. Not only did we kill him, we also killed those who came to rescue Ghost Concubine. The Ghost Master said. Meng Ruhai must be from the Meng clan, is he strong? How dare he attack Ghost Master? Sima Yu asked. Meng Ruhai and Meng Ruji must be from the same generation since their names were similar. Why did Ghost Master have to do it himself? Deja knew what she was thinking and explained, Meng Ruhai is the Meng clan's third in command, although he doesn't really care about what happens in the Meng clans, he is one of the strongest in that generation. Even the patriarch of the Meng clan can't match up to him. We sent Ghost Master to make sure everyone is safe. It seems like Meng Ruhai's status is very high in the Meng clan. Sima Yu rubbed her chin, you just killed Meng Ruji and now you killed Meng Ruhai, aren't you afraid that Meng clan will come for you? I'm waiting for them to come for me. How would I have the opportunity if they don't make a move? Deja said. I believe Ghost Concubine won't let this matter rest, seeing how she sent 2 elites to save Meng Ruhai. Now you're fighting with her, are you confident that you'll win? 30%, I guess. Deja said. Including the army I have on hand. Is Ghost Concubine that powerful? The Ghost clan's members were originally very strong. They developed a lot of forces with the help of Ghost Concubine and I suspect that they have support from the Hidden Clan. Deja said. Hidden Clan? Sima Yu was surprised. There were hidden clans in Human Realm and Ghost Realm, but it was surprising that these hidden clans would actually support Ghost Concubine. But come to think of it, they were all driven by benefits. It would be troublesome if the hidden clan participated. She was worried for Deja. She came across Human Realm's hidden clan's power and thought that the hidden clan in Ghost Realm wouldn't be any different, it would be troublesome if they had to deal with them. This is the time where I need your help. Me? Are you going to let me deal with the hidden clan alone? Sima Yu pursed her lips. That's not possible. You'll just have to do a little something. Deja became embarrassed as he spoke. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Comments. He needed her help. Sima Yu stared at him and huffed, did you do it on purpose? Did he bring her here on purpose so that she could witness all of this? Do I have to do this in order to get your help? Don't imagine things. Deja lightly slapped her head in the same way she did to him earlier in revenge. Sima Yu slapped his hand away and glared at him. Why did you put up an embarrassed face? n/o/vel/b/c//in.c//om. I was thinking that you could find MOU and get the MO clan to side with us so that they wouldn't side with Ghost Concubine. Deja felt embarrassed as he wasn't close to MOU. Are you saying that the MO clan is with the Ghost Concubine? Sima Yu cried in disbelief. Not really, but they helped Ghost Concubine with some things. Deja continued, we heard that the Ghost Concubine is trying to get the MO clan. Sima Yu recalled that when she met MOU, he said that he wanted to kill her because of the Ghost Concubine. However, she got away with it because she knew how to brew tea. I think MOU won't follow the Ghost Concubine. Sima Yu continued, he's not the kind that will serve anyone. Just in case. Di Lu continued, what if he changes his mind and agrees to it? I'll talk to him then, it's just that I don't know where he is now. Sima Yu continued, I don't even know if he will listen to me. He will. Since that bastard cared about her. Where is he then? I don't know, but he will come and look for you since he knows you're here. Who knows, he might already be in the imperial capital. Leave this to me then. Since I know you'll find him anyway. Sima Yu didn't take it to heart, for now, tell me about the situation while we continue walking around the courtyard. It'll be better for you to adapt to the environment if you know about how things run here, since you're staying in the palace. Just in case you don't know who's the enemy or not. Deja continued, let's go, we'll talk while we walk. Firstly, other than the Ghost Concubine, he has 17 other concubines apart from your grandmother. Of these 17 concubines, 10 of them always follow Ghost Concubine's order blindly. The others remain neutral. Deja explained. Wouldn't there be 19 including my grandmother and Ghost Concubine? Grandfather is such a womanizer. Sima Yu pressed her lips together, she would have destroyed his little brother if Wu Lingyu was like that. This is nothing. Deja continued, Qing Han has a few hundred of them. Alright, no harm if there wasn't any comparison. The king has hundreds of children, your mother is the youngest. There are 1,000 in our generation, but the older ones have been released. Only 70 or 80 of them are left in the imperial capital. These people have children but none of them are princesses. So you're currently the youngest princess. Deja continued. There are so many people, how long are you going to take to explain all of them? You should have a name list, just give it to me. Sima Yu said. Deja took out a name list, I knew you wouldn't have the patience, I've already prepared it. Sima Yu kept the name list and was ready to go back to study it. As for the forces that are outside the palace. Sima Yu looked around the general villa while Deja was explaining to her as they slowly went back. Deja sent her back to Youthful Palace while reminding her to be careful and to contact him in case of anything, before he left the palace. Young Princess, Wu Lingyu and the rest are back. The servant greeted her. Got it. Sima Yu went to the chamber where Wu Lingyu and Black Shadow were. Black Shadow and Huan were playing chess when she got there, while Wu Lingyu was trying to study something in the corridor. The three of them turned to her when they saw her walking in, how is the general villa? It's quite huge. Sima Yu nodded to them and went to Wu Lingyu, have you told them? They will let me know once they know where the Cardinal Point's divine seal is. Wu Lingyu nodded. What are you studying? I got an array when I went out, but it's damaged. I'm wondering if I can figure out what the completed version is. Wu Lingyu continued, since you're here, come and take a look together. Sure. Sima Yu looked at the disabling array on the floor as her eyes brightened, this is a killing array? That's right, it's one of the killing arrays of the top 10 primordial arrays. Wu Lingyu explained. Wow, how did you get this? Are there any other arrays? Sima Yu was so excited seeing the broken array on the floor, she almost jumped directly on it. Are you talking about the other arrays of the primordial era? Wu Lingyu shook his head looking at how she looked at him with hope, this is the only one. Alright, one is better than nothing. Sima Yu continued, let's try this array first. Alright. Wu Lingyu liked her attitude where she appreciated everything she had and didn't force things. Where did this array come from? Is there a hint or something? Sima Yu asked. No, they got it unexpectedly, there's only these disabling papers. Wu Lingyu passed her 2 pieces of paper that he left aside. Sima Yu took a look at the stained papers, each of them had drawings on a part of disabling, even if they put it together, they couldn't make out the whole proper array, they could only piece out into what Wu Lingyu drew but a lot of part in the middle was missed out. Sima Yu took a look at the drawings again, she knew it would be useless so she tried to figure it out on her own, so she put down the drawings and started studying it with Wu Lingyu. Wu Lingyu and Sima Yu studied it together and managed to get some hints since no one in the palace came to disturb her at this time, but it was still far from getting the whole array pieced together. Shi Yu came in and greeted Sima Yu, young princess, young highness Yu Hao is here. Yu Hao? Sima Yu blinked. Who is that? He's Highest Yu Du's posthumous child. Shi Yu answered. Yu Du's posthumous child? Seems like he who comes is surely ill-intended. Sima Yu stood up and dusted her hands off before she noticed the bruise on Shi Yu's face. Her face sunk. Did he do that? Yes. Shi Yu lowered her head. When the young highness came and this servant told him that the young princess was busy, he came to my palace and hit my people. Is he trying to tell me that I don't have anyone in the palace? Sima Yu held the thought that those who were left were those that served her mother. Mother didn't scold or hit anyone before, but Yu Hao hit her servant the moment he came here. How could he take her for granted? She sneered. Shi Yu, let's go and meet this young highness. Let me come with you. Wu Lingyu stood up. There's no need to. What can Yu Hao do in my palace? Sima Yu brought Shi Yu along right after she spoke. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Comments. Tip, you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Sima Yu led Yushi over to the main hall. Even before she got close, she heard loud groans of pain. Tell me, is that bitch, Sima Yu, hiding? Where is she hiding? This lord is going to give you one more chance. Tell me, where is that bitch hiding? Yu Hao sat on the chair, looking leisurely at the people in the house. Fei Nong stepped on Yang Hui's body. He exerted some force, and Yang Hui, who was lying on the ground, spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. I'd advise you to hurry up and tell me while his lordship is still in a good mood. Otherwise, you might lose your little life. Mo Lu was standing by the side as he said with a chuckle. Young princess, pft. Yang Hui. The moment Yushi came, she saw Yang Hui being stepped on and saw the house full of injured people. She cried out with shock before she hurriedly covered her mouth. However, she had still drawn the attention of everyone in the house. Wu Lu looked over and prepared to grab her when suddenly, a silhouette appeared in front of him. It was so quick that they didn't even manage to see it properly. By the time she stopped, Fei Nong had already been tossed out and he landed heavily on the wall before crashing onto the ground. Sima Yu stood beside Yang Hui and waved her hand, saying disdainfully, how arrogant. Yushi walked in and helped Yang Hui to stand. Everyone else in the palace helped to pick each other up as they bowed to Sima Yu, young princess, n/o/vel/b/in.c/in.c/om. Yushi, take them all down to treat their injuries. Sima Yu instructed. But young princess. There is no need for any of you to stay. Go down. Sima Yu said slowly. Yushi looked at Yang Hui, who was heavily injured, and handed him over to the palace maid beside her. She got her to bring him down as she stood behind Sima Yu. You are Sima Yu? Yu Hao stood up from his chair. You really grew to look so much like your flirtatious mother. Pa dash. Before anyone managed to see it clearly, Sima Yu had already returned to her original position while a fresh new handprint had appeared on Yu Hao's face. You bitch, you dared to hit me? Yu Hao cupped his face, completely stunned. Your Highness. Wei Lu and the others were shocked as well. In the entire ghost realm, even if his lordship merely sneezed, it would cause a great ruckus. He had never even suffered a minor injury since he was young, but Sima Yu had actually slapped him now. If Ghost Concubine knew about it, they would be punished as well. How dare you? Sang Ji cried out, attacking Sima Yu. Sima Yu dodged it and grabbed Sang Ji's hand with her right hand, such that Sang Ji couldn't move for a moment. I just don't understand. As the precious baby of Ghost Concubine, why would she let someone as weak as you become his personal bodyguard? Is she so certain that nobody would dare to touch you? She exerted a bit of force and Sang Ji was flung to the ground, heavily injured by a large boulder. Sang Ji. Wei Lu and Fei Nong saw that Sang Ji was defeated so easily and were flustered as they attacked Sima Yu together. Young princess, be careful. Yushi saw them attacking her and stepped forward to block Sima Yu, channeling her spirit energy to meet their attacks. Although Yushi wasn't weak, it was still draining on her to have to fight two people. However, when she thought of how Sima Yu was standing behind her, she forced herself not to retreat and continued to take on the attacks of the two men. Ugh dash. She could feel a burning sensation in her internal organs, however, she could not step aside nor could she retreat. Just as she felt like she could not handle it any longer, a hand landed on her shoulder. That hand was obviously gentle, and it was obviously only a light touch, but she felt an inexhaustible strength. Young princess. Sima Yu used some of the strength that she poured into her shoulder and leaped into the air. With a backflip, she flipped over Yushi and kicked Wei Lu and Nong Fei with each leg, sending the two of them flying. The two of them flew out the main door and landed in the courtyard. It caused all the guards outside to run over and they surrounded the entire courtyard. You should rest by the side. Sima Yu said to Yushi. Young princess. Relax, this place is where my mother used to live. I won't let anyone damage it. Sima Yu, you better not go too far. This is the royal palace, this isn't your human realm. Yu Hao cried out. I know, that's why I've already held back. Sima Yu said, but it's obvious that you don't think so, which is why you've come here to beat my people up and destroy my place. What, you're still standing there? It seems that I have to move you myself. By the time she finished speaking, she had already disappeared and immediately appeared by Yu Hao's side. Before he even managed to react, she grabbed his clothes and directly tossed him out. Then, she went to Sang Ji's side and kicked him into the courtyard. When the guards outside saw Yu Hao being tossed up, they rushed up to catch him. When they saw Sima Yu appear, they immediately surrounded her. You dared to touch his highness? You must be tired of living. A guard shouted at Sima Yu, as His Highness's guards, "We will capture you and present you to Ghost Concubine. I'm his older sister, my beating him up is just some conflicts between the same generation. You are guards, while I am the princess. If you dare to act against me, you would offend your superior." Sima Yu sneered, "Are you sure that you want to try?" The last time, His Highness had merely broken out of the palace to play, but everyone in the palace had been killed. The answer was, definitely not. At that time, Ghost Concubine would wipe out their entire clan. "Princess, sorry for the offense," the guard said as they attacked Sima Yu. In the blink of an eye, Sima Yu broke out of their encirclement, causing them to lose their target. "You bitch, do you think that you will be able to hide? Hurry up and capture her. Dead or alive, I would advise you to stay there." Sima Yu stood on the roof. "If I were you, I would look for a place to hide. Ha ha ha, do you take us for fools?" Previous chapter. The tribulation clouds slowly gathered above the royal palace. It was already considerably gentle as compared to the time back at Sheep City. What is going on? How could there be lightning tribulation? The people in the imperial capital looked at those tribulation clouds with horror. They were afraid that they would drift over from the royal palace, and those who were within the royal palace were so scared that their legs turned to jelly. Hurry! Hurry up and leave this place. Many people ran out as fast as they could, afraid that they would get dragged into the lightning tribulation. Inside the royal palace, the palace maids and guards along with their masters and young masters all ran outside. What is going on? It was perfectly fine before, so how could there be tribulation? That place seems to be the youthful palace. Youthful palace? Isn't that where the princess who just returned is staying? That's Sima Yu. How could she cause such a ruckus the moment she returned? Even the king has gone over. Should we take a look as well? We'll go. I want to see just what this Sima Yu is thinking. Sima Yu stood on the rooftop and looked down expressionlessly at everyone panicking down below. Because it was endangering their lives, many people started to gather together. When they saw her, they cried out, "What are you doing?" Sima Yu looked at the one who spoke out. It was some random concubine from some palace, not someone she had to bother herself with, so she couldn't even be bothered to reply. "The queen is here." Nobody knew who shouted, but everyone separated to allow a path through, allowing the queen to walk to the front of the crowd. Sima Yu saw Ghost Concubine. This was the first time the two met each other. However, they had exchanged many moves in the dark. When they looked at each other, their gazes were filled with murderous intent. "Sima Yu, what are you doing? Do you desire to destroy the entire royal palace upon your return? How is this a desire to destroy the royal palace?" "I'm merely protecting myself." Sima Yu shrugged. "Someone wants to kill me, but I'm weak and all alone. I have no foundations in the palace either, so I have no choice but to protect myself this way." "Rubbish. You've just arrived in the palace, who would kill you? How could there not be?" "Yushi, bring the person out for everyone to see." Sima Yu said. Yushi then led out the palace maids and guards of the youthful palace. Each and every single one of them were injured, and were still very wounded. When she saw that Ghost Concubine was about to speak, she spoke first. "These people are all from my palace. There's no way that you would say that I'm the one who hurt them and am trying to find an excuse to release the lightning tribulation, right? I'm not that bored." Ghost Concubine initially wanted to say so, but Sima Yu said it first, so she couldn't say it anymore. "Who is it that wants to kill you? Tell me, I will be the judge. Hurry up and stop the lightning tribulation." "I'm just afraid that Ghost Concubine would not be able to handle it. The royal palace is still an orderly place. If anyone has really come to make trouble for you, as the master of the palace, I will naturally give a fair judgment. Then I will have to thank you." Sima Yu bowed to Ghost Concubine before she raised her voice. "There's no use hiding in the house. The queen has already come, so you can't bully me anymore." Everyone looked towards the courtyard. Only after 1 minute passed did a few people emerge. When she saw the guards, Ghost Concubine's heart tightened. "Grandmother, save me." Yu Hao saw that the guards were fine, so he ran out while yelling at Ghost Concubine. "How?" Ghost Concubine saw Yu Hao and cried out with heartache, "What are you doing here? Grandmother, save me." Yu Hao was scared silly by the lightning tribulation. When he saw Ghost Concubine, he could shout this. Ghost Concubine waved her hand. Yu Hao flew over to her side and glared at Sima Yu, yelling, "What have you done to him? See, I told you. There's no point telling you." Sima Yu said with grievance, "What could I do to him? While I was in the side palace hall, he started beating my people up non-stop since he came. You've already seen the condition that my people are in. However, he doesn't have a single injury on him." Everyone knew Yu Hao's personality. Sima Yu killed his father, so he definitely hated her to death. Knowing that she had come to the palace, how could he stop himself from causing trouble for her? Furthermore, spoiled by Ghost Concubine's love, even if he came to make trouble for her, who would dare to stick their necks out for her? She could only swallow the grievance. Who would have thought that she would use a method like this to blow up the situation? This way, even if Ghost Concubine wanted to protect Yu Hao, she had no choice. Under everyone's watchful eye and the fact that it had endangered everyone's life, unless she was no longer interested in being queen, she would have to punish Yu Hao. Ghost Concubine saw that her grandchild had been frightened to this extent and her heart ached. She looked at Sima Yu with eyes filled with hatred. "Men, lock His Highness in the dark palace." Ghost Concubine ordered. Immediately some men stepped forward to take Yu Hao away. "Grandmother, I don't want to go to the dark palace." Yu Hao grabbed onto her hand. "Grandmother, you are so powerful. You can just kill this bitch." "Nonsense." Ghost Concubine pulled Yu Hao's hand away and ordered, "Take His Highness away." Yu Hao wanted to say something more, but he saw Ghost King suddenly appear beside Ghost Concubine, so he dared not say anything else as he left obediently. Before he left, he gave Sima Yu a final glance, mouthing to her that this was not over. Sima Yu didn't even feel like looking at him. If not because she wanted to avoid trouble, she wouldn't care about him at all. Alright, he's already been punished, so can you stop this now? Ghost concubine grit her teeth in anger. It was her precious baby, but she actually had to punish him because of this tiny matter. She really wanted to tear her into pieces. Is sending him to the Dark Palace considered a punishment? Sima Yu looked at her with puzzlement. The Dark Palace is a place where we punish our men. It is incredibly cold and you cannot use your spirit energy to block it. You will also feel hunger like an ordinary person. There is also an illusion array in there. If you get injured in the area, you will also get injured in real life. However, this will also depend on luck. Ghost concubine explained. Her tone was calm and void of anger. Anger. She was not afraid just because of the lightning tribulation. He won't come out on his own, right? Sima Yu was highly suspicious of Ghost concubine's verbal promise. After entering, he cannot leave before the stipulated time is up. Rumble dash, the rolling tribulation clouds reminded everyone that they were still here. First stop that thing. Ghost concubine said. About that. Sima Yu rubbed her nose sheepishly. When they saw her acting that way, a sense of foreboding rose in everyone's hearts. As expected, after she finished speaking, Ghost concubine almost vomited blood. About that, this isn't due to rank ascension, so it won't drag everyone in like it did back in Sheep City. However, Yu Hao has already been considered as one of the targets. After speaking, she even smiled apologetically at Ghost concubine. What? Ghost concubine was so angry that she trembled with rage. She actually dragged Yu Hao into the tribulation. Queen, stay your anger. Wasn't I just acting in self-defense? Relax, I had considered for the royal palace and so the lightning tribulation isn't too powerful. He won't die as long as his rank is underworld saint and above. Sima Yu explained as everyone's complexions turned pale. As she spoke, a bolt of lightning struck from the sky, and the place it appeared was precisely where the Dark Palace was. Ghost concubine didn't even have time to scold her before she disappeared. Everyone here knew what she had gone to do. Yu Hao had never focused on cultivating at all, so how could his rank possibly be at the underworld saint? If this lightning really struck, how could he possibly survive? However, they also knew that the lightning tribulation had to strike a person. Since Yu Hao was unable to handle this, then someone would have to take it in his stead. However, within it was such an urgent situation and there were also no guards in the Ark Palace, so Ghost concubine would naturally rush over to take the brunt of the lightning tribulation. Also, after going into the Dark Palace, she would only be able to come out with Yu Hao at the end of 3 days. After being injured by the lightning strike, she would still have to stay in that place for 3 days. They could only imagine the rage that would burn in Ghost concubine's heart. After taking another look at Sima Yu who had such an apologetic expression, no matter how they thought about it, it didn't seem like a coincidence. Seeing that the lightning tribulation was about to strike, she flew into the sky and caught the lightning tribulation in midair, stopping it from striking the royal palace. Adding on to that, the protective array of the royal palace, none of those in the royal palace suffered any harm. However, when they saw the lightning tribulation strike the places above their heads, the terror in their hearts took a very long time to fade. Also, this was what she described as a small-scale lightning tribulation. If it was big, they had decided. In the future, they would definitely have to stay far away from her and definitely not make any trouble for Sima Yu. What if she was suddenly in a bad mood or had nothing better to do than to play around with her lightning? They did not have the strength to play with her. Sima Yu was in the sky and her mouth hooked into a smile as she looked at everyone's faces of terror. Once Ghost concubine appeared, these people were even less likely to make trouble for her. Once she entered the palace, even if some people came to cause trouble for her, no matter who came, she had planned to blow up the situation. She had to warn these people. Otherwise, if they kept on coming to cause trouble for her, she would have no time or energy to deal with them. However, she didn't think that the very first person to cause trouble for her would be Yu Hao. This was a pleasant surprise that was outside of her expectations. She had already started plotting the moment that she knew that he had come to the youthful palace. This time, if she didn't peel off a layer of Ghost concubine's skin, her name was not Sima Yu. Why does it seem like the lightning tribulation over at the Dark Palace seems to have gotten stronger while the lightning over where Yu is a lot lighter? A maid voiced her confusion. It does seem to be the case. The lightning over at that side is more intense in quantity and strength. This realization caused everyone to purse their lips. How was this Sima Yu going through tribulation? It was obviously targeting someone else. Furthermore, how did this tribulation cloud know her intention? It was actually helping her deal with her enemy. This point was cause for consideration. Although she said it was one of a small scale, it still lasted for a long time. Sima Yu only returned when the tribulation cloud was gone. They saw that her clothes were not even ruffled. She didn't look like she had gone through a lightning tribulation at all but had gone upstairs to play. As expected, she was a strange creature. She was from the Ghost clan but she wasn't afraid of lightning. Done playing around? Ghost King looked at her, his tone pampering. Those maids, princes and princesses exchanged glances. The Ghost King's attitude was obvious that he was aware of her intentions but had no plans to punish her. He was really spoiling her like he spoiled her mother. When they thought about her mother, everyone had their own thoughts. Sima Yu pouted, how was I playing around? I was really afraid, okay. Don't mess around in the royal palace again. Ghost King didn't believe her and nagged her before leaving. Seeing that he had left, those who had come to watch the show left as well. They had to go back to prepare for when Ghost Concubine would reappear 3 days later. Who knew who she would choose to take her anger out on? Sima Yu didn't care that Ghost Concubine would cause trouble for her once she came out. In any case, she wouldn't dare to provoke her during this time. She would have some peace for the time being. After thinking about this, her mood improved. She returned to the ground and Yushi and the others surrounded her. Young princess, are you alright? I'm fine. A lightning tribulation of this degree is just for fun. Sima Yu said with a smile. Didn't she just say she wasn't playing around just now? Young princess, you are so powerful. You're actually not afraid of lightning tribulation. You'll get used to it after getting struck a few times. Do you want to give it a go? Sima Yu looked at them very sincerely. No way. Everyone ran away immediately. They didn't have her weird physique that was able to withstand even lightning. If the lightning were really to strike them, they would be half dead. Hehe, there's no need to fear. It's painful in the beginning, but there's benefits in the end. Sima Yu said. Everyone shook their heads frantically like a rattle drum. Young princess, don't tease us anymore. How could we ever compare to you? Yushi said with a smile that was immediately followed by worry. This time, Ghost Concubine definitely has painted a target on your back. We don't know what she will do to you in the future. Even if this incident didn't happen, she wouldn't let me off anyway. Sima Yu said, however, with this incident, she wouldn't dare to attack me openly. As long as I don't go out, I'll be fine. That's true. Then, young princess, you should avoid heading out of the palace. In any case, they already had a death feud with each other. Even if this incident didn't happen, Ghost Concubine didn't plan to leave her alive. Since that was the case, there was no need to worry about whether or not she would offend her. Don't worry, I have my own plans. She took out some pills, handed this out for everyone to eat, then returned to recover. There's nothing much to do around this palace anyway. After speaking, she returned to the side palace and prepared to continue studying that primordial array. Black Shadow and Huan saw that she was doing well enough, so they didn't bother her and continued their game of chess. Their game had been going on for a few days but had not concluded. Who knew whether or not they were playing chess or dragging the time? Did you have fun? Wu Lingyu smiled teasingly at her. It was alright. Actually, I wanted to personally see how they would look when they appear 3 days later, but I'm afraid that someone will beat me up if I'm too obviously happy, so I'd better lay low after all. To say that she wanted to lie low at this point in time, didn't she feel like it was too late to say so? When Deja heard about what happened in the palace, he wanted to rush over to protect Sima Yu but De stopped him. De said, Master, Princess Yu will be able to handle it. Look. Deja lifted his head and looked over and happened to see the tribulation clouds gathering above. He suddenly laughed, this brat really isn't someone who eats a loss. After blowing this situation up, nobody will dare to provoke her anymore. Ghost Master saw the tribulation clouds and found it amusing as well. This reaction of her was too exaggerated. Pay close attention to the happenings in the palace. Knowing that Sima Yu wouldn't suffer a loss, Deja relaxed. He ordered his men to keep an eye on the palace before resuming his work on other things. Once news of what happened in the palace spread, Deja laughed out loud with joy, beautifully settled. I've been fighting with Ghost Concubine for such a long time, but I've never managed to cause a single bit of harm to her. She merely entered the palace a short while ago but caused Ghost Concubine to lose a layer of skin already. Haha, not bad. Not bad. Princess is really powerful. The D-clan guards were all pleasantly surprised. She was so much stronger than they were. But, Master, Princess caused harm to Ghost Concubine and even made her stay in the Dark Palace for 3 days. Won't she take revenge on Princess the moment she emerges? Di Lu was worried for Sima Yu's safety. Don't worry, with grandfather around, and the fact that this issue was blown up, she won't dare to touch Yu for the time being. Unless she really wants to go through a real lightning tribulation. Deja said, this lightning tribulation is really great. I saw her struck quite terribly before, but now it seems rather useful. Did you guys record what happened back at Sheep City? We did. Di Lu said, at that time, it was Di Wu who suggested it. He said that everyone could watch it together once we were back. Then you should make copies of this and distribute it. Let those people see with their own eyes what happened at Sheep City. Let them see what a lightning tribulation that really moves heaven and earth is like. Yes, Master. First bring the recording stone over for me to take a look. You group of jerks, why didn't you show it to me since you had it? Hehe, isn't it because you went to see the princess the moment you returned? We were so excited that we forgot about it. Di Lu saw that Deja was about to explode, so he hurried added on, I'm going to get the recording stone from Di Wu. Recently, the hearts of those from the Imperial Palace were filled with terror of the lightning tribulation. In the past, they felt like the lightning tribulation was something far away, but now they felt like it was so close by. 2 days ago, they just experienced a small lightning tribulation. They didn't think that news of what happened in Sheep City would spread throughout the city within these 2 days. That terrifying lightning and horrifying aura immediately filled their hearts with fear that caused their hairs to stand on end. When they recalled the tribulation cloud from that day, a new sense of fear for Sima Yu rose in their hearts. They definitely could not provoke her. Not only were they not to provoke her, they had to tell others not to provoke her either. What if she got upset and evoked the lightning tribulation? They would be dragged into it. However, Sima Yu personally didn't know how high the others had elevated her in their hearts, to such a frightful extent that adults would turn pale and children would cry upon hearing about her. 3 days later, Ghost Concubine led Yu Hao out of the dark palace. The palace maids and guards immediately went forward to support the both of them back to their own palaces. Yu Hao was originally weak. After staying in the dark palace for 3 days, he was like an ordinary person who would hunger and feel the cold without being able to use spirit energy to ward it off. When he came out, he was hungry, thirsty, and cold. He was completely weak. He had never been punished like this in his entire life. However, comparing it to his previous state, he was still rather well off. Ghost Concubine was the one who had been tortured for the 3 days spent inside. In the beginning, in order to save Yu Hao from the lightning tribulation, although she was rather powerful, it was still heaven's lightning. After getting struck, she would have suffered quite serious injuries. Furthermore, the wounds inflicted by the lightning tribulation could not be treated by the average pill. That was why, her condition after staying in the dark palace for 3 days after receiving those injuries was as expected. What made her even more furious was that this news had already spread around the entire imperial capital. Not only did they know that Yu Hao wanted to kill Sima Yu, but that she had used the lightning tribulation to retaliate. They even knew that, in order to protect Yu Hao, she had put herself into a very sorry state. That was the only thing. When those people saw the lightning tribulation in Sheep City, they were terrified of Sima Yu. If she acted against her again, she might evoke public rage. That was why she had no way to touch her at this moment. She lay on her phoenix bed, so enraged that she broke her own fingernail. She had never been in such a pathetic state before. This had all been caused by that bitch. Your Highness, do not let your anger harm your body. Ghost Concubine's head palace maid, He Xiong'an, comforted her. It's precisely that inexperienced brat that caused me the biggest trouble of my life. Ghost Concubine raged, I refuse to take this lying down. If I don't kill her, I'll never be able to get rid of this hatred in my heart. I'll also let down Doer who died. Your Highness, do not lose your propriety for the sake of a young child. Blue River walked in from outside. When he saw her pale face, his eyebrows furrowed lightly. How did you get so badly injured? Your Highness protected His Highness from the lightning tribulation and then had to remain in the dark palace for 3 days. She has already healed since then. When she just came out, she was more terrifying. He Xiong said. That's Sima Yu. Blue River's eyes burned. It seems like we cannot leave her alive. What do you want to do? He Xiong asked. We can't do anything right now. I know. Blue River said, I won't do anything to her while she's in the royal palace, but she won't stay in there forever. Once she heads out, who knows whether or not she'll stay alive. Do you have any ideas? Ghost Concubine asked. I heard that her relationship with Kuluo's past maids and guards is pretty good. Blue River asked. Yes. He Xiong nodded. It's because His Highness beat up the people in her palace that she even beat up His Highness. That's easy, then. I remember that there were a few of Kuluo's guards and palace maids who went missing after going to complete a mission. It seems like someone captured them. If we are able to find those people and release word of it, she'll definitely leave the palace. But she can evoke the lightning tribulation. There's no use no matter how many people we send. He Xiong said. Those people are all useless wastes. If we act this time, we need to use a few eccentric talents. How can the average person suffice? Blue River said confidently. Thinking about those people below, Ghost Concubine was filled with confidence again. I'll leave this to you then. Don't worry. I will take revenge on your behalf. Blue River smiled lightly in reply. He Xiong was like an idiot as she watched him smile. Although she had seen it many times, she couldn't withstand his smile. It was a pity that he only smiled for Ghost Concubine. Blue River examined Ghost Concubine before saying, at least you didn't hurt your core. You should rest well and ignore everything else. However, you have to teach His Highness properly. If not because he was too rash, you would not have had to suffer so. Ghost Concubine let out a sigh and said, how would I not know? However, that's Doer's only son, and the continuation of his bloodline. He is no longer here, and I think of him when I see this child. I'm in power anyway, what kind of life can I not give to him? I'll just let him be. Indeed, in the past, no one dared to touch a strand of Yu Hao's hair. Whoever heard his name would already be scared silly. Originally, such a lifestyle went on its course. After all, no one dared to provoke her, but with the sudden appearance of Sima Yu, it made her suffer such a big loss for the first time. Blue River knew how precious Yu Hao was to her, without saying much, stepped back and said, you have a good rest, I will go down and make arrangements first. Go, you have much to do. Ghost Concubine smiled at him weakly. Where was the usual cruelty and domineering appearance that she usually had? Blue River gave her a deep look, then turned and left the palace. Your Highness, Master Blue River looked even scarier than before. He Xiong said. Ghost Concubine touched her face, a smile appeared on her face. Where was the fragile and weak that she had shown just now? To deal with men, especially those who admire you, sometimes you just need to make yourself a little weaker. She chuckled. Blue River is very capable, if it wasn't. Thinking of that year, Ghost Concubine's eyes became a little dim. If she didn't enter the palace, her life would be different again. Your Highness. He Xiong was her former maid, and naturally knew what she was thinking, so she called out to her with a hint of distress in her voice. Alright, I want to rest. Ghost Concubine closed her eyes and covered up all her emotions. He Xiong bowed and retreated with the maids in the palace. Sima Yu heard about Ghost Concubine's situation in her palace, and when she saw that Yu lost her usual demeanor and her hands were filled with vivid gestures, she also smiled. Since you are so happy, let everyone celebrate tonight. However, remember to close the door. Otherwise, we will be the topic of gossip again. Alright. Then I will make arrangements. Tonight we shall celebrate with a feast. Yu exclaimed and left excitedly. Sima Yu looked at her, smiled and shook her head. When she turned her head, and saw that another palace maid, Ling Yun, had on a little complicated expression and asked, "What's the matter, Ling Yun? Are you not happy?" "No, young princess. The servant girl is just a little sad." Ling Yun replied respectfully, "Sad? Why?" The servant girl just remembered the servant girl's elder brother. If he was still here, he would be very happy to see that the young princess is so amazing. "Your brother? Is he also from Youthful Palace?" "Yes, but he's no longer around. He passed away." Ling Yun shook her head. "After the princess accident, my brother and a few people went out of the palace on a mission, trying to find the whereabouts of the princess. However, they never came back. No news came back either, and we've lost contact with them. It's been a long time. They all said that they are no longer around. Where are their life jades? We are all slaves, we don't have the luxury of owning any. Since it's just a loss of contact, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have died. I'll ask my cousin to look into it, maybe there is hope." When Ling Yun heard this, she knelt down towards her, kowtowed and said with tears, "Thank you, young princess. Thank you, young princess. Alright, if you don't get up again, I won't tell my cousin." Ling Yun froze in place. Then, seeing that Sima Yu didn't seem to be joking, she immediately stood up. "You have to tell me first, what happened exactly?" After the princess came back from the human realm, she was in tears all day long. Then we heard that something happened, and the princess went out and said she was looking for the king, but she never came back. We wanted to find the princess at the time, but the entire youthful palace was forbidden to leave at that time, so we could not investigate anything. At that time, some people said that the princess had been killed, and some people said that the princess was taken away. Later, the king made an order not to allow anyone to discuss this matter. We didn't believe the news, but my brother thought about going out of the palace to find out more about it. Later, there was a mission to go out of the palace, and they figured out a way to participate. After leaving the palace, they went to find the whereabouts of the princess. At first, news came back, but after a few years, we no longer heard anything from them. It's been hard on you. It's not been hard, but we haven't been able to find the whereabouts of the princess. I know. Sima Yu said, "My mother is still alive." "Really?" Ling Yun wiped her tears. "Young princess, do you know where the princess is?" "Knowing is knowing, but it's useless to know now. Don't think about it, I will tell you if there is any news of your brother." "Thank you, young princess." Shiyu asked suspiciously, "What's wrong?" "Young princess, did Ling Yun make you angry?" "No. Shiyu, you just came here, you persuade her, I'm heading out of the palace." "Young princess, you want to go out?" "Well, yeah, I want to go to the general's mansion." "Will it be too dangerous to go out of the palace at this time?" "No, I will let Ling Yu and the others be with me." Shiyu saw this, and did not stop her anymore. Ling Yun repeated what Sima Yu said and Shiyu was silent after hearing this. It took a long time later for her to regain her senses as she patted Ling Yun's shoulder. "We followed two good masters. Just hoped that everything would be fine and that they weren't too late." Sima Yu, Wu Lingyu, Black Shadow and Huan went to the general's mansion. It was the first time for Dija to meet Black Shadow and Huan, but he had heard about them several times from Di Wu and Di Lu. "Why are you here?" Dija asked her. "I have something that I need you to look into." "Not really. If there is something you want me to do, you just have to get someone to send a message." Dija said, "If there is something you need me for, let's sit down and talk." Sima Yu sat with the four of them. The Ghost Master looked at Black Shadow and Huan and asked, "These are the two who protected you outside of Sheep City? I heard that the two have weird physiques. I don't know who they are." This. Sima Yu was a little embarrassed. She brought them out, just to let them have a breather, not to make people pay attention to their identity. "There is nothing to conceal." Huan said, "I am from the underworld, and I am ordered by my king to protect our young Mississippi." "Underworld? Young miss?" Everyone in the room looked at Sima Yu and Black Shadow in surprise. Everyone in the ghost realm was guessing the identities of the two of them, but they did not expect them to be from the legendary underworld. And why would they call her young miss? Was she from the underworld? Isn't the underworld a place in the legends? The Ghost Master really knew about the underworld. "Before I came to the ghost realm, I went to the underworld by chance, and then I met them all along with Hades. Black Shadow and Huan have special identities, so please keep it a secret." "Ha ha ha, this is easy to handle. Since they are here to protect your safety, we naturally won't tell anyone and cause you trouble." "But does grandfather know?" Dija asked. "It is not a trivial matter that people from the grandfather knows, and he knew it as soon as he saw them." "Well, that's good. Tell me, what are you looking for me for?" I want you to help me check the whereabouts of a few people." After Sima Yu finished speaking, she told about how Ling Yun and other guards went out of the palace to look for Yu Kaluo's whereabouts. "I know you have your people all around, so see if you can find them. They are also very sincere to Aunt. But for so many years there has been no news, it is very likely." "I know." Sima Yu nodded. "If they are really dead, then at least Ling Yun and the others can give up and don't have to wait any longer." "Alright. Leave this to me." Dija readily responded, and the person who was sincere to his aunt, that is, the person he wanted to protect. "Thank you, cousin. Since we're family, why would you need to be so polite to me for?" Dija didn't like her to thank him. "By the way, something seems to have happened to the Mo clan." "Something happened to the Mo clan? What happened? We are not very clear about this. When we were investigating Mou's whereabouts these few days, we found that he had gone to the Mo clan a long time ago." Dija said, "But news of the Mo clan is generally not easy to hear, so we don't know what happened." Sima Yu frowned slightly. Mo once told her that Mou had already left matters of the clan to the clansman. He usually doesn't care about it, so he is often not in the Mo clan. Now he went back to the Mo clan, indicating that something must have happened to the Mo clan, and it was not a trivial matter. No wonder the trouble in Sheep City was so big. Mou didn't even come to her or contact her at all. It turned out that something went wrong. Deja saw that she didn't speak, he lowered his head to think about things, and didn't bother her. After a while, she looked up at him. Do you know where the Mo clan is? Are you going to the Mo clan? I want to go and have a look. I have never been to the Mo clan and they had invited me before. This time I will stop by to see if I can help. Mou and her had a good relationship in the human realm. He had also taught her many skills. After arriving in the ghost realm, he also asked Moj to protect her. Deja was not surprised by her decision. I naturally know the location of the Mo clan, but if you leave the city now, I am afraid it is very dangerous. Moreover, I'm grandfather won't let you out. My grandfather just doesn't want me to find my mother. He still wouldn't care much if I go to other places. Threats, naked threats. But Deja knew that the Ghost King would definitely listen to her. Where is Ghost Concubine? Don't worry, there's Ling Yu and them by my side. Well, alright then. Deja told her the location of the Mo clan. The Soul Realm has not been peaceful recently. I have to deal with Ghost Concubine and also deal with the Soul Realm, so I can't accompany you. Anyway, you know the way to contact the D clan's army. Contact them if you need anything. You can take this. With it, you can mobilize the army in various cities. Sima Yu took the token that Deja had passed to her and asked, can I just go directly to the city lord? Well, the prince, the duke and the city lord are all fine. I see. Thank you, cousin. Sima Yu smiled and put away the token. The matters of Ling Yu and the others, if you have news about them, please let me know, thank. Because she had something on her mind, Sima Yu went back to the palace shortly after. It happened that Shiyu and the others had prepared everything to eat, so they halfway through dinner, Shiyu and the others all knelt down suddenly. Sima Yu held her cup and asked, what are you doing? Young princess, we all know, you went to General D for Ling Yu and their affairs, and you beat the little highness for us. For young princess great kindness, we are willing to repay you with everything we've got. We'll work hard. His injury was so serious, if it weren't for the pill given by Sima Yu, how could he recover so quickly? Alright, relax, I don't need you to do anything extreme. Previous chapter. Shiyu and the others were all taken aback. Young princess, you want to leave the palace? Well, I have something to do. Sima Yu said, it shouldn't be long. You must guard this place so that no one can destroy youthful palace. Young princess, let us follow you. Yang Hui said. No, your injury has not completely healed, and the place I am going to is not suitable for bringing a lot of people. Where are you going, young princess? Shiyu asked. Mo clan. Sima Yu said, it's safe there, so you don't have to worry about it. Then we'll be here to wait for young princess to come back. Shiyu and the others understood that Sima Yu's decision will not change. This was very similar to the princess. Since she decided not to take them, she won't take them. Well, you are here to guard your home and wait for me to come back. Sima Yu said as she raised her cup, you don't have to think about other things, come, let's toast, and celebrate what makes us happy. Yes, Ghost Concubine was forced to eat this dumb loss by the young princess, we should really celebrate. Come on, cheers. Early the next morning, Sima Yu went to seek an audience with the Ghost King. The Ghost King was in retreat before, but Deja interrupted him before he went to bring Sima Yu back. After dealing with some things, he continued to retreat. Except for the time Sima Yu attracted lightning tribulation, he never came out. Sima Yu came to the retreat of the Ghost King for the first time, and the two who had stopped Deja were the ones who were guarding outside. Seeing her approaching, he bowed slightly, young princess. Is my grandfather in retreat? Sima Yu asked. Yes. However, he isn't in a death seclusion. If you are looking for him, we can inform him for you. One of them said. Then I will have to trouble you. Sima Yu smiled at the two and stood there waiting. The person who spoke turned around and went in. The other person saw Sima Yu quietly looking at the courtyard, feeling different from what he had imagined. Someone who could create such a ruckus was actually such a demure person. After a while, the person who entered came out and said to Sima Yu, young princess, please. Thank you. Sima Yu nodded slightly and followed him in. The guard brought Sima Yu in and came out, and continued to guard the gate with another person. This young princess is really different. It's really different from other princesses and princes. It's no wonder that the king likes her so much. Everyone else was directly denied entry, only she can enter. The young princess will have an unlimited future. Judging from her behavior just now, and thinking about what she did before, she was definitely a person who can't lose to the Dark Princess. Sima Yu came to the training room of the Ghost King. It was very empty and there was not much decoration. When she entered, she saw him sitting on the training platform. Grandfather. She bowed respectfully. Ghost King looked at her, his eyes faint. You came to me, what's the matter? Grandfather, I want to go out of the palace. Sima Yu directly stated her purpose. What are you going out for? Cousin said that something happened to the Mo clan, I want to personally have a look. Sima Yu said, you know, the relationship between me and Mou is pretty good. They treated me well in the human realm and when I first arrived in the ghost realm. So it's only right that I take good care of them too. Now that they are in trouble, I naturally want to see if I can help. Do you know that you are now the princess of the ghost realm and that I brought you back personally, which also shows that your every move also represents what I mean? The Ghost King said. Sima Yu raised her head in surprise, her status was so high. She could actually represent the Ghost King? Seeing the surprise in her eyes, the Ghost King chuckled, if I say yes, then yes. Sima Yu curled her lips, what? Wasn't this teasing her? Not right. She looked at him in shock. Wouldn't it be what he meant? The Ghost King just looked at her without talking, but made her understand that he meant that. He gave her the supreme right. Isn't my grandfather afraid that I will use the rights you gave me to do bad things? She asked. If so, then these things should have happened. The Ghost King muttered, seeing Sima Yu still a little puzzled, and said, go if you want, and bring more people. I'm not used to bringing people. Sima Yu said. Then let them stay in secret. Either don't go, or take someone, you just choose. The Ghost King said so, the meaning is fixed. In order to leave, she had to make a choice. Then you let them hide a little bit, don't be discovered by me, otherwise I will drive people away. She also compromised. Because there were too many secrets in her body before, she had never liked too many strangers together, and now she has formed this habit. Han Feng and Han Shan will arrange everything for you. The Ghost King said. She doesn't know who Han Feng and Han Shan were, but as long as anyone doesn't come out to disturb her, it doesn't matter who it was. Then I'll go back and prepare. After Sima Yu said that, she saluted, turned and left. As she approached the door, she stopped and turned around and said, if the Heavenly Dao is incomplete today, even if you are promoted to an emperor level, you still can't gain the Heavenly Dao's recognition. If you want to become an emperor, you can only find another way. The Ghost King was watching her departing back, but he didn't expect that she would suddenly say such a thing, which surprised him and made him a little happy as well. Happiness, how long has he been without these emotions? What do you suggest? After the Ghost King asked, he was a little dumbfounded by his own gaffe. How could he ask her this? It was a coincidence that she discovered that the Heavenly Dao was not complete, even he himself couldn't do anything about it, so what could she think of? Just when he was in a trance, Sima Yu turned back and came to him, sat down cross-legged, and faced him. My grandfather should also know that Heavenly Dao is incomplete, or else you will not be here in seclusion to comprehend but immediately be in a death seclusion to directly challenge and break through to the Emperor level. Sima Yu raised her head and looked at him, have you not thought about finding another way? The Heavenly Dao has changed for hundreds of thousands of years. If there is a way, then why is there no Emperor figures appearing at all? Although the Ghost King was unwilling, this was also the reality. Aunt Feng advanced to the Emperor level with a secret method. But after all, she is still an Emperor who is not recognized by the heavens. Sima Yu's words were tantamount to a bomb, which set off a huge wave in the Ghost King's heart. Has someone really been promoted to the Emperor level? Then could he? Sima Yu ignored the fluctuations in his heart and continued, Grandfather, do you know the origin of life? The true origin of life should be in the Chaos world, the Ghost King said. n/o/vel/b/in.c//om. That's right. The Chaos world created life, but in the end all life left the Chaos world. But I think, since life originated there might be an opportunity for change. Previous chapter. Chaos world, was there an opportunity there? He didn't know why, but when he heard her say that, he also thought it was possible. After all, that was where life originated. I think, since that place can create life, it may be helpful to the current situation. Sima Yu said. However, no one can go to the Chaos world anymore. The Ghost King said, even if it is me, I have only heard of it, but never been there. Sima Yu took out a jade bottle and put it in the hands of the Ghost King. The Chaos world has nothing now, and there is white mist from the river that nurtures life everywhere. This is the water in the river. If there is anything that can be of help, it should only be this. Where did you get it from? You went to the Chaos world? The Ghost King took the jade bottle and did not immediately check the contents inside, but looked at her and asked with bewildered eyes. When I was in the human realm, my soul went to the Chaos world once, but I was brought out by Lingyu. Some time ago, because of some things, I went in again. This was brought back from the last trip. Don't worry, nothing happened. Look, I came out intact, didn't I? Have a look at this and see if it will be useful. The Ghost King took a look at the jade bottle, and gave her a surprised look. This is the water in that river? Yes, if it isn't enough, I still have more. Sima Yu said. The jade bottle she gave him was not an ordinary jade bottle, and the capacity in it almost caught up with a small river. However, this was insignificant compared with that in the Spirit Pagoda. The Ghost King wanted to ask her if she had moved out the entire river, but he held back. He poured out a little bit of river water, and he could feel a special force in his palm. How about it, Grandfather, do you think this will be useful? Sima Yu asked. The Ghost King didn't expect much at first, but after his palm absorbed the power, he finally had an ecstatic smile. It's useful, I can feel the faint difference in the strength in my body. The Ghost King looked at the jade bottle in his hand excitedly. Just a bit made him feel the difference. If he used them all, he wondered if it could help. Moreover, he felt that the Heavenly Dao in his body seemed to have changed a little bit. Sima Yu clapped her hands, then Grandfather should study this properly, I won't delay you. She didn't know anything about it, so it was useless to stay. After all, the Ghost King was the king of the Ghost Realm, and he definitely knows a lot more than her. If even he couldn't figure out how to use it, then she wouldn't know either. Alright. The Ghost King didn't keep her, he needed to study this further. Sima Yu returned to her palace, letting Wu Lingyu, Black Shadow and Huan prepare for their departure. At this time, the two guards who had guarded the gate came to Youthful Palace. Han Feng and Han Shan are here to report to the young princess. The two saluted together in a very respectful manner. It turns out that Han Feng and Han Shan are you too. Sima Yu said, do you know my request? The king has already told us. Han Shan said, we will lead our men and follow far away. Please rest assured that we will not disturb young princess. That's good. However, we need the aura of young princess. After Han Feng finished speaking, he came to Sima Yu and patted her on her shoulder. A white object floated out of her body and fell into Han Feng's hands. Sima Yu didn't feel any discomfort in her body, so she didn't say anything. This is just the aura of young princess, and it won't hurt your body. In addition, you can contact us with this. Han Feng gave her a sound stone. Sima Yu put it away, thought about it, and called a few scarlet bees out. You take this too. Han Feng took the scarlet bees, guessing that this was her contract beast, and they could directly contact each other. Sima Yu and Wu Lingyu left and walked directly through the void. Han Shan said, let's go. Han Feng glanced at him and said, let's go find the king first. Han Shan wanted to say that didn't they just come from the king's side, why were they going back again? But seeing his dignified expression, he didn't say anything, and went back to the place where the Ghost King retreated in seclusion. When the Ghost King saw them, he asked, what's the matter? Your Majesty, did you know that the young princess is a soul body? Han Feng's words made Han Shan stunned on the spot. It is precisely because of this that I need the two of you to lead the team. No matter a soul body or not, she is the princess of the Ghost Clan. Just remember this. The Ghost King declared solemnly. Yes. Han Feng knew that the Ghost King should have known about it a long time ago. The Ghost King watched Han Feng and Han Shan leave, and went on to study the Chaos Water again. Not many people know about Sima Yu leaving the palace. By the time Ghost Concubine knew about it, she had already set off for a long time. Having lost the first opportunity and didn't know where she was going, she could only do it after she received news of her. Half a month later, Sima Yu came to a prosperous city. Instead of looking for someone directly, they found an inn to stay in. Sima Yu opened the window of the room, and there were not many pedestrians on the adjacent street. Wu Lingyu came behind her, hugged her from behind, placed his chin on her shoulder and said, it seems that something happened to the Mo clan. Well, according to my cousin, this Mo city is very prosperous, but now there are not many people on the street, and many shops are also closed and even refuse customers. Sima Yu analyzed, I think that they have all returned to the clan. It seems that the Mo clan have encountered quite a bit of trouble this time. When shall we go? Wu Lingyu asked. Tomorrow, after a long journey, everyone's a little tired. Only if you have a good rest can you better face the unknown. Sima Yu said, I also just let the scarlet bees to scout around and see if they can discover anything. Unfortunately, this entire time, the scarlet bees returned without success. Sima Yu was not disappointed either. If a big family like the Mo clan wanted to hide anything, then outsiders would definitely not be able to find out. They came to the biggest store in the city and said to the clerk who came up, I want to see your shopkeeper. Several customer, I'm sorry, our shopkeeper is busy now, it is not convenient to meet customers. The clerk said apologetically, if you want to buy something, I can introduce it to you. I don't buy anything. Sima Yu took out a token and handed it to him. When the clerk saw the token, his expression immediately changed. He took the token and said, everyone, wait a minute, I'll talk to the shopkeeper. After that, he left through the side door and went to the backyard. It took a while before he came back. He returned the token and said, the shopkeeper is meeting guests, but he said he can invite you over. Please come with me. The four of them followed the clerk to the backyard and came to the living room. They were surprised when they saw the person sitting in the living room, it's you. Previous chapter. Next chapter. The person who was sitting inside wasn't someone else, but was Mo Zhan, whom she had seen the other day. Young miss, why are you here? Mo Zhan was surprised to see Sima Yu. Hadn't she gone to the imperial capital? Why had she come here? n/o/vel/b/jn.c//om. I heard that something has happened to the Mo clan, so I came over to take a look and see if it's true. Sima Yu said, when I went to Ink City to take a look, I knew that this news was true. Old Zhan, this is. The shopkeeper had never seen Sima Yu before. Because of what had happened in the Mo clan recently, he didn't know much about things in the outside world. She is young Miss Yu, she is a princess appointed by the Ghost King. Mo Zhan introduced. She is young Miss Yu. The shopkeeper was surprised. He got up immediately and bowed to Sima Yu, forgive me for being ignorant and not recognizing young Mississippi. I hope young miss won't be offended. Shopkeeper is too polite. Sima Yu stepped forward and helped him up. She looked at Mo Zhan and said, why are you here? What exactly has happened in the Mo clan? Where are Mo Ji and Mo Yu? I have come out for young master this time. Mo Zhan said. A look of worry appeared on his face when he spoke of Mo Ji. What's wrong with Mo Ji? Mo Zhan hesitated for a moment, then he told her the truth. When we came back from Nirvana River, we were intercepted by assassins and young master was poisoned. He's still not woken up yet. What? Sima Yu was shocked. It had been 2 or 3 years since she and Mo Ji had parted ways, and he had been unconscious this whole time. This time I have come out to instruct old Su to find the medicine ingredients that we need. Mo Zhan said. Have you found a way to detoxify the poison? Sima Yu asked with hope in her eyes. No, it's medicine ingredients to prolong young master's life. However, the doctor in the clan said that if we don't detoxify the poison soon, then he is afraid that young master. Mo Jean's eyes became red when he spoke about this. Then have you given the instructions? I also know some medical skills, take me to have a look. Sima Yu said. Mo Jean didn't know about Sima Yu's medical skills, but he knew that she had a good relationship with Mo Ji. So when he learned that she knew medical skills, he wanted her to try to heal him. I have already left the instructions and was just about to return to the clan. Please follow me, princess. He took out the teleportation array and brought Sima Yu back to the clan with him. The location of the Mo clan was very concealed. If it weren't for the direct teleportation array, it would be difficult for ordinary people to get there. Upon seeing Mo Jean had brought 4 strangers in, someone stopped him immediately. Mo Jean, what are you doing? How can you bring strangers in at a time like this? This is Princess Yu, the person that the ancestors have ordered us to protect. Mo Jean said, Princess Yu is versed in medical skills and I want to take her to treat our young master. When the other party heard that she was Princess Yu, his attitude became more respectful. However, he still didn't give way immediately, but said awkwardly, Mo Jean, it's not a trivial matter to treat the young master. Miss Yu looks very young, even the doctors in the clan are at a loss. If something were to happen, where is the patriarch? I will bring the princess to see the patriarch. The patriarch is in the assembly hall. Princess, we will go. Where is Mo? Sima Yu asked. The ancestor is also there. Unexpectedly, Mo appeared in front of them as soon as she spoke. As soon as Mo saw Sima Yu, a look of relief appeared on his face and he said solemnly, You're here. Well, I came to see if I can be of any help. Sima Yu nodded. Mo-ji. I'll bring you over. Mo said. He flicked his sleeves and they disappeared from where they stood, with only Mo Jean and the person who had intercepted them left behind. The ancestor came out to greet her personally. It seemed that the rumor that she had a good relationship with the ancestor before was true. The Mo clan's patriarch, Mo Xia, Mo Ji's grandfather, and Mo Ji's father Mo Li were in Mo Ji's courtyard. They were a little surprised when they saw that Mo had brought a little girl over. They had been in the assembly hall earlier discussing matters when Mo had suddenly said that someone was coming and had asked them to wait here. They hadn't expected that the person would be her. Greetings, princess. Sima Yu dispensed with the niceties and asked them directly, Where is Mo Ji? He's inside. I will take you in. Mo brought Sima Yu to Mo Ji's bedroom where she saw a lifeless Mo Ji with a pale and thin face lying on the bed. Let me take a look at him first. Sima Yu stepped forward and began to examine him. The people in the room daren't speak. Although Mo Xia and Mo Li had their doubts, they didn't dare to say anything seeing as their ancestor was present. Sima Yu had taken a long time examining Mo Ji. From the expression on her face, Mo knew that Mo Ji would be fine. How is it? Who was the person who poisoned him? Sima Yu asked instead of replying to him. Why? The poison in Mo Ji is from the human realm. Sima Yu said, Did the assassin sent to kill him have any ties to the human realm? Mo was a little surprised when he heard this. Are you sure? Sima Yu nodded and said affirmatively, The person who developed this kind of poison is my friend. However, this kind of poison seals the throat in the human realm, and there is no way to survive it. Maybe the other party wanted to use a poison that you cannot trace, so he chose a poison from the human realm. However, it is also precisely because the human race and ghost race have physical differences in their bodies, that's why Mo Ji has been able to survive till this day. When she thought of this, she couldn't help but be a little scared. If the other party had used poison from the ghost realm, would the news she received be of Mo Ji's death? Then do you know what the antidote is? Mo Li asked. I do know what the antidote is, but because Mo Ji's physique has changed, I need to do some research first. I probably only need 3 to 5 days. Sima Yu said. It's good that he can be saved, it's good that he can be saved. Mo Li was relieved. As long as there was hope, then there would be no problem. Mo looked at Sima Yu. I heard that you were versed in medical skills in the human realm, but I didn't expect your medical knowledge to be so good. I thought those people were exaggerating. It was precisely because of this that it had never crossed his mind to seek Sima Yu to treat Mo Ji. How old was I when you first met me? It's normal that you didn't believe it back then. Sima Yu said, Prepare a house for me. The news that Sima Yu was going to heal Mo Ji had spread through the Mo clan quickly. Most people hadn't placed much hope in her arrival. If it weren't for the support of their ancestor, they would have probably prevented such a ridiculous thing from happening. A little girl who was barely 100 years old would be better than the doctor in their Mo clan who was over 1,000 years old? This was hard to believe. However, no one dared to say anything as the ancestor was present, especially as this person was someone the ancestor had personally went to greet. Mo Ji felt like he had been asleep for a very long time, his whole body ached and his head felt like it had been pricked by needles. He wanted to reach out to rub it but he found that he was unable to move. When he felt that there was someone around him, he opened his eyes laboriously. Previous chapter. Cool hands touched his forehead and he heard a familiar voice. All right, the fever has subsided, it means that the poison is almost detoxified. Yu? Mo Ji called out, his voice was hoarse. Don't talk, eat this first. Sima Yu's voice sounded vague and dreamlike to him. A pill was stuffed into his mouth and it dissolved upon entering his mouth. Almost at once, he felt that his head was a lot clearer, and his mouth was a lot more comfortable. He looked at Sima Yu. She pulled out a silver needle and pierced it on his body, then she said, You were poisoned. I am detoxifying the poison for you. If you have any uncertainty, ask me when you're feeling better. Mo Ji blinked and watched her as she worked quietly. After she had removed all the silver needles, she covered him with a quilt. Lingyu, you can let them in now, she said and turned her head. Only then did Mo Ji notice that Lingyu was standing at the end of the bed. Wu Lingyu removed the spirit barrier, but before he could open the door, Mo Li and the others had already opened the door and entered. Princess, how is it? Mo Ji's mother, Yu Xiao, asked as soon as she came in. The poison has already been detoxified, there's no major problem now. However, he has been relying on medicines the past 2 years to prolong his lifespan, therefore, he is relatively weak right now. He needs to spend some time recuperating before it can fully recover. Thank you, princess. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid that Jier wouldn't have made it through. Yun Xiao looked at her gratefully. You don't have to thank me, aunt, Mo Ji is my friend. Sima Yu smiled. You are ancestors' master, and you are a princess, how can you call me aunt? You can call me Yun Xiao. That's right, we can't mix up the seniority. Mo Li also responded. It's alright. Mo is too old, we don't have to worry about him. Sima Yu said, we will do it this way, and it's something else for him. This. Since the princess has said so, then we will do it this way. Mo Xia came over to the bed after he had spoken. When he saw that Mo Ji had indeed woken up and his complexion had improved a lot, he knew that the poison had indeed been detoxified. Grandfather. Mo Ji called out softly, his voice was much better than it was before. It's good that you're awake. Mo Xia patted his hand, grandfather will avenge this grudge for you. Grandfather Mo Ji has just woken up, he needs to rest more and talk less. You may talk for a short while, then he has to rest. I'm going back to rest first. Sima Yu said. Alright, thank you princess. Mo Xia and the others stood up and bowed as she left. She nodded and left Mo Ji's bedroom with Wu Lingyu. When Sima Yu arrived in her room, which was in the courtyard next to Mo Ji's courtyard, Wu Lingyu noticed that she seemed unhappy and he raised his eyebrows. Are you thinking about the human realm? This poison was developed by Shi Qianshi, I didn't expect to see it in the ghost realm. He is in Paramount Valley right now, so he shouldn't have any connection with the ghost realm. Sima Yu said. If you are worried about who is colluding with the ghost clan, why don't you just ask Mo's family? Wu Lingyu said. I'll ask later. I'm tired from researching medicines these past few days. Now that Mo Ji is awake, I think that all they're concerned about now is him. I'll go and ask Mou after I've rested for half a day. Alright, let's go and get some rest. Wu Lingyu nodded seriously. She was going to rest, how did it become the both of them going to rest? Wu Lingyu smiled softly, I'm also tired from accompanying you the past few days. Come, let's go to sleep together. It's getting late anyway. Early the next morning, Sima Yu went to see Mo Ji. After a night's rest, his spirit seemed to have improved a lot. Yu, thank you. You saved me. Mo Ji smiled gratefully at her. Your life was not meant to end. I just happened to know of the poison that you were afflicted with. How do you feel now? I feel much better. Mo Ji said, but my hands still don't seem to be functioning very well and Sima Yu let go of him and replied, that is normal. After all, you've been poisoned for more than 2 years, it will take time to fully recover. Your recovery has actually been quite good. I will refine some pills for your recuperation later on and you can take them. Thank you. Alright, you've already thanked me multiple times. If you really want to thank me, get well soon and send me lots of treasures. Sima Yu said with a smile. The thank you gift you want is so common. I can't help it if I am just an earthling. Sima Yu stood up, I'm going to look for your ancestor. Have a good rest. My ancestor should be in the assembly hall with my grandfather right now. Mo Ji reminded her. Sima Yu already knew this, but she didn't know if she was allowed to go to the assembly hall, or how to get there. Princess, the patriarch would like to see you. Sima Yu knew that they were in the assembly hall, that meant that they were asking her to participate in their discussion. Wu Lingyu and her arrived at the assembly hall. The quaint hall exuded the breath of history. You're here. Did you go to see Mo Ji first? Mou was seated in the main seat and the place next to him was empty. At his signal, Sima Yu walked over to the seat, and Wu Lingyu sat down below her. How much do you know about the Mo clan? Mou asked her. Sima Yu shook her head, I don't know anything. You don't know anything but you rushed all the way here? Mou glanced at her and said, yes, I suppose that's just you. Although I don't know anything, I came to see if I could be of any help. However, I was unable to find out anything about the Mo clan on the outside. Sima Yu was speechless, but it was a good thing I came. If Mo Ji's condition had dragged on any longer, I'm afraid that he wouldn't have made it. Princess, we are already very grateful that you are able to help us. However, Princess should leave the Mo clan as soon as possible. We will arrange for someone to escort you to the imperial capital. Mo Xia said. Oh. Sima Yu hadn't expected Mo Xia to have said something like this. This was completely unlike Mo Xia's style. Why? Is your opponent tough to handle? Not easy to handle, but we will be able to manage it. Mo Xia said, their elder had a problem with me before. I don't know who he has been bewitched by this time and he keeps causing trouble for us. Sima Yu understood right away. For such a large clan like the Mo clan and to be on guard with all their strength, this was not a trivial matter. One of the 8 noble clans? The Ghost Realm? Or the Soul Region? She asked. Mo Xia was not surprised as knew that she would be able to guess who it was. It seems that I have guessed it. If it is against an evenly matched clan, then why are you being suppressed by them? Among the 8 noble clans, the Mo clan rank was high, and it should not be easy for others to suppress them. But looking at the way the Mo clan was now, it was obvious that they had been suppressed miserably. The opponent is 2 other clans. Mo said, the strength of the 4 families in the ghost realm is not much different. The 2nd and 4th families are united, even if we deal with it, it will be a little troublesome. No wonder you even came back. Sima Yu said, but, why? Why did they deal with you? They have been at peace for a long time, and they will not be suppressed suddenly for no reason. Because of the mythical dragon order and old ancestor. Mo finished speaking, Mo Xia and the others yelled out in disapproval. It's alright. Mo said calmly, it doesn't matter if she knows. Sima Yu looked at everyone questioningly, what is the mythical dragon order? Mythical dragon order? Wu Lingyu, who rarely interrupted, even said, is that the mythical dragon order? You know about it? Sima Yu looked at Wu Lingyu in surprise. I've heard of it before. Wu Lingyu said, that's something that can get the power of the dragon. As long as you get it, you can mobilize all the spirit beasts on the ground, whether it is in the human realm, the ghost realm or the devil realm. If one unlocks the power within it, then one would be able to gain the power of the mythical dragon staying inside, and half the power of the mythical dragon sealed inside. The power of the dragon? Sima Yu widened her eyes, Mo, is it true? Crimson Flame's injury lasted for hundreds of thousands of years, and he had to transform into a beast egg to save his last life. After contracting with her, coupled with her continued promotion, finally recovered a bit. However, even a little bit, she felt that it was a very powerful force. If he recovers completely, she can't imagine the power. The Azure Dragon and Vermilion Bird were the existence that stood side by side above the world. If it was only half the power of the Azure Dragon, it was also a very terrifying power. And the power to mobilize all the spirit beasts on the ground was very attractive. Yes, the mythical dragon order has indeed come to the ghost realm. But it is not here with us. Mo said, however, that guy believes that it is here, and he has also attracted accomplices. The 2nd one is the Qi clan, and the 4th one is the 9th clan. It's them. The guy at Chimi has never been convinced that I am better than him, so when he attains such news, he naturally won't let me go and wants to wipe us out. Mo said. The whereabouts of mythical dragon order has been unknown, why do they think that it is in the Mo clan? Something must have just happened, right? Wu Lingyu asked. Because of a child. A child? Yes. After I left vast region, I walked around and met a strange boy in a small city. Strange boy? The boy seems to be only 7 or 8 years old, but he is not like a normal kid. Out of curiosity, I had been in contact with him for a while. Mo said this, seeming to remember something, and stopped. And then? What did you find? I found out that he was not a child. It was only when he was young that something happened that stopped his body from growing. But before I could study in depth, he disappeared. Mo continued. Could it be that that kid is the owner of the mythical dragon order? I didn't expect it at that time. Thinking about it now, he should have been. Mo said, maybe it is because of the mythical dragon order that his body have stopped growing. Is it because of inheriting the power of mythical dragon? On the contrary, it is precisely because he received the mythical dragon order, and did not really unlock the power in it, that caused this situation in his body. Sima Yu tapped her fingers on the table a few times, thought for a while, and said, because that kid may have leaked the power of mythical dragon before and then disappeared, so you will be suspected because you stayed with him. They thought that you took him away. But this is just an excuse. Mo gave her a look of praise, the Qi clan has been eyeing us all the time. Without this incident, there will be another incident. What they need is just a reason. TSK, great families like yours will naturally have a lot of contradictions. Over time, they will always break out. Sima Yu knocked on the table, however, I don't think you should put those guys in your eyes. It was Mo that you were more worried about before. This matter is really a headache. If it's just a headache, then it really doesn't matter. Sima Yu said, it will be over in a while and I don't need to worry about you. What do you mean by doing this? You don't have to don't worry about us. Mo glared at her. If you didn't come, then you can still forget it. Since you're already here, you are on the same boat. You will be considered to be with us even if you leave now. Oh, hearing your words, so it means to say that we are together? Sima Yu blinked at him. Huh. Mo looked at her, how did he feel that she suddenly changed her style of talking? You said it yourself. We are together. Yes. Then you and I are together, so you won't be with Ghost Concubine? Sima Yu looked at him with a smile, cousin is very worried, saying that Ghost Concubine is trying to win you over, and I'm afraid you will be hooked. Does this still need to be worried about? Mo reached out and knocked her head, giving her a severe look. Hey, I'm not worried, but my cousin is worried, who made you work for Ghost Concubine before. Sima Yu patted his hand, speaking of which, you still wanted to kill me before. You remember all the little things, you have a good memory. Mo hummed. I am more interested in that child than worrying about you. Sima Yu said, do you have any news about that child? Since he has the mythical dragon order on his body, we will naturally look for him, Mo said, but because of those people's obstruction, it isn't smooth. Then when your business here is over, let's go find the kid. Sima Yu gave Wu Lingyu a look, how about it? As long as you are happy. Wu Lingyu supported all her ideas. Although we will not be overwhelmed by them, it will take some time and energy to solve them, Mo Xia said. It's alright, anyway, my main task now is to cultivate, I can wait. Sima Yu said, if you need anything, just tell me, I won't be in a death seclusion. You are really thoughtful, of course. By the way, I have some people outside of the Mo clan. You have to treat them well, they do represent my grandfather. Why didn't you say it earlier? Sima Yu stayed in the Mo clan and basically did not go out except to check on Mo. Wu Lingyu, Huan as well as Black Shadow did not cultivate but just wandered around the Mo clan. When the Mo clansmen saw them, they were very curious about their identities. Some of them even ran up to challenge them. On one of the days, after Sima Yu checked Moji's body, she was dragged by Mo to drink tea. The room where the two of them were was located at the highest point of the Mo clan and you could see the whole Mo clan. Looking far away, Sima Yu happened to see Wu Lingyu and the others fighting with the Mo clansmen. Many people gathered around and made a lot of noise. You are really leisurely. Sima Yu took a sip of tea and said softly, you really deceived a lot of people like this. When she was outside, even she thought that the Mo clan had encountered a lot of trouble, so she transferred all the people outside. But who could have thought that they were so leisurely in the clan? This is the only way to blindfold the enemy. Mo said, if you don't let them taste a bit of sweetness, they will never take the next step. Are you ready? Sima Yu asked. This grievance wasn't born within a few years, and preparations are not done within a few days. There are some things that needs to be resolved. Do you remember that I once said that the ghost realm was going to be in chaos? I thought we could tide over this turmoil, I didn't expect us to become one of the factors. Mo said. Sima Yu was silent. If the world is calm for too long, there will be some turmoil naturally. As I have heard before, the general trend of the world, if it has been divided for a long time, it will be united eventually, and if it's united, it will naturally divide. Things won't remain as they are. Although this is the case, it also needs an opportunity. I once said that you will bring changes to the ghost realm. You will be the cause and the effect. According to you, this happened because of me? Sima Yu raised her eyebrows. It's not me who came into contact with the child with the mythical dragon order. He felt that this incident was related to her, but he was not a divinator and could not figure out the real involvement. Could it be because she was here now? But, his instinct told him that it wasn't like that. He still remembers when he was in the human realm, when he closed his eyes, she was in the chaotic ghost realm that appeared in front of him. The turmoil between her and the ghost realm was not just about participating in this Mo clan's feud. Sima Yu saw that he was silent and called, what's on your mind? It's nothing. Mo didn't tell her what he thought, and took a sip of his teacup. Alright, the people watching the excitement over there cheered because of Wu Lingyu's beautiful moves, and attracted the attention of Sima Yu and Mo. After watching for a while, Sima Yu looked back again and brewed another tea for the two. Mo, do you know of the Cardinal Point's divine seal? She asked. You know everything already? Mo glanced at her, and he knew it by looking at her eyes. Also, if she didn't know, how could she bring up the Cardinal Point's divine seal? Looking at you like this, I know. Sima Yu said for sure, it seems that you don't know much. Mo said. Sima Yu sighed, my grandfather said that the place to suppress my mother is too dangerous, and unless I have reached the level of an underworld paragon, he will not tell me the whereabouts of the Cardinal Point's divine seal. His Majesty is also thinking about your safety. Mo rarely said a good thing for others. When His Majesty and I got the news, he was also annoyed for a long time, saying that he shouldn't have made such a decision in the first place. But it had already happened. Only the Cardinal Point's divine seal can crack that ancient array. So, I must get the Cardinal Point's divine seal. Sima Yu's eyes were firm. You should also know the whereabouts of the Cardinal Point's divine seal, right? Although I do know of it, but I won't tell you. Mo said, I agree with His Majesty on this point. If you haven't broken through Underworld Paragon, this news cannot be told to you. Oh. Sima Yu turned the teacup with both hands. I knew you would say that, so I didn't have any hope. You can drink tea here by yourself. I'm going back to practice and break through earlier, so you can tell me everything earlier. After that, she got up and left. Mo did not keep her, but stared at her teacup in a daze. Why didn't you tell her the truth? A voice came from the air, but there was no one's shadow. Tell her what? The 4 divine seals are scattered in the world, we only know 3 of them. The other one is missing? Mo chuckled, that way she won't be able to survive. But she will know after all, won't she? Would it be cruel for her to work so hard for that day and get such a result? I know what you mean, but I think His Majesty's thoughts are the same as mine. While there is still time, I will continue to send people to investigate. Maybe I can find the seal. Mo sighed, this possibility was really too small. The Cardinal Point's divine seal was divided into 4 and the East Cardinal Point divine seal was in the hands of the Ghost King, the Western Cardinal Point divine seal was with Qing Han, while the South Cardinal Point divine seal was in the abyss of hell, and the whereabouts of the North Cardinal Point divine seal was still unknown. Ever since he knew that he needed the Cardinal Point's divine seal to rescue Yu Keluo, the Ghost King had been sending people to investigate, but he still found nothing. And I heard that the other 2 parties are also looking for it, which means that the entire Ghost Realm was looking for the North Cardinal Point divine seal. In this case, there is still no news, then. I don't know how she would react when she breaks through the Underworld Paragon and knows the news. Mo did not dare to imagine. When he knew her, she was still a little doll that was just dozens of years old. For whatever reason, her spiritual power was sealed as heaven's punishment. If so, she still told him that one day she would come to the Ghost Realm and rescue her mother. For so many years, family reunion has always been the biggest thought in her heart. If she was told that it was impossible, it would be a cruel thing. But, I can't tell her now. If she knows it, I'm afraid it will make her lose the motivation to move forward. At this time, not far from the Mo clan, a 7 or 8-year-old boy was holding a square iron block and smashing the walnut in his hand. What kind of walnut is this? Why is it so hard? Fortunately, I have this guy, or I can't eat it. After the little boy broke the walnut open, he picked out the flesh inside, put it in his mouth, and chewed hard. However, it tastes really delicious. After eating one, he picked up the iron and smashed a few more. Feeling a little tired, he just sat down on the ground and slowly picked the walnut flesh inside to eat. Hey, I told you to come here to find that woman, but where is she? The ghost realm is so big, will I have to walk to my death? He muttered as he ate. The iron cube was placed aside, and the bottom was vaguely visible. A North character. Sima Yu retreated into seclusion. Mo couldn't even go find her for tea, making him depressed. Fortunately, it didn't take long for him to do something, which eased his boredom. Ancestor, the patriarch said that the Qi clan and the 9th clan have finally started to move. A clansman came over to report and continued, do you want to head over? Is there only the 9th clan? What about the other ones before that? Are you asking about the 1st to the 8th clan 1s? The other clans did not move. They seem resentful that the 9th clan drove them out. Originally, there was only the 9th clan in the ghost realm. There was no such thing as the 1st to the 8th clan. However, after the 9th clan expelled some of the people from the clan, the descendants of those people slowly formed the 1st to the 8th clan, and were solicited in this power struggle after they attained some fame. For example, the 4th and 5th clans followed the ghost concubine. Hence, the 1st clan to the 9th clans were connected. If the 9th clan unites the 1st to the 8th clan, it would take some effort to deal with. Except for the 4th and 5th clan, there aren't much movements. The clansman answered. The 4th and 5th clans were originally reliant on the 9th clan, otherwise they would not be able to stand out amongst so many clans. Now that the 9th clan has started to move, they will naturally follow it, but I don't know if they know the reason. Most of them are just going to be serving as cannon fodder. Mo mocked. If the 4th and 5th clan knew about it, then Ghost Concubine would know as well. So even if there were any benefits, it would not fall on the 9th clan. So I think they don't know about the mythical dragon order. Go and tell Mos yeah, don't move for now, just go ahead as planned. We shall wait for them to walk in by themselves. Mo said. Yes. The clansman responded and left. You are so confident that with the lone power of your Mo clan, you can fight against 2 of the 8 noble clans? Wu Lingyu's voice sounded in his ears, and his figure slowly appeared in the air. Mo was not surprised by his appearance, but asked, where are the 2 people from the underworld? It turns out that he also knew the identity of Black Shadow and Huan. They went out to play. Wu Lingyu said, you haven't answered my question yet. The Mo clan acts in a low-key manner, this time is different from then. Those people want to move the Mo clan, it depends on whether they have the means. You have confidence in the Mo clan, but what if the Qi clan and the 9th clan are the same? Wu Lingyu asked. Mo narrowed his eyes slightly, what do you know? I don't know anything, but just want to talk about it. There are exceptions to everything. If you have something, it is impossible to ignore it with your faint temperament, so this trouble will eventually be passed to her again. Wu Lingyu replied, she is now cultivating well, so I can only handle these things for her. The corners of Mo's mouth twitched, this guy was really straightforward. What do you want to do? He asked. It's very simple, let me know your plan, and then see if you need to improve it. Wu Lingyu flourished his long sleeves and sat down in front of Mo. Mo stared at Wu Lingyu, secretly trying to figure out his identity. His demeanor was comparable to the Ghost King. Wu Lingyu certainly knew what he thought, but he didn't say anything and continued to let him look on. At that time, he was the Devil Emperor, and against the Ghost King of that year, there wasn't a clear distinction on who had the upper hand. He even took the Devil Clansman to attack the human realm. Mo was silent for a while, and said, tell me what you think. 1 year later. Sima Yu finally came out of her seclusion. Feeling that her body was a little stiff, she stretched for a bit and found that there was no one where she lived. Where are the 3 guys? Don't tell me that they got into trouble and were kicked out. She looked around, but saw no one, so she went out. The Mo clan, which was originally lively, was also very quiet at this time. She looked around, but she didn't even see the Mo clansmen who were everywhere before. It took a while before she saw a group of little kids. The kids were only a few years old, and they were carried by a teenage girl. The little girl saw Sima Yu and said, Ancestor. Sima Yu twitched the corners of her mouth, thinking she had auditory hallucinations. Ancestor? Was she that old? Ancestor is the master of our ancestor, hence you are naturally also addressed as Ancestor. The little girl was not very old, but she has a good sense of words. How do you address emoji? Sima Yu asked. Little uncle. Then you just call me aunt. Sima Yu said with a calm face, I won't agree to be addressed as Ancestor. Yes, aunt. The little girl responded with a smile, and asked the little dolls to call her aunt. What about the others? Why is the clan so deserted? Sima Yu asked. It's the Qi clan and the 9th clan that came, and the Ancestor took the clan to fight. The little girl replied. You started fighting so soon? Sima Yu was a little surprised, she didn't seem to be in retreat for long. They had been fighting several times. The little girl said, the Ancestor said that this time the fight is almost over. So fast? Sima Yu was even more surprised. She thought it would last for at least 3 or 5 years, but she did not expect that she would be in seclusion for 1 year, and it would be the time of the final battle. It seems that Big Brother Wu Lingyu had some ideas to let us fight the Qi clan, and they were unable to fight back, so things sped up. The little girl said, if it weren't for the group of little kids in the clan, I would also follow them, n/o/vel/b/in.c//in.c/om. Wu Lingyu also participated in this matter, which surprised Sima Yu somewhat. But she also knew that he did it all for her, otherwise it would be impossible for him to manage these things with his temperament. Where are they now? They are over at Mo City, I don't know where exactly though. Aunt, are you going to? I know how to get to Mo City. When Sima Yu left, the battle was almost over. She felt the vibration from the void. Seeing that Mou and Wu Lingyu were not amongst the Mo clan, it was estimated that they had all gone to a duel in the void. The Qi clan and the Ninth clan confronted the Mo clan, and both sides were killed and injured, but depending on the state of both sides, the Mo clan was much more relaxed. But the other party didn't give up either, and the people staring at the Mo clan wanted to kill them all. The Mo clan's actions this year were completely different from before. Their plans had been disrupted, their actions were swift, and their tactics were also different from before, leaving them completely incapable of parrying. Even if they hid their strength in advance, it still wasn't easy to deal with. But if they wanted to deal with them this way, the Mo clan must be dreaming. Even if there was one more Wu Lingyu, they still had a chance to win. Huh? Have you stopped fighting? Sima Yu's voice came, causing the atmosphere of the entire battlefield to change suddenly. Previous chapter. The Qi clan and the Ninth clan were full of energy this time, they were about to come and destroy the Mo clan, so they brought everyone they could bring. This battle was bigger and more noticeable than the previous battles. The three major families of the four major families in the Ghost Realm suddenly beat you to death, which also attracted the attention of many people. Although they were very curious how this suddenly happened, no one dared to send someone to investigate the news. They just stood aside and watched this fight. The Qi clan and the Ninth clan originally thought that this time they would definitely be able to pull the Mo clan down from the first position. But they didn't expect that the Mo clan was also keeping a low profile over the years, and their strength was much greater than before. The things that were suppressed by the two clans in the past were also a bluff, so the full confidence was shattered by the Mo clan. And the ancestor of the two families were also very easy to deal with Mou, but I didn't expect an extra stranger. That stranger obviously looked very young, however, how could he have such a strong strength to actually hold down their ancestor? However, even so, the Qi clan and the Ninth clan didn't feel that they would lose, at best it was a little harder to win. As long as Mou and the stranger died, they would be victorious. But unexpectedly, while waiting, Sima Yu actually ran over. When they saw her, they remembered Sheep City. At first, Di Wu and the others HD recorded a lot of images of the Sheep City incident. They originally planned to spread it only in the imperial capital, but they didn't expect that this incident would have a big impact on everyone, and they gradually flowed out. As a result, one copy was made into 2 copies, and 2 copies became 4 copies. More and more people got the Shadow Stone, and they also saw the lightning tribulation outside Sheep City. Now that Sima Yu was here, would she do something like that again? If she pulls them through the tribulation together, what were they to do? Did they have to retreat like this? But they were so unwilling. The ancestors' level battle wasn't over, and Sima Yu did not intend to activate the lightning tribulation. They waited in place with a fluke mentality. As long as their ancestor won, even with Sima Yu, it will be difficult for the Mo clan to develop in the future. Compared to the worries over here, the Mo clan will feel much more relaxed seeing her. When confronted with the Qi clan and the others, their tense hearts suddenly relaxed a lot, and many people showed smiles on their faces. Yu, why are you here? Mo greeted her. When I came out of seclusion, no one could be found. Sima Yu said, where is Lingyu? She didn't see Wu Lingyu after looking around. According to him, he should be here at this time. Unexpectedly, Lingyu had such great skills. Both he and ancestor went to the void. Mo responded. Fighting between people who are too strong, the power was too strong and the scope was too wide, so they chose to fight in the void. Sima Yu was still a little surprised when she heard this. She knew that Wu Lingyu was great, but she didn't expect him to be able to compete with Qi and Ninth clan's ancestor. He has the Eye of the Dragon to continuously provide power. This is an advanced plugged-in. Black Shadow appeared beside her. Huan did not come, he should be protecting Wu Lingyu. The ancestor have been fighting for a long time, and there should be results soon. Mo Xia wore a golden armor, looking majestic. Then we'll wait a moment. Sima Yu said. Wait, what are you waiting for? The Qi clan and the Ninth clan suddenly understood that Sima Yu was planning to take action. If they were to deal with them, they would definitely choose the simple method of lightning tribulation. We can't let her lead lightning tribulation. Let's go together. Sima Yu must be strangled here, the Qi clan cried. The Qi clan and the Ninth clan hesitated for a while, but decided to eliminate Sima Yu first. Especially the 4th and 5th clan, who played the vanguard for the 9th clan. They were originally from Ghost Concubine, and Sima Yu was not in the same camp. If they killed her now, they could still go to Ghost Concubine to claim credit. Thinking about it this way, the 4th to the 5th clan are all excited, and they attacked Sima Yu. Mo Xia saw that the 4th and 5th clan did their hands, they all moved, ready to fight back. However, the forwards of the 4th to the 5th clan did not even reach half of the distance and were killed by the power coming from the air. You are so courageous, you dare to attack the princess. Han Shan and Han Feng brought the Ghost King's people out from the air, and their sharp momentum made them feel cold. Han Shan and Han Feng. The patriarch of the Qi clan naturally knew the 2 people around the Ghost King. Seeing these 2 people, he knew that the Ghost King already knew everything. n/o/vel/b/jn.c//jn.c//om. 2 lords, why are you here? The members of the 9th clan are still holding fantasies, hoping that they are just passing by. This way, I can say something good, so that they don't see it. If they have been following Sima Yu, then the result. Han Feng snorted, we are on the king's order to protect the safety of the young princess. When we thought that we would not be on the stage, I didn't expect you to be really brave. My lord, They want to quibble, but what do they say? They saw and heard about Han Feng and Han Shan with their own eyes, and they couldn't say anything. Han Feng didn't tell them much, and said to the guard behind him, the 4th and 5th clan intend to harm the young princess. According to the king's instructions, kill without mercy. The 3 words, kill without mercy, fell in the ears of everyone, knocking into their hearts. The Ghost King is really a treasure, this granddaughter. In the last incident in Sheep City, he let people wipe out the families involved at the time, and a bloody storm was set off at that time. Now facing the Qi clan and the 9th clan, they still didn't mean to give them half face, and they still said to kill the 4th to the 5th clan who depended on them. 2 lords. The 9th patriarch shouted, after the 4th to the 5th clan have been serving the ghost concubine for the past few years, they are also helpless when they attacked the young princess today. I hope you will look at ghost concubine's face and spare us. Ghost concubine's person? Han Shan raised his voice. When everyone thought there was a play, he glanced at them faintly, and snorted coldly, what does that have to do with the king? The order we get is from the king, no matter what who is it, as long as you dare to touch the young princess, you will kill without mercy. What are you still doing? Are you deaf? The reprimands at the back were addressed to the guards behind. They understood what Han Shan meant and did not dare to delay. They all attacked the 4th and 5th people. Although the 4th and 5th clans were also big families, otherwise they can't be seen by ghost concubine, but in front of the guards chosen by the Ghost King, they were soon wiped out. Sima Yu touched her nose, the people the Ghost King gave her were really amazing. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Comments. Tip. The members of the 4th and 5th clan were killed by the guards of the Ghost King, and the faces of the Qi clan and the 9th clan were extremely dark. Tick. A drop of rain fell, just on the back of Sima Yu's hand. The cool touch gave her a familiar feeling. She looked up at the sky, curled her lips and smiled. Other people also felt the raindrops fall. It was a little strange, how could it rain in this kind of weather, and how could Sima Yu be so happy to see it rain? It's over. Before Moj asked, she spoke first, and smiled at him, we won. They haven't seen the result yet, how does she know it's over? The rain fell on them, instead of dampening their clothes, but sticking to them. This rain is amazing. Someone said in surprise. Soon, the raindrops moved, slowly gathered together, and turned into a figure. Just when everyone was amazed, the water slowly turned into a person. After seeing Wu Lingyu's face, everyone was shocked. Lingyu. Sima Yu ran over, Wu Lingyu stretched out her hand to hold her, you're out of seclusion already. Where are they? Sima Yu asked. The 9th old ghost has been killed by me, Mou is fighting another one, and it's almost too soon. Wu Lingyu replied. The Mo clan smiled upon hearing this, while the 9th clan was horrified. Their ancestor died? What will they do in the future? Sima Yu sneered when she saw their facial expressions. At this moment, they were still thinking about the future? Did they think that after this incident, the Mo clan would let them go? It's good for the Mo clan to keep a low profile, but it doesn't mean that they will let go of the past hatred. Not only the 9th clan was worried, but the Qi clan was also worried. Wu Lingyu actually killed the ancestor of the 9th clan and did not stay to help Mou. Instead, he returned by himself, indicating that Mou was in very good condition and he did not need his help at all. This was not good news for the Qi clan. Sure enough, after waiting for a while, Mou came back. Although he was wounded, the aura still shocked people's hearts. Old Qi has been killed by me, do you still continue to fight today? Mou's thin lips lightened, and his voice was as lazy as ever, his words struck the Qi clan and 9th clan like lightning. It's over, it's really over this time. The 8 noble clans in the ghost realm was powerful, but an important reason was also because they had an ancestor in the family. With their ancestors around, others wouldn't dare to invade them. Now that their ancestor had died, the status of the family will drop sharply in the future, they could foresee that many people will be eyeing them. Mou glanced at them as a glint flashed by his eyes. How would they dare to continue staying around? Wasn't it simply seeking their own death? Retreat. The survivors of the 2 clans hurriedly left, and even the corpse of the clansman was not taken away, for fear that the Mo clan would suddenly change their minds and act against them again. Ancestor, these people are really hateful, why should we let them go? That is, Ancestor, they came to kill us, why should we let them go? A few juniors were upset, these people have came all the way to their doorstep, and they even let them go like this. How willing were they? NOVLB //JNN. You don't have to worry, deal with the enemy, sometimes it is better to let them live than to let them die. Mo Xia touched his mustache, smiling treacherously. Patriarch? The juniors didn't understand that Patriarch smile, but seeing it was there another arrangement? However, this was indeed more in line with the proprietor's temperament. What are your eyes? Mo Xia glared at the juniors, dare to look at him that way? Patriarch, just tell us about it, otherwise we will be too unwilling. Someone dared, booed. Yeah. Just tell you these little boys. The Qi and the 9th clan return to the clan, and they will receive news that 7 or 8 of their underlying industries have been annexed by us. Without the blessing of the old guys, without those industries, would they still be among the 8 noble clans? I'm afraid they will be eaten up and wiped out before long. Falling from the status of a noble clan, you may end up with nowhere. For those who have always been the favorites of heaven, this is indeed better revenge. The Mo clan were happy when they heard this. It was more joyful than killing those people. Grandfather, our previous plan was not like this, right? When was it changed? A person of Mo's generation came out and asked. Mo Xia glanced at Wu Lingyu without a trace. If you change it, you will change it, no matter when you change it. The previous plan is fine, but it's not so thorough and won't result in such a happy ending. Alright, let some people sort it out here. Everyone else, go back to rest in. Starting today, we will return to our normal life. Yes, Patriarch. Everyone returned to the clan. The seriously injured went back to recuperate. Those who were uninjured or only slightly injured, left after a short break in the clan, returned to their original place, and continued to live like before. They used to be even busier, because they had annexed many industries, and they had to digest them well. Sima Yu learned from Mou that Wu Lingyu had given them advice. Although they didn't see the scene of the two talking, she could still imagine it. Don't think about the past. Wu Lingyu poked her forehead. How is the effect of your seclusion? I have already broken through and am now an underworld paragon. Sima Yu replied, however, the further you get to the back, the slower your cultivation speed. I am afraid it will take a long time to break through the underworld paragon and enter the next level. This period of time may be several years, it may be decades, or even hundreds of years. If you can't break through her current level of an underworld paragon, it is impossible for the Ghost King to tell her the whereabouts of the Cardinal Point's divine seal. Calculating the time it takes, her heart became heavy. Wu Lingyu looked at her from the side and pursed his lips. If Sima Yu looked at him at this time, she would see that he was worried. Sima Yu sighed in her heart for a while, then raised her head and asked Wu Lingyu, have you found any news about the people in the ghost realm? Is there the whereabouts of the Cardinal Point's divine seal? Wu Lingyu's expression at this time had returned to normal, and Sima Yu did not realize that he was distracted just now. No. Wu Lingyu said, it seems that the owner of the Cardinal Point's divine seal is very mysterious, and there is no news. So, I really have to wait for the breakthrough to find my grandfather. Sima Yu sighed, if you have any news, remember to tell me. I will. Wu Lingyu thought of what she had heard before. Her request was only for him to tell her the news that the Devil Clan found, but did not ask him to tell her what he had heard. Therefore, someone took advantage of the gap. Thinking of someone's expression at that time, it made him gnash his teeth. On that day, after he talked to Mou about changing his plan, Mou also told him about the Cardinal Point's divine seal. I am under too much pressure on this matter alone, and I want to find someone to share the pressure. Mou smiled with a wretched smile that made one want to beat him up. He snorted coldly. What utter rubbish was this? Because of too much pressure? He was obviously afraid that Yu would get angry when she knew the truth, so he had to find someone to share his fate with. He also has a headache once he thinks of the missing Cardinal Point's divine seal. Even the Ghost King, Qing Han, Abyss of Hell and Mou couldn't find out the news, and the whereabouts of the missing Northern Divine Seal had left them all hanging. He could only hope that when she breaks through the level of the Underworld Paragon, they would have already found out the whereabouts of the Northern Divine Seal. However, this was what Mou told him, and it was not found by the Devil Clan, so it did not fall into her request. Even if she smelled it by then, he planned to still say so. n/o/vel/b/jn.c//om. Sima Yu saw that Wu Lingyu was a little absent-minded, and asked, Lingyu, what are you thinking about? Wu Lingyu restrained his mind and couldn't let her discover any clues at this time. He smiled and said, I'm just thinking, the Mo clan's problem is solved now, what are you going to do next? Do you want to go back, stay here or do something else? Sima Yu thought for a while, and said, I just came out from my seclusion so I need some experience. If I go back into seclusion again, the effect may not be that great. Wu Lingyu also thought of this, so he also knew that she would not continue to retreat. Anyway, the contest between the dynasties is over, we don't have to worry about going back. Why don't we go back slowly? Seeing this meandering river and tall mountains before us, maybe we can have some insights. We can stop and admire the good places with beautiful scenery. If there is a suitable place for cultivation, the same is true wherever you are in seclusion. Sima Yu thought that she had never enjoyed life so leisurely before, and suddenly she had some expectations for such a life. Since you think so, do what you want. Wu Lingyu had no objection at all. Anyway, he came to the ghost realm to accompany her, so she could do whatever she liked. And he also felt sorry for her. When he realized that she hasn't relaxed well for so long, moreover, since she has nothing to do except for cultivating, it was alright to relax like this. Young miss, when shall we leave? Black Shadow and Huan had been in the Mo clan for a year, and they had already explored it well. They were naturally happy when they heard that they were leaving. There's no hurry, we still have to talk to Mou and the others before we can leave. Sima Yu thought that it would be a simple process, by simply telling Mou. Anyway, the Mo clan was very busy now, so she didn't want to cause any extra trouble. However, when she listened to Mou's words, her mouth opened wide in surprise. Are you serious? The corners of her mouth twitched, thinking that she should be hearing voices. Of course it is true. Mou said, I will go out with you. The Mo clan's affairs are not completely over yet. Sima you didn't want to bring such an eye-catching character along, there are still so many things to be busy with, isn't it bad for you to leave like this? They don't need me to deal with such things. Mou snorted, just leave it to them. Then what are you doing by traveling with me? Go play by yourself. Sima Yu was unwilling. With him, it would be very troublesome, and she couldn't go as he pleased. It's fun to follow you. Mou recognized her, besides, didn't you get along very happily before? Is it because you have Wuling you forbid others to follow you? Can it be the same? Sima Yu glared at him, when you were in the human realm, no one knows you so I can go out with you, and no one else will say anything. Now that we are in the ghost realm, you are a great celebrity. Not to mention, the matter between the Mo clan and the other two clans has not yet passed, and the limelight is all on you. Bringing you together, isn't that asking for trouble? It's useless for you to say this. Mou's words blocked Sima Yu's string of remarks, but his subsequent words also made Sima Yu change her mind. Aren't you interested in the mythical dragon order? Are you going to take me to find mythical dragon order? Sima Yu's eyes lit up. I don't know where that kid is, how can I take you there? But if I meet him, I can at least recognize him. Sima Yu. Anyway, Mou finally followed her on the road. Before leaving, Sima Yu mourned in silence for them, seeing what the Mo clan were accustomed to. They were also lucky in their own way that they met such an unreliable ancestor who wandered outside all day. Yu, I originally wanted to have a good chat with you after this event is over, but I didn't expect you to leave so soon. I will often come to the Mo clan for fun in the future. Mo's mother pulled Sima Yu said with a smile. Mo was fortunately healed by her, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. Of course. Sima Yu replied and agreed right away. Yu, the ancestor is with you, and you will need to take care of him in the future. If there is anything wrong with him, take care of him. Mo said sternly, but Sima Yu couldn't help but almost laughed out. Don't worry, grandfather Mo. If there is nothing else, we will leave first. She thought this mode of seeing off was a bit strange, and staying longer, she was afraid that she would laugh out. She sent them all the way to Mo City. Seeing his reluctant eyes, Mou drove him back. Using a justifiable reasoning that the clan was busy right now, and as the young master, he couldn't be away for too long. Mo cried in his heart, if the clan was really busy, as their ancestor, why would he be leaving now? Excuse. All excuses. Sima Yu and the others got on a huge flying beast, which was specially prepared by the Mo clan. There were 3 rooms on the back of the huge bird, where they could cultivate, so that they could hurry on the road without wasting the time of cultivation. This is not bad. Sima Yu looked at the layout inside with satisfaction, understated but not simple. Of course not bad, this is my ride. Mou said, my little red bird is not only fast, but also very sensitive to treasures. If you pass by a good place, you can't escape its eyes. Sima Yu was a little surprised, but she didn't expect this big red bird to be so powerful. Where are we going now? Sima Yu looked straight ahead and said, just follow along this direction. Without Mou speaking, the big red bird spread its wings and rushed into the sky. Sima Yu was sitting by the window, looking at the scenery whizzing by below, in a very good mood. I don't know where that little boy has gone. Mou looked at her and sighed. Sima Yu frowned, are you hiding something from me? Previous. Seeing her narrowed eyes, Mou smiled, you think too much, how can I hide anything from you? Every time you have a guilty conscience, the corner of your left mouth will be a little higher than the corner of your right mouth. Sima Yu said, seeing him want to deny, and said, this is what Mou told me. Mou, that kid, wait for him to go back to see how he cleans him up. Speak, if you hide it from me, I will throw you out of here. Sima Yu snorted coldly. At this moment, it didn't occur to her that this flying beast belonged to Mou. In fact, it's nothing. Mou smiled, it was when I was talking to that boy, he once asked me about one thing. It has something to do with you. Wuling Yu asked affirmatively. Me? How could it have something to do with me? Sima Yu was surprised, and then she wanted to understand that if it wasn't for her, Mou wouldn't follow. What did that little boy say? He said, he's looking for someone who is often struck by lightning. Mou said, I didn't think of you at that time, but now that I think about it, it's you who's always struck by lightning. At that time, the incident in Sheep City hadn't happened, and he didn't think of Sima Yu at all. But after the incident in Sheep City, everyone knew that she was the one who was often struck by lightning, and most probably, the person that the little boy was looking for was her. No wonder, I was still wondering why you would have to be with me, so this was the original idea. Do you want that mythical dragon order? Sima Yu asked him. If you don't want it, but I want to see that thing, and by the way, check that little boy. Mou mentioned the little boy, his expression was a bit wrong. Sima Yu stared at him for a while, then suddenly smiled, and pointed at him and said, Mou, you, an old fellow who has lived for thousands of years, have been scammed by a little boy. Haha. What's so funny? He looks like a little boy, who knows how long he has lived. Mou did not deny, but his expression sank. It's all because of that appearance of a naive little kid that he was deceived. If he knew that he was not a child, how could he be deceived? When he catches that guy, he must show his might. Sima Yu didn't bother to care about what he wanted to do. Knowing the reason for him coming along, she was at ease. If you want to follow, just follow. But I must first say ahead that I won't change my plan because of you. No, I'll just follow around and look around. That guy should come to the door. MOU said. n/o/vel/b//jn.c//om. His goal was Sima, and there was that incident in Sheep City, so he should know by now. So he was sure that he would definitely come here. And he would just be by Sima side and he would naturally be able to wait for him then. However, with that little boy's sense of direction, he was afraid that it would be a little difficult to find her. The red bird flew for a month before they flew out of the Mo clan's sphere of influence. When they got here, MOU was not so familiar. They found a beautiful place to rest. The red bird looked for a place to land and chose a flat land next to a waterfall. It's really nice here, why don't we go catch some fish and have some grilled fish? Sima suggested. When he heard that there was food, Black Shadow immediately offered, then I'll go catch some fish. Don't kill it with your spiritual power, otherwise the meat of the fish won't taste good. Just catch it. Sima said. Alright, young miss, all you need to do is wait. Black Shadow replied. However, what he thought was too simple, he didn't need spiritual power. Those fish were very slippery, and they ran away before he even touched them. After a little half an hour, he caught 2 small ones, which were not enough for all of them to eat. The rest of you as well. Don't just look, come and catch it together. Black Shadow shouted to the 3 men on the shore. I see that you are doing a great job, I can't see where we are needed. Huan leaned against the big tree, and had no intention of going to help. As for the other 2 people, they didn't even mean to help. Sima had almost finished the preparation. Seeing the 2 pitiful fish in the bucket, she looked at the 3 people on the shore and said, you guys should also help out quickly. If you don't go, you won't be able to eat any grilled fish for a while. I have to go as well. MOU looked at the river reluctantly, without moving. He was the ancestor of the Mo clan and had never done these things. Now, she actually wanted him to go fishing in the river? You don't have to go. Sima words made him relieved. Before she said anything, she said, you can just stop eating for a while. Threat, naked threat. They were all eating for a while, and it was so uncomfortable just watching him alone. Alright. He compromised, took off his shoes and went into the water, and Huan followed. And Wu Lingyu did not go into the water, but stood by the water, watching the 3 of them fish. Lingyu, why don't you come down? Don't think that young miss is kind to you, you can be unruly. I won't give you the grilled fish for a while. Black Shadow hummed. Wu Lingyu smiled, did not argue, and watched the 3 of them struggle to catch fish. After a while, they didn't catch a few fish, and they couldn't help feeling a little depressed. At this moment, the cracking sound of the thing falling into the water attracted their attention, and they looked up and saw the fishing net in Wu Lingyu's hand. Then, the faces of all 3 of them turned black. This guy clearly had considerations in his heart, but didn't tell them, it was really hateful to see them embarrassed in the water. The 3 of them looked at each other, and without a word, they went ashore together and attacked Wu Lingyu. They weren't really dueling, so Sima didn't care about them. Seeing a few fish in the bucket, and a net of fish that had just been thrown to the shore, she shook her head and squatted down by the river to clean up. After all the fish are broken and scaled, they are cleaned and put on the rack to start to grill them. The 4 of them were attracted back by the smell of grilled fish. Black Shadow was a foodie and also the fastest runner. Sima looked at the way his eyes were sparkling, and smiled, why don't you continue? Hey, there is something to eat, of course, it is important to eat. Black Shadow saw Sima place a few grilled fish next to him, and consciously went to grab a portion and start eating. Sima didn't stop him, it was for them anyway. Wu Lingyu was the last one to come back. Although he was chased by 3 people just now, he didn't suffer any injuries. Even his clothes weren't messy, didn't look like someone who had just been in a fight. In addition to his own agility, there are also reasons why the 3 of them did not do their best. Black Shadow came to the side with the grilled fish, and saw some walnut shells on the ground. Unexpectedly, when he stepped down, the walnut shell was not crushed, but his foot was hurt. What kind of walnut shell is this? Why is it so hard? When he shouted so, everyone noticed a pile of walnut shells behind the tree. Previous chapter. Seeing the pile of walnut shells, Sima smiled, it seems that there was a person who really knows how to eat that was here before. It's such a big pile, I wonder how long it will take to eat it all. Young miss, this walnut shell is so hard, I stepped on it but the shell did not break at all, Black Shadow said with astonishment. Is there such a hard walnut? Sima walked over, picked up a walnut shell, and squeezed it hard. However, she felt pain instead. How did this person smash such a hard walnut? Even if it is smashed with a mountain, it may not be able to smash it. It should be some kind of treasure. Huan said. This is not the walnut of the ghost realm. MOU walked over, took the walnut in Yu's hand and looked at it for a while, this is brought in from other places. Is it from the human realm or the devil realm? Wu Lingyu also came over and took a look, this is not something from the devil realm, it doesn't carry any devilish energy on it. But it seems to be different from the spiritual energy of the human realm. Anything in any realm will carry some spirit power from that place, but the spirit power on this walnut shell is very strange, it is not the spirit power of these 3 realms. It's not the spirit power of these 3 realms, is it brought from other places? Sima looked at the walnut shell in her hand thoughtfully. Although she hadn't seen other worlds, she had already guessed in her heart. But this was the first time she saw something that didn't belong to this world. It seems that an outside guy who likes to eat walnuts has come here and left this pile of things. Black Shadow said, I don't know where it came from, I really want to meet with this person. MOU looked at those things and thought of the little boy. I think it might be that little guy. He said his guess. Yeah? Really? Mythical dragon order has always been a legendary thing, and no one has seen it. It suddenly appears now, and the possibility of coming from outside is very high. Mou analyzed. Yeah? People from outside are looking for me? She didn't believe that people who were a little different would have something to do with her. Others saw that she had no interest in this, so they stopped staring at it and came back to watch her grill the fish. After resting here for a day, the red bird continued to lead them forward, until they stopped at a swamp. When Sima Yu saw the red bird hovering in the air and didn't go on, she asked Mou, what's the matter? Mou put down the teacup in his hand. The little red bird sensed a treasure. A treasure? Really? Don't get excited too early, the little red bird just sensed that there is one around here, but I don't know where it is exactly. Sima Yu didn't mind, and said with a smile, a range is also good. Little red bird, find a place to stop. Little red bird nodded, lowered the height, and then stopped at a place that looked relatively dry. They all got off the back of the little red bird and with a wave of Mou's hand, the little red bird disappeared. Sima Yu was very familiar with this scene. It seems that Mou also has a place like the spirit pagoda where life could be stored. Young miss, someone has been here before. These footprints are still very fresh. From these footprints, there are still a lot of people. Then we should be able to get clues by following these footprints. It's really good, someone will show them the way. They followed those footprints, and everyone used their spirit power to lighten their bodies. For Sima Yu and Wu Lingyu, it was even simpler. All they did was switching directly to their souls. Are there really treasures in the environment here? Black Shadow felt that this place was too ordinary. The red bird said that there is. Then call the little red bird to show the way. I said before that the little red bird sense is only a range, a radius of 100 miles. Mou said, if you want to find a treasure, you can only find it yourself. The footprints have disappeared here. Sima Yu stepped forward and took a look. There aren't any footprints at all. I guess it's down to the ground. Let's go down too. Alright. They wrapped themselves with spirit power, and then jumped into the middle of the marsh. The mud here was so soft that they sank as soon as they jumped in. They sank for a long time. After sinking through the soil, they encountered the hard rocks below. Let's go down the cave. The next few people also fell into the water. A few people swam to the shore. Wu Lingyu shot a flame to illuminate the dark river. Carcass. Not far from Sima Yu, the carcasses of a few dark beasts floated on the water. Look at this, those people must have did it. It shouldn't be weak. We will follow their trail and continue walking. If someone leads the way, they don't have to bother to find it. They walked all the way up the underground river for nearly half a day. These people seem to be in a hurry. Boom. The sound of battle came from the front, and Sima Yu and Wu Lingyu looked at each other. They had caught up at last. The fight in front seems to be fierce. Shall we go up and take a look? Shall we go up and take a look? The answer was a definite yes. They've come all the way here, of course they had to take a look. But how should they do that? Watch from the other side or participate in it? Anyway, we can hide our breath and take a closer look. Sima Yu said. The few of them were the strong among the strong, so it was a trivial matter to hide their breath. She said so, everyone condensed their breath, and then walked towards the fighting place. What surprised them was that the terrain at the back went up all the way, and finally got out of the ground and came to a mountainous marshland. On the peak of the mountain, two people were engaged in a heated battle. At the marsh at the foot of the mountain, there were two groups of people that were also facing each other. The flower was the size of a large bowl, and the petals were thick and fleshy, similar to a Ganoderma lucidum. 10,000-year-old snow fungus. Is this precious? Black Shadow asked. A saint medicine for healing. Although Black Shadow does not know its specific effects, it can be used as a healing medicine. It isn't easy for a snow fungus to survive as it is very attractive to spirit beasts. There is a natural barrier here. Wu Lingyu looked up and continued, it is this barrier that creates a good living environment for it. No wonder these people have to come from underground, because they can't get through from above at all. Boom. The power of the strong impact flattened the mountain. Wei Xing, you went back on your words. Wei Xing smiled condescendingly. Have I promised anything? Wei Xing, do you really want to grab snow fungus with us? What are you doing now? Our agreement is that I am responsible for clearing the obstacles on the road. You paid me for it, didn't I do it? Didn't I kill the underworld beasts along the way? Wei Xing, you mean villain? You wanted to use us to find the snow fungus from the beginning, right? Why not? What did you say? I think you already understand that they paid me and asked me to agree to your request and the snow fungus will belong to me after it's done. You are shameless. What about being shameless? If you have this strength, why do you need to find me? What? The Hua clan was stunned. The Zheng clan hadn't been moving recently, so how could they avoid their eyes and ears and amass the people outside? You lied. Impossible. You lied to us. The woman in red yelled, trying to rush up, but was caught by the people around her. What good do I have to lie to you? The Zheng clan has already promised that as long as your Hua clan is annexed, 1/3 of the property will be distributed to us. My Wei clan just needs to do nothing. As long as we do not help you, we can get a share of the benefits. Wei Xing. The Wei clan and the Hua clan have always helped and protected each other. You betrayed the promises left by your ancestor, betrayed us. The Zheng clan can promise you benefits now, and they can promise others benefits against you in the future. The white-robed man saw Wei Xing and his expression was very resentful. At that time, be it them who deal with us, or the other way round, there's no need for your Hua clan to worry about it. Now, it's time to end this all. Seeing that you are all my nieces and grandchildren, I will let you have an easier death. The white-robed man saw his clan being attacked, but couldn't go down to rescue them. He was anxious, his body was full of blood, and he vomited another mouthful of blood. Hua Yu, you are smart and talented, but you shouldn't live. If you really grow No wonder you asked me who would come with me before, saying that we should bring fewer people along. I thought you were worried that more people would drag us down. So you just asked about our strength and getting those who are stronger than us come. Huayu, you are smart and talented, but you shouldn't live. If you really grow up in the future, Western Verge region will be dominated by your Hua clan. I can't keep such a genius like you. Wei Xing said, condensing spirit power, ready to give him the final blow, and solve this trouble forever. Huayu knew his plan by seeing his moves, and knew that he couldn't reach him, but he didn't wait to die directly, but he also condensed all his spirit power to prepare for his move. Go to hell. Wei Xing's attack broke his defense directly, and the light from the impact made everyone unable to open their eyes. Huayu! Huayu! The people fighting below stopped seeing this scene. They wanted to close their eyes and not watch this scene. The cough made everyone's nerves burst. Alive, still alive. Everyone saw it. Wei Xing's strike had hit Huayu squarely. With the power behind that strike, how could Huayu possibly still be alive? How? How is this possible? Those people from the Wei clan who came here with Wei Xing cried out incredulously when they saw the scene before them. Other people might not be aware of the kind of power Wei Xing possessed, but this group of people could not be more aware of his prowess. Struck by a move like that, how could Huayu possibly still be alive? The very instant Wei Xing saw Huayu, only one thought filled his mind. Impossible. It was only when he took a second look that he discovered that it wasn't Huayu who was responsible, but someone else had helped him. Spatial lock? Who did that? He looked over at the people from the Hua clan, and saw the shock and delight on their faces, which told him that they were not the ones responsible, as they did not have an array master with them anyway. He continued to look around and did not find any signs of anyone else, but that did not mean that there wasn't anyone around. Huayu did not understand how he managed to survive. He had already given up hope and was prepared to die. How did? Sima Yu saw no need to hide herself and she revealed herself to everyone. Once she appeared, the others revealed themselves as well. Who are you people? Why did you intercede? People from the Wei clan cried out. The people from the Hua clan looked at them gratefully, but their eyes also carried a hint of suspicion. They did not recognize Sima Yu or anyone in her group, and did not know their identity. Neither did they know what their motives were. Sima Yu looked at Wei Xing and said very honestly to him. I detest dirty scoundrels who do not keep their word the most. Do I need a reason to make a move against such a big eyesore like you? Just who are you people? Wei Xing asked as he looked at Sima Yu. I am not as kind as you, to bother explaining anything to someone who is about to die. I would very much prefer to see all of you die without even knowing why. The more mysterious the enemy was, the more uneasy they felt. Where are this bunch of people really from? Black Shadow, will you be able to deal with them by yourself? Sima Yu asked. How many do you think is needed with this small bunch of them? I alone will be more than enough. The moment Black Shadow finished saying that, his body turned into black mist, immediately surrounding the entire group of people from the Wei clan. Arg! Don't! The mournful cries from the Wei clan's people were filled with frightful terror and utter despair. They did not know who these people were, and only knew that they would not be able to escape their doom here today. When Black Shadow was done with them, only ghastly white bones were left in the spot where the people from the Wei clan were standing. The people from the Hua clan were shook with terror from witnessing Shadow's attack, and the less bold ones among them found their legs turning into jelly. When Wei Xing saw that his own men were taken down so easily and Black Shadow's powers were so unfathomable and mysterious, he immediately turned tail and ran off without another word. Think you can run? Have you asked me for permission? Black Shadow jeered and sped off to catch up with the guy, engulfing the guy within a black mist. A frightened cry rang out, and before the sound even faded off, a pile of white bones was left in the spot where the guy was just a brief moment ago. Done, young Mississippi. Black Shadow returned to Sima Yu's side, to report with a gleeful smile. Black Shadow looked so harmless and mischievous to the Hua clan's people at that moment, not at all like the terrifying Grim Reaper he was earlier. But it was a fact that it was this very person who made such quick work of everyone from the Wei clan within the span of just a few minutes. Sima Yu took a couple of steps forward and the strength almost went out of the legs of the people from the Hua clan, all their eyes watching her warily. Sima Yu ignored all of them and continued to make her way towards the snow fungus. When the red-robed girl saw that, she panicked and immediately ran over to stand protectively in front of the snow fungus, her arms stretched out wide to stop Sima Yu. We were the ones who discovered this snow fungus first, so you cannot try to snatch it away from us. Hua Yuan cried out. Her actions horrified everyone in the Hua clan. It was clear that these people were here for the snow fungus. Isn't she just courting her own doom? Hua Yu flew down from the mountaintop and pulled Hua Yuan away to the side to shout at her, Yuaner, stop this foolishness. Uncle. This snow fungus is the only way we have of saving the patriarch. Without it, the patriarch will die. Hua Yuan continued to cry. Hua Yu ignored what she was saying and pulled her behind him. He then clasped his hand over his fist in respectful greeting before Sima Yu and said, Thank you young miss for saving my life just now. You can take the snow fungus, but can you please spare our lives here? Sima Yu looked at the indignant Hua Yuan behind Hua Yu, her eyes brimming with tears, but she was stubbornly holding them back and Sima Yu asked her, You did not cry even when all your lives were hanging by a thread earlier, so why are you crying now? If you are dead, you won't get the snow fungus as well. Even if I die, I would have tried my best at least. But asking me to stand by helplessly and watch you take the snow fungus, Hua Yuan said in an indignant voice. I am the benefactor that just saved all your lives, shouldn't you be offering to hand this snow fungus over to me willingly? Sima Yu continued to ask. You have indeed saved our lives, and there are other ways for us to repay you. Can I ask that you do not fight over the snow fungus with us? We can agree to any else that you ask for. When Hua Yuan saw that Sima Yu did not come over to pick the snow fungus immediately, she tried to beg Sima Yu with a pleading look in her eyes. Sima Yu tilted her head and thought about it for a moment before she said, I wouldn't say that is entirely impossible, but I fear you will not give me what I will ask for. What is it that you want? Hua Yuan asked immediately. Half of all your assets. Once she said that, everyone from the Hua clan fell awkwardly silent. Sima Yu arched up an eyebrow. Looks like that is a little too hard for you as I thought. Then, I will just. That's not entirely the case. Hua Yu interjected. It's because our current situation is a little different now, so taking half of our assets will just give you a heap of trouble. Why not you come up with another request, or you can wait till we've dealt with the issues we're facing first and we'll hand the assets over after the situation has stabilized. If you do not believe me, we can make a vow here. Sima Yu looked at the two of them, and she could see the honest earnestness in their eyes before she said to them, forget it then. I do not want to take on a heap of trouble. Seeing that she was refusing it, Hua Yuan grew anxious and she stamped her feet in a panic as she cried out, you can ask for any other conditions. As long as it's within our ability, we will definitely agree to it. Just don't ask for the snow fungus. I know that you need the snow fungus to save a person's life. Do you see how big this snow fungus is? I can give a part of it to you. Sima Yu suggested. I will not give in any further than that. Really? Thank you so very much. We will not need to use the entire thing. We only need enough to save the patriarch and you can have the rest of it. Hua Yuan exclaimed as she looked at Sima Yu gratefully. However, we do not know how much of the herb we need. Can we ask for you to go back with us first? Hua Yu asked, are you thinking of using us to shield yourselves from the Zheng clan? Sima Yu's face darkened. That is not the case. We will deal with the Zheng clan ourselves. You do not have to follow us inside our clan, and just wait for us outside. Once our patriarch is cured, we will bring the snow fungus straight to you. Hua Yu went on to explain. Previous chapter. Hua Yu knew what he was asking for was a little too much. They were the ones who were taking the snow fungus from her and she was already kind enough to be willing to give them a portion of it. Why would she want to let them take whatever they needed first before giving the rest of it to her? But as they really did not know how much of the snow fungus was needed to cure the patriarch, they needed to bring the whole thing back to ascertain that. They waited for a while for her reply and just as they thought that Sima Yu would not agree to it, she nodded her head and said, it just happens that I do not have anything much to do now, I will go with you and see what will unfold. The Hua clan's people were already not holding much hope and thought that they would die here today. Hua Yu had been injured quite severely and had been holding out just by his willpower alone. Uncle. Hua Yuan grabbed him in support and the others quickly rushed over to surround him, immediately feeding him with some elixirs. Sima Yu remained standing at the side, not intending to go up to help. The Hua clan was quite an established family and their elixirs gave quite good effects. In a short while, Hua Yu started to stir awake. Uncle, how are you feeling? Hua Yuan asked anxiously when she saw his eyes open. I'm fine. Hurry up and go pick the snow fungus so that we can return back to save the patriarch as soon as possible. Hua Yu's voice was weak, but his breathing had become a lot more steady. Hua Yuan got people to hold Hua Yu up as she took out a jade box and a pair of jade scissors to cut off the snow fungus bloom, before she placed it carefully into the jade box, which she then showed to Hua Yu. Well done. You cut it off nicely. Hua Yu's face broke into a smile. Let's go back now. But you're injured. It doesn't matter. Saving the patriarch is more important. That's like plucking feathers off a passing goose. So pragmatic that she wasn't even going to leave its roots behind. The people from the Hua clan followed Hua Yu's gaze and saw Sima Yu standing over there with her hands filled with dirt. She was already holding its roots in her hands and she had a relieved smile on her face. Hua Yu actually wanted to tell her that the snow fungus roots was rather useless, but seeing that she had already kept it away, he swallowed back the words that were already at the tip of his tongue. She had already been willing to give them a part of the snow fungus, so there wasn't much he could say at that moment. Since she liked the roots so much, she can have it, but he hoped that she wouldn't get disappointed when she comes to discover that it wasn't really of any much use in future. What the Hua clan's people did not know was that Sima Yu had not kept the root away for nothing, but had tossed it to give it to Little Spirit, as Little Spirit said that snow fungus would grow if they planted the root in the Spirit Soul Tower. Hua Yu stood up and turned to say to Sima Yu, we will make our way back now. Do you have anything else you need to do here? No, I don't. If you can walk, we can leave now. Sima Yu replied, then let's get on our way now. Hua Yu was the most senior here. When he insisted on leaving, the others would naturally have no objection. Oh right. I've yet to ask for our benefactor's good name. Sima Yu had already turned herself around to walk away when she heard the voice sound out behind to ask. Without even turning her head back, she replied, my name is Sima Yu, and the others with me are my friend. Sima Yu? Isn't that? The Hua clan's people were stunned in a daze, unable to move as they stood frozen in their spots. You are the young princess? Hua Yuan stuttered in horror as she stared at the woman's back. Recalling how disrespectful she had been just now, panic immediately started to rise up in her heart. Let's go. I do not have so much time to spend waiting for you. Sima Yu walked over to Wu Lingyu and the others, and Wu Lingyu then smoothly slipped his hand over hers. Are you able to break the array? Sima Yu asked. You don't want to take the original path? Wu Lingyu saw her nod, and he gathered up his spirit powers to give the array a single strike, immediately creating an opening. Sima Yu and the others flew up towards it. When the Hua clan's people saw saw that, they quickly went to follow behind them. After everyone was out, the array closed itself up automatically. You have your own flying beasts? Sima Yu asked Hua Yuan. Hua Yuan nodded. Yes, we do. Sima Yu turned her gaze onto Mou, and then said smilingly, Mou, summon the little red bird won't you? It's more comfortable riding it. You have so many flying beasts yourself, yet you keep wanting to ride on the little red bird. Although Mou grumbled at her, he still summoned the little red bird for her. When the Hua clan's people heard Sima Yu call Mou's name, they had thought that it was just someone else with the same name. But when they saw the flamboyant little red bird, they were immediately certain that that person was the great and famous Lord Mou. With Sima Yu's illustrious identity right before them, they had no reason to doubt Mou's identity at all. But never would they have expected that someone as legendary as him would appear before their eyes, almost causing their tiny hearts to explode. They let the Hua clan's people lead the way, while the little red bird leisurely took them to come to the Western Verge city in the Western Verge region. That was not to say that the Hua clan's people were slow, but compared to the speed that the little red bird was capable of, it was rather slow. Arriving outside the Western Verge city, Mou kept the little red bird away, or they would attract a heap of trouble onto themselves when they went into the city. Young princess, Lord Mou, let your honor bring you to the biggest inn in this city. Hua Yu said to them. There's no need. We'll just follow you to your residence. Sima Yu replied. Please come this way then. Over the past few days making their way back, Hua Yu had recovered quite a bit from his injuries, and he looked almost back to normal, not knowing that he had gone one round at Hell's Gate. Sima Yu and the others followed them back to the Hua Manor, which was located right at the city center, which showed their status here in the Western Verge region. Hua Yuan, you finally returned. Did you manage to find the snow fungus? A man in deep blue robes who looked very much like Hua Yu bumped into them at the manor's main doors immediately asked anxiously. We found the snow fungus, but we ran into some problems along the way. Hua Yu replied. Big brother, how's the patriarch? Teetering on the brink. Since the snow fungus has been found, go deliver it to them quickly. You honor, deliver the snow fungus over to the Lord. Yes, uncle. I'll come along. A large portion of the snow fungus belonged to her, and if it was squandered away by ignorant people, that would not be good for her. Hua Yu was not aware of the thoughts in her mind, but because of her identity, he got Hua Yuan to bring her along. Hua Xing looked at their backs as they grew smaller into the distance before he asked, Hua Yu, their people are. Big brother, that is the young princess and Lord Mou. What did you say? Hua Xing was greatly shocked by the news. Why would the young princess and Lord Mou come here to our manor? Many things happened on this trip. If not for the young princess, all of us would have been killed by Wei Xing. Hua Yu told his elder brother. There is also something else I need to tell you. It concerns the Wei clan and the Zheng clan. Then we'll better gather all the elders first. When Sima Yu saw the Hua clan's patriarch, she could not help knitting up her brow. He seemed to look a little strange. She gave Mou a glance, and Mou was thinking the very same thing as well. Because the Hua clan was worried about the patriarch's injury, no one noticed their expression. A sloppily dressed man came in from outside. As soon as he approached, Sima Yu noticed a strong smell of medicinal material. He saw Yu and the others, and said in a sharp voice, Who are these people? How can you let strangers come into the patriarch's room? Hua Yuan walked to Sima Yu and said, Master Yang, these people are our lifesavers and also the owner of the snow fungus. We want to use her snow fungus, so she came to take a look as well. Seeing that Master Yang was about to get angry, he continued, This is Princess Yu and Master Mou. The words of reprimand that had reached Master Yang's throat were immediately swallowed back. If they had an ordinary identity, naturally they couldn't enter. However, this was the young princess that the Ghost King doted on most, and there is also Lord Mou. He did not dare to make any mistakes. He wanted to salute her, but was interrupted by Sima Yu. Let's take a look at your patriarch, he looks like he is about to die. Master Yang looked at the face of the Hua clan patriarch, and was shocked. He immediately rushed up as he berated, Didn't I ask you to take proper care of the patriarch? Why is there a change in his situation yet no one notified me? Master Yang, the patriarch looks no different from before. The maid who took care of the patriarch didn't see any difference. You. Master Yang thought that these maids didn't understand anything, and now it was useless to accuse them. He waved his hand to make them retreat, and he started to check the patriarch. Master Yang, quickly, use snow fungus to save the patriarch. Alright, luckily you found this, otherwise. Sima Yu looked at what he had prepared and knew what he was going to do. Judging from the amount he had cut out, the snow fungus weight was also just right. It seems that this person still has some strength. She did not make any noise. After Master Yang successfully refined the pill, she kept the remaining snow fungus. Alright, with this, the patriarch will be fine. Hua Yuan finally breathed a sigh of relief when he heard this. As long as the patriarch was still around, there was hope for the Hua clan. Young princess, Lord Mou, thank you for your willingness to share the snow fungus with us. Hua Yuan said gratefully, Our patriarch is fine now, I will take you to rest. Alright. Sima Yu agreed very simply, which made Hua Yuan a little surprised. She thought that she would condescend them and not agree to stay here. As soon as they left the courtyard of the patriarch of the Hua clan, someone immediately stepped forward and said, Young miss, the courtyard prepared for the esteemed guests is ready. Did uncle ask you to come? What happened to them? Hua Yuan asked. They are still discussing matters. The maid walked ahead and led the way. Hua Yuan saw the direction she was walking, and knew that Hua Yu had arranged the best courtyard in Hua Manor. Sima Yu and they each picked a room to live in. Hua Yuan stayed with them for a while before she left. Wu Lingyu dismissed all the maids who stayed behind to serve and asked, When you saw the patriarch of the Hua clan, your expression seemed a little strange. What did you discover? Well, that's why we stayed. Mo said. What happened, that even you two became interested? Sima Yu saw him so excited, and said solemnly, this is not a good thing. We think that the Hua clan patriarch's injury is a bit strange. Why is it weird? His injury should have been caused by people in the Soul region. Soul region? That's not. Black Shadow was also worried. Worried. If it is really as expected, doesn't it mean that the Soul region was not at peace again? When he talked with his cousin before, he said that the Soul region has always been restless, always provoking things at the boundary, and always wanted to provoke a war between the two clans. Unexpectedly, they stretched their hands here. It's not very far from the boundary between the two borders, but because it's not the main battlefield, it didn't attract many people's attention. Mo said. The boundary between the Soul region and the Ghost realm was very long, but the battle is generally in some fixed places. Otherwise, neither side can support it. The people of the Soul race have infiltrated into the Ghost realm. I have to inform my cousin about this. Deja, the general, is responsible not only for the security inside, but also for harassing outsiders, dealing with the harassment on the Soul region, and protecting the peace on the Ghost realm. Before, Deja told her that the Soul region was doing things from time to time, which caused him a headache, and even had difficulty dealing with Ghost concubine. Now that she encounters such a matter, she will naturally not let it go easily, and she has to find out for her cousin. This really needs to be known to Deja. Mo echoed. Although he still doesn't pay attention to these soul races, he will not kindly do everything for Deja. With that guy's temperament, he won't thank himself. Sima Yu didn't know Mo's thoughts. Seeing that he agreed with him, she smiled at him and said, there is someone by your side. Send a letter to your cousin. Why don't you let Han Feng pass on the message? They want to stay to protect my safety. And they are also good at delivering news. Sima Yu said. Alright. Mo knew that she wanted to make a statement with Deja. If he sent someone to Deja, that would mean telling Deja that he would not be with Ghost concubine. Do you need us to check? Huan asked. No, I just let the Scarlet Bees check it out. Sima Yu didn't intend to use the two as coolies, and they just got here and didn't know anything, so they should understand the situation first. Will you help the Hua clan? Mo asked. Sima Yu was startled. Unexpectedly he would ask this question. Should I? Well, it depends on the situation. If the Hua clan is not bad, it's alright to lend a hand. And they may not be able to deal with those people. Sima Yu pondered and touched her chin. Let's wait here for news. They stayed in the Hua clan for a few days, and no one had bothered them over those days, because she told Hua Yu and Hua Yuan that she liked a quaint and tranquil environment, so no one had been here except for Hua Yu and Hua Yuan. Although, their hearts are always thinking about this side. In the chamber, the important figures of the Hua clan are all here, and the patriarch of the Hua clan was also there. Hua Yu, can't we go see the young princess? The young princess is really arrogant. We are also. Seventh Elder. The Hua clan patriarch scolded and interrupted the seventh elder. Seventh Elder, you can't spout such nonsense. Hua Yu said with a calm face. Yes, that's the king's most beloved young princess, how can you say that? When Seventh Elder was pointed at the nose by everyone, he retorted in a low voice, I just think that if you have a good relationship with the young princess, those of the Zheng clan won't be a problem at all. Shut up. Before the Seventh Elder had finished speaking, he was interrupted by the patriarch harshly. Patriarch? The patriarch's tone was much harsher than before, and the Seventh Elder was stunned, wondering why he was suddenly in such a rage. It is already our honor for the young princess to live in our house, how can we even harbor such an absurd idea upon the young princess? The Great Elder said earnestly. But. The Seventh Elder muttered, after he was reprimanded, he felt very aggrieved in his heart. The Hua clan were already faced with a great and formidable enemy. Especially after hearing the news that Hua Yu brought back, they felt that their situation was even more severe. Since the young princess was already staying with them before this, that would prove that they did not harbor any ulterior motive. And if they were able to convince her to help, then the crisis the Hua clan was facing would not be a crisis anymore. Seventh Elder, you must not mention that again. The patriarch said in a stern voice. If I hear of such things again, you do not need to be the Seventh Elder anymore. Patriarch. Everyone looked at the Hua clan's patriarch in shock, unable to believe that the man would ever utter such words. Although the young princess is the king's favorite princess now, what right do we have to ask her to extend a helping hand to us? Moreover, it is said that the young princess is highly eccentric. What are we going to do if she gets displeased with us if we go ask for her help? With just a mere sneeze, she would be able to blow all of us into the abyss, and the Hua clan will disappear forever. The patriarch of the Hua clan went on to explain it further. Furthermore, the young princess was the one who saved Hua Yu and the others, and she was even willing to give a portion of the snow fungus to us. That makes her our benefactor, and I am already very guilty that we were unable to repay her in any way, so how could we still dare to harbor any ideas towards her? The people in the house fell silent, and looks of shame showed on some of the people's faces. It seems like they thought the same way as well. When the Hua clan's patriarch saw that his words had reached everyone, he did not want to dwell on the issue any longer, and he went on to say, all right now, we'll put a stop to this matter here. Let's talk about the Zheng clan situation next. When it came to serious business, everyone settled their minds and no longer dwelled on the previous topic. Patriarch, Wei Xing said that the Zheng clan has already amassed people from other places, but we have never heard about it. Hua Yu frowned, if that's the case, I'm afraid that the Zheng clan is ready to deal the final blow. Now that the patriarch has recovered, it is not so easy for the Zheng clan to deal with us. That's right. They thought that the patriarch was bound to die this time, so they wanted to fight back and completely wipe out us at this time. But the patriarch is almost healed, and the Zheng clan will have to think twice. I'm afraid things are not so optimistic. Hua Yu said worriedly. On the surface, the Wei clan has a good relationship with us, but in fact they are in the same mess with the Zheng clan. Wei Xing thinks we are bound to die, so what he said should be true. He doesn't need to lie to us. I also think that since Wei Xing was prepared to pull off such a huge thing like that, it means that the Wei clan has already stated its position. Now that Wei Xing has not returned, and the patriarch's injury is healed, the Wei clan will naturally guess that we already know their plans. If the two of them are united together, it will be very troublesome for us to deal with it. I don't think the Wei clan will tear their faces directly with us for a while. As long as we don't point out this matter first, the Wei clan will pretend to behave for a while. And we should take advantage of this time to deal with the Zheng clan. This is a good idea. We have been blocking the news of your return and the recovery of the patriarch. We will use this to paralyze the Wei clan first, pretending to not know anything. Why don't Hua Yuan and I head over to the Wei clan to plead guilty, saying that since we invited Wei Xing to escort us to search for medicinal materials, but he met with an unfortunate mishap. Although we will pay the Wei clan remuneration, we will also say that we are deeply sorry for them for having lost a top exponent. Hua Yu said. But you two are fine, if you go like this. Hua Yuan's strength is low and she was too far away, so she was not injured. I just need to get some more injuries on my body. It can't be too light, or they won't believe it. But like that. I'm fine, this kind of thing can't be faked, or else I can't hide it from the Wei clan. Hua Yu said. You are going to suffer. For the sake of the family, it's alright for me to get hurt. However, we have to solve the Zheng clan during this time. Hua Yu said. This is natural. Sima Yu listened to the conversation over there with a faint smile on her face. What funny thing did you say? Sima Yu repeated their conversation. It seems that this Hua clan is fairly upright. It's just that their thoughts are too simple. Mou took a sip of tea and said lightly. Judging from the news that Scarlet Bees had received over the past few days, the Zheng clan was not at all what everyone saw on the surface. If they really want to fight like this, they really wouldn't be able to hold on. If we knew this was going to happen, then there wouldn't have been a need to even heal Hua Yu's injury then. It would be better to take him directly to Wei clan. Black Shadow didn't understand Hua Yu's idea of self-harm. I think this person is pretty good. Huan had a better view of Hua Yu and thought that he was quite responsible. Anyway, since we don't have to do anything, let's see what happens next. Sima Yu said, however, the Zheng clan has dealings with the Soul clan. We still have to let the Hua clan's patriarch know the depth of the matter. In the afternoon, Hua Yu and Hua Yuan were supported by the elders of the Hua clan and several clansmen. When they saw the Wei clan, Hua Yu and Hua Yuan cried in desperation. Uncle Wei, Wei Xing. Hua Yu choked and knelt in front of the Wei clan's patriarch, tears streaming down. We already know about Wei Xing. What's going on? The patriarch of the Wei clan went up to help him up, and when he grabbed his hand, he checked his injuries. His pulse was messy, he was lacking blood and it seems that he was really severely injured. Grandfather Wei, Uncle Wei, all for us. Hua Yuan cried with grief. What exactly happened that day? We found the snow fungus, but we encountered a very powerful guardian beast. Uncle Wei was torn in half and eaten by it when he was fighting with it. Uncle Wei was also badly injured in the battle. If we hadn't escaped, I'm afraid it will. Hua Yuan wiped away her tears. After we escaped and recuperated for a few days, my uncle can barely support his return. Really? Hua Yuan nodded. I'm sorry, Grandfather Wei, if it weren't for us, Wei Xing would not be dead. I am really sorry that it took so many days to tell you what happened. Then did he say anything before he died? No, everything happened so fast, he didn't have time to say anything before he breathed his last. Patriarch Wei heaved a sigh of relief in secret when he heard this. N/O/vel/B /. Although on the surface, the patriarch's expression changed ever so slightly, the Hua clan paid close attention and naturally saw his relief. We can't blame you for the matter of Wei Xing. This was his own choice and we respect it. Patriarch Wei said sadly, since he has accepted your reward, he is naturally responsible for your safety. So you don't have to blame yourselves. No matter what, the Wei clan lost a strong exponent and we feel very sorry for your loss. The Great Elder said, we have brought something over to apologize. Great Elder, you are too polite. I know that your young master has been looking for an advancement pill recently. It just so happens that we have one. When Patriarch Wei heard the words, advancement pill, his eyes lit up, and he said as he suppressed his excitement and asked, is it really an advancement pill? The Great Elder took out a box and presented it to Patriarch Wei. When he opened the box and saw the dark pill lying inside, he put on an expression of disbelief and shook his head. It's really an advancement pill. How can we take this? Patriarch Wei, you need this more than we do now, please take it. The Great Elder said, if that's the case, then I won't reject your kind offer. My family's Liner is indeed at a critical juncture now. With this advancement pill, after advancing, he will personally come to the door to thank you. The Patriarch put the pill away and said gratefully, what a worthwhile exchange. He exchanged an advancement pill for a Wei Xing who did not support him very much in the clan. This Wei Xing's death could also be considered worthy. He was full of thoughts, but he didn't show it on his face. In stark comparison to his thoughts, people only thought that he was grieving for his fallen nephew. After some consideration, he probed, since Wei Xing fell to the guardian beast, did you manage to find the snow fungus? When he said this, the eyes of the great elder turned red. Why, old Hua, the situation of the patriarch is already very bad. Even if I send someone now, I'm afraid I won't be able to hold them back. I understand. Patriarch Wei said sadly, I didn't expect his condition to be so serious this time. The eyes of the great elder suddenly brightened a lot, as if he was just waiting for his words. He bowed to the patriarch and said, with the words of the patriarch, we are much more relieved. If we need it in the future, please ask the Wei clan to help us through the difficulties. Everyone present understands that this difficulty referred to the Zheng clan. Alright, you can send someone to notify us at that time. Thank you, Patriarch Wei. After they left, Wei Lin, the young master of the Wei clan, walked in. Grandfather, do we really want to extend a helping hand to the Hua clan? How is it possible? The patriarch sneered. The Hua clan is already at the end of the battle. In this struggle, it is impossible to survive. Besides, the Zheng clan has promised us that as long as we don't interfere, we will be divided 1/3 of the assets of the Hua clan. Then why are you agreeing with them? They killed Wei Xing, not to mention, they still have the face to come to us for help. Their cheeks are a little too thick. Why didn't Hua Yu die outside? He hated Wei Lin, he hated him since he was a child. That guy was obviously younger than him, but his talent was much higher. Now his strength has far surpassed him and people from Western Verge region like to compare the two of them, which was why he hated Hua Yu even more. Unexpectedly, when they went out this time, Wei Xing died, but he came back with his life. It would be great if he died. Patriarch Wei smiled, I've told them to send someone to notify us if they need any help. With the arrogance of the Hua clan, they won't send anyone to ask for help until the last moment. It's still grandfather who is the wisest. Wei Lin smiled happily when he heard that he wouldn't really help the Hua clan. Linner, look at this. Patriarch Wei took out the advancement pill and handed it to Wei Lin. Wei Lin opened it and saw the pill inside, he almost jumped with excitement. Grandfather, is this really an advancement pill? Of course, I personally tested it. Patriarch Wei said, you have been stuck in a bottleneck for far too long. As long as you take this pill, you will definitely be able to break through. Alright. I'm going into retreat now. Wei Lin took the pill and was unwilling to wait for a moment. He bowed to Patriarch Wei and left in a hurry. With this pill, he will surely be able to advance successfully this time. Hua Yu was helped into the Hua manor. He changed from his previous weakness. Although his face was still not good, he was not weak enough to be supported by someone. Hua Yuan was beside him, smiling, young princess, this medicine is really effective. He's only slightly injured, but you made it look like the real thing. Yes. Hua Yu touched his chest, if I don't understand my own situation, I am afraid that I think that I will be dying if I check it out by myself. After they negotiated in the morning, Hua Yu was about to give people a serious injury. At this time, Sima Yu asked the maid to send a pill, saying that it could be fake to make him look like he was seriously injured. Although he didn't know what method Sima Yu used, he believed her and took the pill without hesitation. He didn't expect the effect to be so good. The young princess is so kind to us. Before we thanked her for the last time, she helped us again. Hua Yuan said gratefully. Yes. Meeting the young princess may be our greatest luck. Without Sima Yu, they wouldn't be able to come back, couldn't get snow fungus, and the patriarch would not be able to save it, and it would be impossible to know that the Wei clan had been in trouble with the Zheng clan. At this time, a maid came over and said, Great elder, the young master, the young miss and the young princess said that they would like to see the patriarch and invited you along. Sima Yu went to see the patriarch. Hua Su has seen the young princess, Lord Mou. The patriarch of the Hua clan saluted the two. Mou lead Sima Yu to the seat, and Hua Yu and the others rushed over. Young princess, Master Mou. It looks like you did a great job today. Sima Yu smiled. This is all thanks to the young princess's medicine. Hua Yu said gratefully. I am here today because I have some news to tell you. When everyone heard her say this, they all held their breath, not knowing what she would say next. Patriarch Hua, do you know why the general medicinal materials are useless for your injury? Sima Yu asked. We were also discussing this matter before. Young princess knows the reason. Your injury is caused by soul power, so this pill with ghost energy is generally useless. Sima Yu said. Soul power. Hua Yuan exclaimed, could it be the Soul clan who hurt the patriarch? That's right. Although the person who hurt the patriarch was wearing the attire of the Zheng clans, we really haven't seen that person before. The great elder said as he thought back carefully. That's right. The patriarch thought about it for a moment, and realized that he hadn't seen that person before. We recognize all the strong exponents of the Zheng clan. I thought that it was a foreign aide hired by the Zheng clan, but I didn't expect it to be someone from the Soul clan. The great elder said. We are not very far from the boundary between the two realms, but no one from the Soul clan has ever come here before, nor has such a situation ever occurred. I didn't expect that this time they turned out to be the ones behind this farce. Hua Su's heart sank. If it was true, then this matter was not a simple family feud. Thank you for sharing this piece of news with us, young princess. If we didn't know this and just deal with the Zheng clan normally, I am afraid we would have been caught off guard. Hua Su got up and bowed to Sima Yu in gratitude. Young princess, do you know how many of those from the Soul clan are in the Zheng clan? Hua Yu asked. A lot. Sima Yu replied, we have already informed my cousin Dijou about this, but as far as the current situation is concerned, I'm afraid that you won't be able to wait for him to send reinforcements. Hua Su heard what Sima Yu said, and after thinking about it, he understood what she meant. He arched his hand at her and said piously, "Would young princess please point out the way out?" They had never thought that Sima Yu would help them, so he scolded the seventh elder to not have any ideas that involved her. But now that Sima Yu took the initiative to come to them and told them about the Soul Clan, her intentions became obvious. Sima Yu tapped 3 fingers on the table, and Hua Su felt that every time she tapped, it resounded in his heart. If it was just the Zheng clan, he would still be able to deal with it. But now there were people from the Soul region who were intervening. If Sima Yu had not informed them, they wouldn't even know this, let alone how much power the people in the Soul region had. But he didn't know if Sima Yu would be able to deal with those people. Thinking of these, he was exceptionally nervous. Sima Yu took out a token and said, "Use this to call the Duke over n/o/vel/b/in.c//in.c/om." Hua Su took the token and did not question her. He was about to call the Duke, and the Great Elder stood up and said, "I'll go." Seeing that Sima Yu had no objection, Hua Su gave the token to the Great Elder. The Great Elder left and soon arrived at the Duke Manor. The relationship between them and the Duke was not very good, because the Duke of Western Verge, Duke, and she, once liked a lady from the Hua clan, but because she already had someone she liked, she rejected him. However, he was a bad person. Even if he was rejected because of this, he did not do anything bad to the Hua clan, but simply helped less. When the Duke saw the Great Elder holding the token, he was surprised for a while and followed him to the Hua clan. He recognized this token. It was the token of Great General D who could directly mobilize all the dukes and city lords. Moreover, he also heard that the young princess and Mou were there, hence he went over quickly. After and she saw Sima Yu, he saluted respectfully. After granting him grace, she asked, "Dukin, do you know the reason for calling you over today?" "I have heard the Great Elder explain along the way." And she responded, "Unexpectedly, the Soul Clan appeared in Western Verge region, and they even ganged up with the Zheng clan. Since you know it, then I don't need to say anything further." Sima Yu said, "What do you think of this?" "Originally, this was a matter between the Zheng clan and the Hua clan, so I didn't plan to intervene. But now that the Zheng clan is involved with the Soul clan, it's a different story altogether. However, if I were to go directly to the Zheng clan, I'm afraid they won't admit it so easily and we won't be able to find out the purpose of the Soul clan that's lurking behind. So I propose that we can use some tricks to let the Zheng clan reveal their tricks, and we can also take the opportunity to fish out the people from the Soul clan." His thoughts were similar to the results of the discussions between Sima Yu and Hua Su. Sima Yu nodded slightly and said, "This is indeed the safest. The Zheng clan is just a small family. Dealing with it is the second most important thing. Uncovering the scheme of the Soul clan is our priority. Since both of you have the same idea, then I don't think I need to say anything for the rest of the matter. You can do it together." "Is young princess leaving the matter alone?" And she asked. "I am not familiar with the things here, nor the Zheng clan, so I won't participate." Sima Yu said. "If it hadn't been for this matter to involve the Soul clan, she might not have come out at all. You are the aristocratic family here, and you are also the Duke here. Just take care of these things." Initially, they thought that she was unwilling to intervene in such a thing, but when they heard her say that, they understood that she was respecting their rights. This made them look at her in a different light in their hearts. Only those who know her know that she has always liked to be hands-off, and that she would not move her hands if she could not do things personally. "Then let's discuss the countermeasures now." Hua Su said to the Duke, "Yes, did the Great Elder tell you that the Wei clan is also involved in this matter?" "The time on the road is too short, I only talked about the Soul clan. The Wei clan has not heard about it. Are you and the Wei clan family friends? Are they planning to help you?" "Then. You are mistaken, the Wei clan is not trying to help us, but has already aligned themselves with the Zheng clan." When Hua Su mentioned the Wei clan, he was even more angry than when he mentioned the Zheng clan. "What? How did this come about?" Hua Yu told Shi about Wei Xing and what he said. After listening to him, and she said, "Then this matter is a bit troublesome. I don't know if the Wei clan is also involved in the Soul clan's affairs. If they were, even if there was the Soul clan behind them, then the situation was even more severe. They don't know. The Zheng clan didn't tell them this." Sima Yu said. When the Hua clan saw that Sima Yu was so sure, they knew that what she said should be true. She said that there was a Soul clan behind the Zheng clan, and she should also be aware of the Wei clan. They could work along this when they make plans later. However, she said she was involved in this matter unintentionally. How could she know these things so clearly in such a short time? It must have been checked by someone whom they couldn't see. It seems that the Ghost King really doted on her. Previous chapter. Since they knew that the Wei clan also had their hands in the matter but were unaware about the Soul clan, when they came together to discuss their plans, the Hua clan and she did not give them much consideration in those plans. If it was just the Hua clan, they might feel that this was a big problem. But before the might of the Duke Manor, the Wei clan was nothing at all. Sima Yu and Mou listened to them draw up their plans. With the Duke Manor joining in, the entire matter had become so much easier. Sima Yu and Mou waited till the discussion was concluded before they went back to the courtyard they were staying at temporarily. "How was it?" Sima Yu repeated the plans that were made to them. "With the Duke of the Western Verge's participation, it shouldn't be a problem. We just don't know whether the Soul clan's motives will become clear in the end." Wu Lingyu said. "I am not really worried about that. I think that Duke from the Western Verge is a capable person." Sima Yu replied. "What worries me is that if the Soul clan can be at the Western Verge region, that means they can also go to other places. If the situation is the same at the other Duke Manors, then what the Soul Clan is plotting will be huge. There is no use worrying about that, as just one person's power is limited. But, since you've already told Deja about the Soul Clan, he would definitely have thought of that as well. Hence, he would not leave the matter alone and do nothing about it. Maybe he would even rush his way over here. You should just leave the matter to him and let him worry about it. Wu Lingyu said, trying to reassure her. You might be right. Sima Yu said. The ancient array is already more than half complete. Why don't we complete the rest of it here? Maybe we might be able to use it in the future. Alright. Wu Lingyu responded with a smile. Mou, who was ignored from beginning to end, said weakly, I want to drink your brewed tea. Brew it yourself, it's not as if the one you brew isn't good. Sima Yu refused directly. Mou felt muffled in his heart, pulling Huan and Black Shadow to drink tea with him in the courtyard. For someone who had forgotten her friend, he decided not to talk to her today. Sima Yu and Wu Lingyu went in the room, and she silently rolled her eyes at the words he said before leaving. She was going to study the ancient array today, so his threat was really of no use to her. Over the next few days, she asked the Scarlet Bees to pay attention to the outside situation, and to immediately notify her if anything was abnormal. Wu Lingyu and her then went into the Spirit Pagoda to study the ancient array. After spending 5 months in it, they finally succeeded in researching the ancient array. Although it had not been thoroughly studied yet, it could be used now, but its power could not be fully harnessed. Sima Yu and Wu Lingyu personally experienced it in the Spirit Pagoda. With regards to Wu Lingyu's strength and skills against the array, as well as the understanding of this array, they were able to try not to get hurt. If it were others inside, they would surely never be able to leave. At this time, the Scarlet Bees outside informed her that the Soul Clan that were in the Zheng Clan had started to move. Sima Yu asked them to follow carefully so as not to be discovered, and then left the Spirit Pagoda with Wu Lingyu. Seeing her come out, Black Shadow greeted her, Young miss, why did you come out? Is your ancient array ready? Sima Yu nodded, I haven't fully recovered yet, but it's ready for use. I will let you try it another day. Is there something wrong? Huan walked over and asked. There has been movement from the Soul Clan on the Zheng Clan's side. Sima Yu said, the latest news from the Scarlet Bees is that they have already left the city. Should we follow up and see? Sima Yu thought for a while, although she said that this matter should be handled by Shi and the others, they didn't know that the Soul Clan had moved, so it seemed that they still wanted them to go out in person. Call Mou along and let's go out of the city to have a look. The 4 of them didn't understand those from the Soul Clan. Mou should know much better. Mou learned of the situation, and only went out of town with them after Yu promised to come back to brew tea for him. The space tunnel opened by Huan was very concealed. Sima Yu and the others were hidden in the space, and those from the Soul Clan did not sense it at all. However, Mou's eyes sank after seeing those from the Soul Clan. Sima Yu noticed his change and paid special attention to that person. He had a gentle demeanor with peach blossom eyes. Looking at it, he should have already condensed a physical, and it seems that the strength was not low. I have seen the commander. The Soul Clansman who came out of the Zheng Clan knelt and bowed. Su Yu stood there with hands crossed. 17, what's the situation? In accordance with the requirements of the commander, all the families in Western Verge City have all been settled. The Zheng Clan now completely obeys my words. The people outside have almost returned, and they will carry out the final attack on the Hua Clan 2 days later. 17 reported. After the Zheng Clan swallows the Hua Clan, they will do the same to the Wei Clan. After that, use these people to deal with the Duke of Western Verge region. Su Yu said, we must take down Western Verge region. The subordinates will not let Commander down. 17 said. Well, remember, we can't let the people of the Ghost Clan know about the things that we have intervened in. If the general's plan is broken, your family's life will be gone. Su Yu's voice was faint, but it made one's back chill. Subordinate will do my best. 17 said. The people I left with you will contact you today, and if necessary, they will help. Su Yu said. Subordinate understands. You may retreat. Su Yu spoke up, and 17 could not wait to leave. Every time in front of him, there was an oppressive and suffocating feeling. Su Yu also left. After everyone had left, Sima Yu and the others went back. Mou, do you know this person? He is called Su Yu. He is one of the 10 commanders under the great general of the Seoul region, Xiao He. He is cruel and has participated in many battles between the 2 realms and killed many of us. Mou said, and this Su Yu is here. Xiao He has a very high status, and since he appears here, it is probably what Xiao He means. This time, the incident is really some petty tricks that the upper level of the Seoul region is playing. From what he said just now, their plan is not only Western Verge region, but Western Verge region is a more important part of it. Sima Yu said, it seems that simply dealing with 17 is not enough. We must pry other things from his mouth. It's unlikely. Mou shook his head, like them, they only know their own tasks and don't know the whole plan. The purpose is to prevent this. Isn't there no way? No, when Deja arrives, he will naturally find a way to find out these things. He is a general, and he is already familiar with these things. He knows the laws on their side, and he also knows how to find the people from the Soul Clan. Well then, we'll wait for my cousin to come over n/o/vel/b/jn 2 days later, the Zheng clan suddenly surrounded the Hua clan and clamored for the Hua clan to get out of Western Verge region, or else they would kill them. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Comments. The 5 of them were in the courtyard, each of them lying on a reclined chair, listening leisurely to the dispute outside. The great elder took the Hua clan out, and when he saw the Zheng clan before him, he shouted in anger, "What do you want to do, Zheng Weiming?" "Great elder, do I still need to talk about such obvious things?" Zheng Weiming, the patriarch of the Zheng clan, sneered. "Today marks the end of your clan. If you are willing to leave Western Verge region, I can let you leave with your lives. This is our home, why should we leave? Don't you just want to rob our family's property, why talk so much nonsense?" Hua Yuan said contemptuously. "I've given you a chance. Since you do not appreciate it, then I don't have to be kind." Zheng Weiming had on an expression as if he had been hurt deeply before he said the true words in his heart, "Your patriarch is no longer here. Can you still resist?" "Humph. Zheng clan, don't let a single person off." Sima Yu laughed when she heard Zheng Weiming's words. This person was really shameless, his perfunctory words were only at such a level. She became even more interested to know how they would react when they saw the person behind. "Zheng Weiming, who told you that I'm dead?" Hua Su came out of the door and was very happy to see the shock on the faces of the Zheng's family. "You want me to die? Well, in your dreams." "Hua Su, why are you still alive?" Zheng Weiming was really surprised and caught off guard. The news they received was that he had died, so how could he still be standing before them now? "Well, sorry to disappoint you, but I am very well and alive." "Humph, with just your meager strength, you also want to take my life?" "Well, it's time to wake up," Hua Su retorted. Zheng Weiming's expression changed again, not because of how much trouble that he was well and alive, but because he had recovered. Did it mean that he already knew about the Soul Clan? He glanced at 17 from the corner of his eyes, and when he saw that his complexion was not very good, he felt like he shouldn't be angry anymore. "Even if you are alive, you can't change the ending of your Hua clan. Our current strength is stronger than yours." Zheng Weiming adjusted his mentality and felt that he had overreacted just now. What if Hua Su was alive? It still didn't change the fact that it was the end of the Hua clan. As long as they were dead, even if they knew about the Soul Clan, they couldn't tell anyone. "You mean, about you secretly calling people back?" Hua Su saw Zheng Weiming's expression freeze again, and he was very happy. He then continued on in a gleeful tone and said proudly, "You think you are the only ones who secretly called people back? Did you think that the Hua clan wouldn't? Look, what are these?" As soon as his voice fell, many people from the Hua clan emerged, and the Zheng clan recognized them. These were the people who had been sent to other places. How was this possible? The Hua clan had already called all the people back from outside, yet why didn't they hear any news at all? "You have hidden it so tightly." "Haha, it's alright, it's just that you didn't pay attention to us that makes you so surprised." Hua Su's words were an unintentional slap. If the Zheng clan hadn't underestimated the Hua clan too much, how could there be no news of such a big movement? "Patriarch Zheng, we not only know your plan, but also your business with the Wei clan. Speaking of which, if it weren't for that time, Wei Xing told us that we would still be trapped in the valley. I don't know that you had already started amassing people." "Wei Xing? That imbecile screwed things up. So, you know it all?" Zheng Weiming wanted to choke everyone in the Wei clan to death. If it weren't for them, how could the Hua clan know these things? How could they be so vigilant? That Wei Xing, even if he didn't die at that time, he would kill him now. "Humph, even so, the ending is the same. Come on." He gave an order, and the people from both sides rushed together, and the spirit power of the battle impacted the surroundings. Fortunately, the Hua clan opened the protective array in time to save Hua Manor. The sound of the sky shaking outside did not cause Yu to react. The 5 of them were still lying on the chairs, watching the interweaving of various skills in the air, and exclaimed, "The Mo clan just experienced such a thing, and I've encountered something similar. Isn't this world like this? Everyone is vying with each other for profit." Wu Lingyu put his hands on the back of his head, and the faint smile at the corner of his mouth showed his good mood now. NOVLB/JNN. Other than the underworld, I'm afraid I can't find a peaceful place at all. Black Shadow also sighed as he lamented. This is life. Life. Huan preferred the struggles of the ghost realm. Mou smiled, and at their level, it didn't matter. Had it not been for family ties, he would have traveled around the world a long time ago. Although he doesn't return to the clan very frequently, he always has concerns in his heart. "The people from the Wei clan are here," Sima Yu said. The Wei clan did not intend to directly participate in today's affairs. They had been sending people to keep an eye on the situation here. Unexpectedly, they did intercept any news from the Hua clan seeking help, but attained news that they knew their purpose instead. Not only that, their people in the Zheng clan handed back a message that after the Zheng clan settled the Hua clan, the next one would deal with the Wei clan, instead of intending to redeem the original promise to give the Hua clan 1/3 of the property. At this moment, there was a roar from Wei Lin, who was in retreat. The people guarding the door broke in and saw Wei Lin, who was covered in blood. "Advancement pill, there is a problem." Wei Lin fainted after speaking. Unexpectedly, he failed to advance and even became a useless person. Only at this time did the Wei clan know that the Hua clan really knew of their plan. Not only that, but they also schemed against them and abolished their young master. In addition to the news from the Zheng clan, they suddenly realized that they had ridden a tiger and found it difficult to dismount. Now that the Zheng clan and the Hua clan were about to fight, he must stop them. They couldn't let them destroy each other, otherwise they will be the ones who will be in danger in the future. But after the Wei clan arrived, they were directly dragged into the battle before they could speak. The three fought like this. Facing the melee outside, this was probably a situation that no one has thought of. After a while, and she came and shouted, "How can you provoke a fight? Come, bring them all back." And she dispatched the army and also brought people from the Duke Manor. Most of the people in the Wei clan and the Zheng clan were killed and injured, and the rest were exhausted and seriously injured. As a result, all those present were taken back to the Duke Manor and locked up in special dungeons. As soon as 17 entered the dungeon, he found something was wrong. After he got here, he actually felt that his soul power was faintly suppressed. Where was this aimed at the Zheng clan and the Wei clan? It was obviously aimed at him. That's not right. Why do we have more casualties than the Hua clan? Patriarch, I remembered that among the group of people in the Hua clan, some people have never seen it. It seems that they are in the army of the Duke. Previous chapter. Next chapter. People from the Duke Manor? How could it be? The Duke Manor has never intervened in family struggles, so how could it be the Duke Manor? Everyone didn't believe it, except for Zheng Weiming and 17. Although I don't know what method was used, the soul power of 17 was restrained, indicating that they had prepared in advance. Patriarch, why does the Duke only arrest us and not the Hua clan? Someone asked unwillingly. Yeah, even if the fighting has brought harm to Western Verge City, the Hua clan should be arrested too. Why only catch us? Could it be that the Duke is actually helping the Hua clan? They all felt that this was the case, but they could not fathom the reason. If they couldn't think of it, someone would come to them in time. However, this wait was 3 days. 3 days later, and she came to the prison. Apart from Hua Su, there were 3 others who they had not seen with him. My lord, what do you mean by this? Zheng Weiming saw Hua Su and asked with a calm face, are you aligned with the Hua clan? You said you wouldn't participate in family feuds. I did. And she admitted. Then why do you want to destroy your promise to help the Hua clan? What do you think? And she glanced at him, the meaning self-evident, I don't need to say this, you should understand. If it weren't for the things you did, would I be involved? What did we do? What did we do? The rest of the Zheng clan didn't understand what he meant, and turned their attention to their patriarch. Patriarch, what does the Duke mean? Zheng Weiming didn't speak, and all he thought was that the matter was exposed, so there was really no way to survive this time. Don't say whether and she will spare him, even if and she doesn't want his life, he won't spare himself over there. From the moment he agreed to cooperate, he was not allowed to fail. He had no retreat at all. But, how couldn't she know such a secret thing? When did he know? The Zheng clan saw his face pale, and as perspiration trickled down, they immediately understood what he was doing. Patriarch? They looked at him desperately, hoping to hear a negative answer. But the silence made their hearts sink into the ice cellar. And she led people past their cell and walked to the farthest one. 17 is closed there. 17 understood from Anshi's eyes that the matter had been exposed. In other words, he knew it had been exposed from the time he knew that this would suppress his strength. He looked at the few people outside, not panicked or surprised, but curiously said, how did you know? If you want people to know it, you can do nothing. As long as you do, there will always be clues. And she said. Impossible, you have no defense against the spirit race, how could you discover it? 17 understood their psychology, and always felt that the spirit race would only be in those few places, and never thought that it would appear here. Therefore, they should not find out. He looked at Sima Yu and Mo behind, you found it? You should feel honored. And she said, the young princess and Master Mo personally discovered your conspiracy. NOVLB //JNN. Young princess? Master Mo? The people in the prison looked at them in shock, they turned out to be the young princess and Mo. What shocked them even more was that the patriarch of the Zheng clan had colluded with the people of the Seoul region. It's no wonder that the Duke would be involved in this matter. It turns out that this was not a simple clan feud at all. Are you the young princess of the Ghost Realm? 17 looked at Sima Yu, but he didn't expect her to be so young. It's because of my bad luck that I will meet you here. If it weren't for them, all this would be different. How can it be different? No matter whether you have us or not, your conspiracy will not succeed. Sima Yu sneered, I have a lot of talents in the Ghost Realm, you don't want to get anything from us. Humph. 17 smiled, and did not argue with her. When the plan of Commander was successful, let's see how these ghost clansmen will still be able to laugh. Are you thinking about Suyu? Sima Yu said, do you think that his plan is perfect? I don't know what you're talking about. 17 stemmed her neck and refused to admit it. Are you afraid that Suyu will know that you said it? Sima Yu asked, when you met outside the city, you were really afraid. How do you know? No. I saw it. Sima Yu said, do you think no one will see it when you leave the city? How is it possible? If you were there, how could the commander not know? Hehe, just the strength of Suyu, can you find us? Sima Yu said contemptuously, even if it's here, it can't save you. 17's heart couldn't help but sink, unexpectedly Sima Yu knew everything. I won't tell you anything. You don't want to get anything from me. He said, intending to blow himself up. Swipe. A short knife passed through his chest and nailed it into the wall behind. He slowly lowered his head, saw the big hole in his chest, and a smile was pulled at the corner of his mouth. He didn't expect that he would die so easily, so he didn't need to have to blow himself up. It's alright, they can't ask anything after they die, and they won't be able to see anything in the future. Boom. He fell to the ground, but his consciousness became more sober at the last moment. He saw Sima Yu suddenly appear next to him, but the cell door did not open. He saw her squatting next to him, her slender fingers grabbing his shoulders and lifting himself up, and he heard her say in his ear, "You think you will end everything when you die? What will I do? Don't even know? You want to. What I want is when you are about to die, I hope that you know a little bit more things." After Sima Yu finished speaking, she explored with her divine sense into his sea of knowledge and quickly read his memory. He noticed her invasion, but he couldn't stop it. After she got out of his head, she felt her body thrown on the ground like a rag was thrown, and her cold voice sounded in her ears, "I have received the news, please deal with the body." He was so unwilling, he obviously didn't do anything, didn't say anything, yet he still let her know. If Suyu knew, what would he do with the clan? That's it, since they pushed themselves in front of Suyu, they have already linked their fate to him. This is not his choice, but theirs. Sima Yu and Mo Yu walked out. The Zheng clan and the Wei clan did not dare to speak out, for fear that they would end up like 17. "Young princess, how do you want to deal with these people?" And she asked a question that made their hearts hang. Sima Yu looked at the people in the prison and said to Shi, "Those who have colluded with foreign enemies, deal with it accordingly. As for those who want to take advantage of the fire to rob and fall into trouble, shut them in prison so that you can serve it as a warning to others." She didn't know what was the exact punishment for those found to have colluded with foreign enemies. They would definitely have death as an ending, but it just depended on whether it was a quick death or a painful one. The Wei clan was relieved when they heard what she said. As long as they could live, it was alright. Where there is life, there is hope. However, they had thought of things too simply. During the time they were detained, the Hua clan had already eaten up all of the Zheng clan's fortune, and also attacked the Wei clan's property. When the key members of the Wei clan were released from prison, there was only an empty shell left in the Wei clan. After the Hua clan absorbed the properties of the Zheng clan and the Wei clan, their economic prowess grew. With a lot of money, that meant that there were also more resources and their entire strength had been improved and the clan had been lifted to an entirely new level. The gap between the two clans grew even bigger. In addition to their bad reputation, they went downhill and could not even be ranked. Of course, these were all things that happened later, and Sima Yu never thought that her decision today would affect the outcome of the three families. After they left the prison, Huasu asked, "What did the young princess find out? What do we need to do?" "I don't need anything for the time being, the Hua clan can take care of their own affairs. If necessary, I will come to you again." Sima Yu refused their offer. Huasu knew that this meant that she had rejected their offer. However, the Hua clan was really busy now, they still had a lot of aftermath to deal with, so he did not delay any more and left. "Let's go to a place where we can talk," Sima Yu said to Shi. And she understood that she must have seen something important in 17's memory and immediately led them to his study. Dukan, their plan was to deal with the Hua clan first, then swallow the property of the Hua clan and deal with the Wei clan after. After that has all been achieved, the ultimate goal was to then let Zheng Wei Ming deal with you. Sima Yu said. "To deal with me? Western Verge region is not a very important place, so why did they choose this place?" And she was puzzled. Perhaps it is precisely because this location is not an important one that they intend to pry open a gap and decide to start from here. Sima Yu said, "Not only here, but also some other places. I think their purpose should be to break into all these places and connect them into one piece. They should be planning to break through the boundary. Then what other places are in their plans? 17 doesn't know this. They are independent of each other, in order to prevent one place from failing and affecting other places." Sima Yu said, "But I think, since this method was used here, other places should also be using similar methods. Go and check the recent turbulence in the neighboring regions and there should be some clues. I will have someone investigate immediately." And she said that he was about to get up, and was stopped by Sima Yu. "You can deal with that a little later." Sima Yu said, "Have you caught all those people over the past 2 days?" All were arrested, but the interrogation was useless, they didn't say anything. And she said, "I'm afraid that young princess still needs to personally come out." What she did previously really shocked him. With such a hand, why was there still a need to worry that the interrogation had no result? "I have some uncertain news when I probed 17's memories and I need to check with those people. But those people's status is not as high as the 17, will they know anything? Let's give it a try." Sima Yu was not sure, those people didn't follow them, maybe they know some gossip. "Then I will have someone bring them up." And she went out and ordered people to bring back those people from the Soul clan, and by the way ordered people to check where similar things had happened. Soon, those Soul clansmen who had been tortured for half their lives were brought up. In order not to scare Sima Yu, and she also specially asked them to change their clothes. Sima Yu walked over and saw that their mental power was almost tortured, so she didn't kill them but dived straight with her divine. No one bothered her as they let her slowly organize her thoughts and also rest well at the same time. After a while, Sima Yu opened her eyes and said, "There's no more need for these people. Since there was no need for them, just get someone to kill them." And she waved his hand, and immediately a guard came up and dragged the Soul clansman away. "How is it?" Mo asked. "There is a fragment of memory in one person's memory that overlaps with 17's. Sima Yu said, in 17's memory, he knew that someone had also arrived in the ghost realm. "When I swept through the memories of those people just now, there was one place that came up, Immortal Hex region. Do you think it is Immortal Hex region?" That person was to be sent to Immortal Hex region at first, but later he was temporarily added here by the higher ups. So I think that there should be people from the Soul Clan in the Immortal Hex region already. Sima Yu speculated. I'm quite on decent terms with the region ruler of Immortal Hex region. Just a few days ago, I was told that there wasn't anything similar like the Hua clan and the Jin clan situation happening there. And she said. But I think that there should be something abnormal when a city on the side of the ghost realm appears in the memory of one of the Soul Clan. Since we're not sure, let's go and have a look. Wu Lingyu suggested. Sima Yu thought for a while, and replied, alright, let's go first. Dukan, my cousin will be here soon, you can tell him when he comes then we have gone on ahead to Immortal Hex region. Alright. And she responded. Seeing Sima Yu get up, he asked, are you leaving now? You have taken control of the situation here. We can go to Immortal Hex region earlier to determine the situation sooner. Sima Yu said, if that's the case, please use my teleportation array. Young princess, you can reach there directly. Alright, then I will have to trouble you. Young princess is too polite, please follow me. And she brought them to the back of the courtyard, where his private teleportation array was. It was linked to the neighboring regions. Sima Yu contacted Black Shadow and Huan, and they arrived here after a few breaths, and she was slightly surprised when he saw the strength of the two, they were so powerful. 5 people came to the teleportation array and she activated the array and watched them leave. Not long after they disappeared, a group of people suddenly broke into his manor. Where is the young princess? Han Feng asked calmly. He just felt that she had gone a long way. Although he could determine the location, he might as well ask directly, and she recognized that this was the person next to the Ghost King, and he quickly saluted, saying, the young princess has gone to Immortal Hex region. The young princess went so far suddenly. Han Shan saw Anshi's teleportation array and said, you use this to send us there. Previous chapter. When Sima Yu and the others came out of the teleportation array, the region ruler of Immortal Hex region, Pai Ling, had already taken people to the teleportation array. I have seen young princess and Master Mou. Sima Yu came out and was a little surprised when she saw a woman in a light green dress leading a group of people saluting to her. Linger. Out of her expectations, Mou actually gave a nod towards Pai Ling, which was a rare gesture from him. Sima Yu glanced at Mou in surprise. Does this guy like such a beautiful woman? Linger is the daughter of a dear friend. It turned out to be your friend's daughter. Sima Yu smiled, region ruler Ling, did you hear from Dukan? Yes. Pai Ling was a gentle-looking woman, and when she laughed, she felt as if she had been enveloped in warm water. There are still people? Only us, no one else. Said it is the guard who protects the princess. Guard? Sima Yu was startled, and then she understood, but she didn't speak yet, and the array lit up again, and the entourage of Han Shan and Han Feng appeared on the array. Sima Yu showed such an expression as expected, looked at them, and said nothing. Young princess. Han Shan and Han Feng led the people to salute. Since you are all here, then stay at the region ruler's manor. I will tell you if I have something I need you to do. Yes, young princess. Han Shan Han Feng breathed a sigh of relief that the young princess was not angry. Young princess, we have prepared the courtyard for you to stay in. Please have a look first to see if it's suitable, if not, I will change it for you. Pai Ling said respectfully, it doesn't matter where we live, let's talk about business first. Pai Ling's smile did not change as she agreed and invited them to discuss matters at the hall. After they reached there, Pai Ling drove all the personnel out and set up a barrier to prevent anyone from eavesdropping. Young princess, and she told me something about discovering the presence of the Soul Clan. He also asked me if anything out of the ordinary happened here. Sima Yu talked about the discovery of 17 and the rest of the Soul Clan, before sharing her speculation about the Immortal Hex region. Does the princess think that they will attack Immortal Hex region next? I think it should have started. Sima Yu said affirmatively, are there any disturbances lately? No. Pai Ling shook her head slightly, I have confirmed with various cities that there has been no disturbance in recent years. None at all? Sima Yu frowned slightly, in the memory of that person, he was sent to Immortal Hex region first, and then changed to Western Verge region. Since the people of the Soul Clan mentioned Immortal Hex region, then there must be someone from the Soul Clan lurking. I'll send someone to check again. Pai Ling said. Well, I think their main goal is still in Immortal Hex city. You should ask people to check if there is any strange phenomenon. Sima Yu said. Alright, I will immediately send someone to investigate. We will live in the largest inn during this time, so if you have anything, I have to trouble you to inform us. Sima Yu said. Young princess, aren't you going to live in the manor? Pai Ling said in surprise. No, let's live outside. Why? Pai Ling looked at Mou, was it because the young princess felt that the region ruler's manor was not good enough? If you want to find some news, it's more convenient to be outside. The inn, tavern, tea house is the place where news circulates the fastest. Pai Ling heaved a sigh of relief. It turned out that it was not because her manner was not good enough. This young princess was the most beloved granddaughter of the Ghost King, and it was said that he loved her no less than her mother, Yu Koluo. When her mother was in the Ghost Realm, she didn't have the treatment of being personally escorted by Han Shan and Han Feng. She was afraid that this little ancestor would be upset, and she could not afford to let her make any trouble in the Immortal Hex region. Yes. Sima Yu smiled at her, we are here to find if there's anything out of the ordinary, that's why it will be much more convenient to live outside. We will not be leaving by the front entrance. Others will see us and, I don't want others to know that I'm here to check this. Of course, this guy that many people know will be placed with you. What? No. Pai Ling and Mou spoke at the same time, and Mou looked at her with an aggrieved expression. Sima Yu shook her finger, your protest is invalid. Who made your face so famous in the Ghost Realm? As soon as you show up, wouldn't everyone know it? If the people from the Soul Clan don't show their tail, then can we still find anything? But I would be so bored by myself. The resentment on Mou's face turned into sorrow, and there was a trace of coquetry. Pai. Ling stared at Mou in disbelief. Did she just hear it wrongly? Was he just acting like a child? This was Mou, who was as famous as Yen Luo, the old immortal guy, who can act like a child. Has day and night been reversed, or was the world in chaos? Even if it was, the impact was not as great as what she had just experienced. Every time she followed her father, when she saw Mou, she always felt that he was so high above and beyond reach. Obviously they were all of the ghost clan, but he had the aloofness of an immortal. She used to listen to her father saying that he was a person who was hopeless. But she always felt that her father was jealous of Mou's good looks. Now, he would actually speak to Sima Yu like this, which has subverted all her previous cognition. If you are bored, find something to do yourself, drink tea, and chat, as long as you don't show up in front of everyone. How ruthless. Mou protested. Alright, since we've laid things right, we should also go out to find a place to live. Where is the biggest inn? Someone who was being ignored. Sima Yu finally left, leaving Mou, Han Shan and Han Feng at the region ruler manor. They left through a space tunnel and appeared in a remote alley. They found the largest inn as Pai Ling said. Instead of renting the entire courtyard, they lived in the front rooms. Although it was noisy, if one paid a little attention, one could hear the talking in the lobby below. Occasionally, they would go to the street, sit in the tea house, and listen to the chats of those people. After going around for a few days, they finally got some useful news in a small tea house. Previous chapter. After drinking tea for so many consecutive days, all they heard was gossip among neighbors. Sima Yu even wanted to complain, weren't these people cultivators? Why were they so free to pay attention to the trivial things of other families all day long? Fortunately, they all drink tea brewed by her, which could be regarded as a kind of enjoyment. On this day, while passing by a small tea house, Sima Yu suddenly had an epiphany. Since they could not get any news from those established big tea houses, then she'll change to the small tea houses. People of different levels may send different news on their behalf. They chose the most remote location, but even so, it still garnered a lot of people's attention. Seeing that they didn't have any intention to speak, no one would go up and provoke them. If they happen to be big figures, it will be in trouble. Sima Yu and the others ordered tea, but they didn't drink it after serving it, pretending to take a few sips. At the beginning, those people didn't talk about any special topics. People came and went. Only when they were about to leave without success, for ordinary people walked in. As soon as they came in, the waiter greeted them and served them tea as they ordered some snacks and then started chatting. What the hell is going on in our village? Those people have become weird recently, and they seem to have forgotten who they are. But when you talk to them, they can answer, but it feels like their entire person has changed. It's creepy. Our village is the same as well. Seeing the eyes of those people, my heart becomes frizzy. Do you have them too? Yes, my neighbor next door. He used to be an honest person, but now he doesn't meet anyone all day long. When I see him occasionally, it feels weird. We thought he may be a different person, but when we talk to him about the past, he still remembers them clearly. Maybe something happened suddenly. Don't think about it so much. By the way, where's your younger brother? My brother has recently been enamored by Springbrook Pavilion's star courtesan. The man who spoke behind said, you know, my family only has these family properties and they were saved up from when my parents had their big break in the city. Now it's all been lost by that guy. This happened only in a month. No way, how can you let your brother go to such a place like Springbrook Pavilion? That's not something people like us can reach. I thought so at the beginning. But I followed my brother and saw that he had indeed entered Springbrook Pavilion. The procuress at the door said that the girl Chunyao had been waiting for him for a long time. I'll be damned. For real? Your brother really knows Chunyao so well. When will he take me to see her too? It is said that Chunyao is as beautiful as a fairy, her skin is so smooth like jade. Alright, you. Pay attention to how wretched you look now. The brother glared at that man. n/o/vel/b/jn.c//om. Cough cough. I have lost myself there for a moment. The man smiled, but how did your brother get into the eyes of Chunyao? Don't pay attention to the girl Chunyao, his brother's like this now, I'm afraid something will happen to him sooner or later. I think it's strange, how did Chunyao choose his brother? Springbrook Pavilion is the largest brothel, the star courtesan in Chunyao, the people who go to look for her are high-ranking officials and children of aristocratic families. How could civilians like them get into her eyes? I am not very clear about this, it seems that the girl Chunyao chose herself. However, the procuress did not disagree. You don't have to be too worried, aren't you out of money? Naturally, he won't be allowed to enter the doors of Springbrook Pavilion. Oh, I hope so. Then they talked about some other things, and didn't say anything more about the topic just now. Sima Yu and the others waited for a while, then checked out and left. When she left, she let out some scarlet bees. Lingyu, do you think this is the Soul Clan's mischief? Sima Yu asked. I think the region rulers should have focused their attention on each city, and they have not thought about the small villages and towns outside. Moreover, with the matter of Western Verge City, the focus will be on major clan entanglements. That's why they have missed such news. Wu Lingyu said. So, do you think these things they are talking about are related to the Soul Clan? Black Shadow asked. I think at least 80%. Huan said. Is it right? I'll know later. Wu Lingyu smiled. Then what shall we do now? Sima Yu asked, touching her chin. I see your expression, do you want to do something bad? Black Shadow asked excitedly. Huan slapped him on the head, what are you excited about? Of course I'm excited, Miss is like this, she must be doing bad things. The Shadow said with a grin. Sima Yu looked at Wu Lingyu, took his arm, and looked at him with a smile. Lingyu, shall I take you to visit Wenru Township today? I like your gentle hometown. Wu Lingyu glanced at her intently. You think too much. Sima Yu patted his arm, I will take you to Springbrook Pavilion to see beautiful women tonight, how about it, how am I to you? Not many girlfriends are willing to give this kind of treatment. I like to change it. Wu Lingyu said. Ha ha ha, miss, we are going to visit Springbrook Pavilion tonight, really? Black Shadow looked at her with bright eyes. Oh, the brothel of the Ghost Realm, we haven't been to see it yet. Are you two going? If you don't, my lady and I will go. What do you think? Huan glanced at him, as if he would dare to try. In the evening, 4 well-dressed men appeared at the door of Springbrook Pavilion. The procuress who was greeting the guests saw them and immediately waved his handkerchief to greet them. The pleats on that face were all smiles like chrysanthemums. Why is this procuress so ugly? The black figure shrank behind Sima Yu, poking out his head, looking scared. Sima Yu also twitched the corners of her mouth. This procuress is really, beyond words. The other women at the Mingming Gate are all so beautiful and touching, how come this procuress? Is it to set off the beauty of those people? Is this the first time the 4 masters have come? The procuress leaned forward and asked with a smile. Yes, I heard that there are many beauties in your Springbrook Pavilion, so I passed by here and came to see it. Sima Yu frowned slightly when she smelled the perfume on her body. Wu Lingyu took 2 steps directly back, with undisguised disgust in his eyes. He, half of the men in Immortal Hex City will visit our Springbrook Pavilion. We have the most beautiful woman and the best service. The procuress smiled and looked at the 4 of them. The little brother in front of him has his eyes gleaming, his face is curious. Although the same is true for the people behind him, they seem to be obsessed with cleanliness. The person next to him didn't seem to be willing to come here, he was probably pulled over by the guy in front of him. There is a man a little further away, who should be a guard. Looks very ordinary combination. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Sima Yu pretended not to notice the procuress gaze, and looked at the girls outside Springbrook Pavilion with interest. Yo, that girl is good. Black Shadow, look at it, that chest, waist and ass, tsk, one look and you'll be hooked. She touched her chin, and her saliva was about to flow out. Sima Yu looked at this and that again, with great interest. Young master, you are right, the girls here are much better than the ones from our side. Black Shadow followed her to look around and was very excited. The procuress saw Sima Yu look like this, went up to her, and said, is it the first time for the young master to come to this place? Yes. Sima Yu nodded, I have never visited a brothel before. Oh, don't you hold me here, I want to go in and see the girl inside. I have money. Young master, don't worry, no one knows the girl in Springbrook Pavilion better than me. The procuress said with a smile, tell me what type of girls you like and I will arrange for you. Really? Sima Yu's eyes beamed, I want to see your star courtesan. I heard that the star courtesan is the most beautiful and attractive. I want to see her. You want to see Chunyao? Not everyone can see Chunyao in our pavilion. The procuress put the 3 fingers of her right hand together and rubbed it together. Sima Yu understood it at once. She glanced at Black Shadow, and he took out a bag immediately and placed it in the hands of the procuress. My young master said, we are not short of money. Black Shadow exclaimed, let your star courtesan come and serve my young master. The procuress saw the top-grade crystals in the bag and the smile on her face became brighter, but she did not let them go. Chunyao is engaged for today as we have already arranged it tonight. Or else, why don't you take a look at our 4 famous flowers? They are all excellent. No. I only want Miss Chunyao. Sima Yu pouted, as if this young master had a temper. My young master always gets what he wants, a star courtesan has such arrogance. Black Shadow said sternly. This is the rule of my Springbrook Pavilion. Since it has been arranged, we can't be irresponsible to other guests, right? N/O/vel/before other guests? Do they have the status of our young master? Are they as rich as our young master? Our young master is the Regent Ru. Black Shadow. Huan scolded, interrupting the words behind Black Shadow. But it had the feeling of trying to cover up. But, we place our customers first, said the procuress, don't be angry, young master, you've seen our 4 famous flowers, and you will feel that this trip is worthwhile. No, I want the star courtesan. Only the star courtesan is worthy of my identity. Sima Yu insisted, if you don't let me see the Chunyao today, I will let Region Ruler Ling demolish your Springbrook Pavilion. This. Madam. Just when the procuress was embarrassed, a servant walked out of it and bowed to her, the lady said to let me invite the young masters in. What about her guest? The guest has left. The servant girl replied, and then said to Sima Yu, young master, please. That's more like it. Sima Yu waved her hand, go, Black Shadow, let's see if that star courtesan is as beautiful as rumored to be. All right. Sima Yu walked in front, Wu Lingyu walked beside her, Black Shadow and Huan followed behind, looking like the brothers were carrying guards. The servant led them over to an independent loft and it was very clean, unlike the noisy atmosphere outside. Moreover, the layout was also elegant and light, nothing like the gaudy and grandiose decor in front, and those who didn't know thought it was the boudoir of a family girl. Young master, please wait here, my lady will come right away. The servant girl gave a salute and went out. Sima Yu yelled to her back, to hurry up, and when she turned around, she saw the three of them staring at her. She touched her nose. Why are you looking at me like this? I didn't expect, young master, your acting skills are so good. Black Shadow looked at her in admiration. Have never eaten pork, haven't seen a pig run? Sima Yu raised her chin and said triumphantly. You have eaten pork. You made it for us before. Black Shadow replied earnestly. Everyone. This is a common saying. Don't you understand the common saying? Sima Yu knocked on his head, then came to the table and sat down. It's been a long time since I pretended to be a man, this ring finally came in handy again. Wu Lingyu took out a tea set and started to make some tea. Sima Yu sat beside him, staring at his hand. When Chun Yao came over, a pot of tea had just been brewed. Chun Yao greets several young masters. She bowed to them one by one. Sima Yu looked over and saw a delicate and sweet young lady standing at the door radiating sweetness and charm. Wow, she really looks so beautiful. Black Shadow said unabashedly. Even Huan raised his eyebrows. Only Wu Lingyu was sitting there. After a glance, he continued to concentrate on pouring tea for Sima Yu, pushing the cup in front of her, and said softly, drink tea. Sima Yu took a sip of tea, waved to Chun Yao, and said, are you the star courtesan of Springbrook Pavilion? Yes, Chun Yao is. Chun Yao's voice was sweet and gentle, making people feel their heart melt when they heard it. Come on, sit next to me. Sima Yu patted the other side, her eyes were almost sticking to Chun Yao, and when she sat down, she immediately went up and grabbed her hand. Young master, can Chun Yao play a song for you? Chun Yao smiled at her. Sima Yu saw her smile, her whole body was overwhelmed, and she happily said, yes. Of course. Chun Yao took the opportunity to pull her hand away and went to the other end where a zither was placed. Chun Yao smiled at Sima Yu and started to play. She had to admit that her zither was really good, and even she was fascinated by it. Sima Yu looked at Chun Yao in a daze. She always felt that when a beautiful woman played a zither, it was very alluring and it would also nurture one's ears and heart. After the end of the song, Chun Yao got up and thanked her, and then said, young master, we can only end here tonight. Why? Because the time is up, the next time slot is reserved for other people. Like just now, the previous guests left temporarily before I had time to see young master. I have other guests coming. Young master can't bear to embarrass Chun Yao, right? Of course I can't bear it. Then I have to come later. I want to book your entire night. You are not allowed to serve other guests. Sima Yu said proudly. Chun Yao smiled deeper, and replied, Chun Yao can't do it tonight. From tomorrow night, Chun Yao promises to only serve young master. Alright, then it's a deal. Sima Yu dragged on a while before leaving. After she left, the smile on Chun Yao's face faded, and the procuress walked in, looking at her anxiously. Previous chapter. Next chapter. If other people were here, they would find their relationship rather strange, where the procuress was actually afraid of her star courtesan. Madam, have all the arrangements made previously cancelled? Chun Yao said. Why? All those people with appointments made for later will. Is madam questioning my decision? Chun Yao was seated before the zither, her gaze gentle as she looked at the procuress, but the procuress could not help feeling a chill run up her spine. Your subordinate wouldn't dare. The procuress immediately backed down. Then go make the necessary arrangements. Such a small task wouldn't be hard for someone like you. Chun Yao said with a smile. My lady, can your subordinate ask why are you choosing to abandon so many people just for those 4 people here tonight? Is it really worth it? The procuress asked hesitantly. Chun Yao did not get angry this time, but merely lowered her head and began to play the zither. It was only after she finished a piece that she opened her mouth to say in a soft voice. Not 4 people, but just one. That little young master? That's right. Chun Yao propped her chin in her left hand as she picked at the zither strings casually with her right. With a subdued smile, she then said, his soul is very delicious, and it seems to have special powers. Just one person alone would be more superior than that entire lot of trash. But it looks like that person's identity could be some high noble. Are we going to snatch it from him? Have you forgotten our rule? Only when a soul that is handed over voluntarily would be fresh and delicious. Even the slightest bit of harm inflicted on a soul wouldn't be good. Then why didn't my lady try to make them stay a little longer? If it's so easy for him to have a taste of it, would he still cherish it? Only what is hard to get will taste the best. Do you still need me to teach you how a man's mind works? I understand. Now go make the arrangements. The next time you try to come question my decisions, you can just go seek punishment from the house on your own. Yes, my lady, go ahead. The procuress left and there was a pleasant zither sound behind her. She looked up at the moon above her head and felt that the night was extremely cold. Sima Yu and the others came out of the Springbrook Pavilion and went straight back to the inn where they were staying. Only when the people behind them had confirmed that they were staying there did they turn and leave. Sima Yu and Wu Lingyu stood in front of the window and looked outside the bustling street. Those people left, it seems that they just came to confirm where we stay. Wu Lingyu said. Don't worry about it, Sima Yu said. Isn't Black Shadow awake yet? No, that useless guy, it seems that he needs to be called back to retrain. Huan said solemnly. Don't be mad, the sound of the zither was indeed abnormal. Even for me, there was a momentary loss of consciousness at the time. It should be a sound attack. Sima Yu said. It's really a sound attack, and it's the kind that doesn't enter the stream. Wu Lingyu said, the sound of the zither will confuse people's minds and make people admire her. Judging from the way she plays the zither, today's one was just average. I'm afraid there are other more powerful moves. Generally, it can confuse people's minds, and even more powerful, I am afraid that the person who listens would no longer be oneself. Wu Lingyu said, sound attack is really troublesome. Huan agreed. Ah, Sima Yu yelled suddenly, startling the two of them. Before asking her what was wrong, she grasped Wu Lingyu's arm and shouted, did you see her? You still pretend. Don't blink. Did you look secretly? If you just want to look honestly, since I took you along, I won't mind you looking, but why did you secretly look? I won't be jealous or anything. Wu Lingyu's arm was held in an iron grip. Hearing what she said, he looked at her glaring expression and he was speechless. Won't be jealous? Then what was this? Why was she twisting his arm for? I just glanced over when I noticed that the sound of the zither was different, and I looked at her fingers. He explained. Really? Sima Yu blinked her big eyes. Hey, if you really looked, I won't say anything. Someone was smiling happily now, her face just now is not good. She herself seemed to feel that she had made a mistake just now, she stretched out her hand to touch his arm, and smiled cautiously. Do you think this is enough? Wu Lingyu raised an eyebrow. What do you want? Of course it is, this way. Before he finished his words, his lips arrived. Someone's head was held gently and could not be avoided. Someone seos still here. Sima Yu protested in a low voice. Where is there anyone? Wu Lingyu let go of her, and she looked at where Huan was just now. There was no longer a shadow of a figure in place. The moment she twisted Wu Lingyu's arm, Huan had already fled. Continue to compensate me. You. The moonlight became shy. On the second day, Sima Yu delivered the news of the strange incidents happening in the villages as well as the strangeness of Spring Brook Pavilion to Pai Ling. Pai Ling happened to be with Mou when she got the news. A village outside the city? I really haven't sent anyone to pay attention to this. Pai Ling said reproachfully. Those people from the Soul Clan started from there, this is very unexpected in itself. Mou said, I just don't know what they are doing with them. How did they change them? I'll send someone to investigate. Pai Ling said, don't worry, everyone in your region knows you. Once you go, you'll startle them. Mou said, I think she should have already checked. Pai Ling continued to look down, and she saw Sima Yu telling her to stand still, saying that she had gone to investigate. Later, she talked about Spring Brook Pavilion. Mou was on the side, hearing this, and exploded. What did she say? She went to Spring Brook Pavilion? She is a woman who dared to go to Spring Brook Pavilion. Sure enough, she did everything. Wu Lingyu doesn't know how to stop her. Wu Lingyu went too. Pai Ling said, she found that Spring Brook Pavilion was also very abnormal, and asked us to keep a lookout on the people in the pavilion and those guests. I understand about staring at the people from the pavilion, but why even the guests? She must have discovered something abnormal with those guests. Since they can make the villagers change, it is possible to make the guests change. Or, she thinks these people might do something. There's a huge stream of people coming in and out of Spring Brook Pavilion every day, and they are not familiar with the people here, so they will let you do these things. Mou guessed. He really understood Sima Yu, and he understood her meaning all at once. Alright, I'll make arrangements immediately. Pai Ling replied. Let me be careful, I know. In the evening, Sima Yu went to Spring Brook Pavilion again. Chun Yao was already waiting. Seeing her, Sima Yu immediately walked over, took her hand, looked at her lecherously and said, well, about the saying one day apart seems like 3 years, but why do I feel as if 100 years have passed? Wu Lingyu was 2 steps behind her, and when he saw her grabbing someone else's hand, he immediately stepped forward and pulled her hand away. Not forgetting to reprimand, behave properly, what's with all the tugging and pulling? Sima Yu curled her lips, what's the matter with this? This is a brothel. Seeing Wu Lingyu coming over with his gaze as sharp as a blade, she shrank her neck and stopped talking. That night, Sima Yu and Chun Yao just played the zither, chatted, drank tea, and did nothing. The same was true over the next few days, but the manner in which Sima Yu looked at Chun Yao became more intense and she even asked to stay overnight. However, she was dragged back by Wu Lingyu. After they left, the procuress came in, and Chun Yao ordered, you will have someone go and lead that man away tomorrow. Lead away? Wouldn't that put you at a risk of being discovered? My lady is going to take this risk now? The procuress asked. ZNNG. A force flew from the strings, and the procuress was thrown away, smashing the table in the middle of the room. I said before, don't question my decision anymore. Is it because I'm not your original master, so what I say doesn't work? There was no longer a smile on Chun Yao's face, and she no longer concealed her aura which was full of malevolence. Your subordinate knows wrong. The procuress knelt and kowtowed. His soul is too tempting, I can't wait. As long as I devour his soul, I can fully regain my strength. Chun Yao said, but the current process is too slow, I can't wait. And my charm actually has no effect on that man, and that kid cares about him very much, it's troublesome to have him there. You will lead him away tomorrow, and then I will take him away while he is obsessed with me. Once she devoured the soul and then injected a new soul, no one would find it wrong. Yes, your subordinate understands. I'll make arrangements now. The procuress returned to her senses quickly and replied. Get the penalty after you arrange it. The voice coming from behind was icy cold. She knew what the punishment was, but she didn't dare to dally. What surprised them was that the only person who came the next day was Sima Yu, and the other three were not there. Chun Yao was surprised when she saw her. The procuress plan didn't seem to involve stopping the rest at the door. N/O/vel/B/. See you, why are you here alone? She smiled and poured tea for Yu. I snuck here on my own. Sima Yu smiled very proudly. Ling Yu always forbids me. It's too annoying to come along together. So I ran away and then came here on my own. Chun Yao, no one will hinder us. See you are so kind to Chun Yao. Chun Yao do not know how to repay you. Chun Yao said with bright eyes that looked as if she was extremely touched. Chun Yao will play a song for you. Yes. I like to listen to you playing the zither. I also went to listen to others to play it, but it didn't sound good. Now if I don't listen to you playing the zither for a day, I feel uncomfortable. Sima Yu said. Alright, then Chun Yao will play it for you. Chun Yao came to the zither and sat down and started playing. Sima Yu seemed to be in a drunk stupor and she didn't take a sip of the tea in her hand. After Chun Yao finished playing, she raised her head and smiled at Sima Yu. The cup in Yu's hand fell directly on the table, and the tea splashed out and wet her robes. PFFTT. Chun Yao laughed and said, Siyu, are you alright? Siyu felt embarrassed and hurriedly took out her handkerchief and wiped it. After she wiped it off, Chun Yao said, Siyu, do you want to go out and play with me? Go out to play? Where to? Sima Yu asked. You have been to Immortal Hex City for so many days, have you had a good time? It's alright, I went out during the day, but I didn't see anything interesting. Ling Yu also said that it's not fun here, and wanted to leave for other places. If I didn't insist on staying, I'm afraid I would have been taken away. Sima Yu pouted, very upset. Are you going back? Chun Yao was startled and blurted out. That's right. It's fortunate that I said something and he agreed to let me stay for 2 more days. Alas, what can I do when he really wants to take me away later? Sima Yu said in a very distressed manner. Chun Yao paused for a moment while she was pouring tea before she said regretfully, if you leave, Chun Yao will miss you. Why don't you go with me, I will redeem you. Sima Yu grabbed Chun Yao's hand. See you. Chun Yao looked at her with tears in her eyes, then took out her hand and said, See you can be so happy with the Chun Yao, but Chun Yao's contract is a death contract. It cannot be redeemed. There must be other ways. I'll talk to the procuress. Sima Yu said that she was going to find the procuress. See you, forget it. There is no way. Chun Yao said, forget it. We have wine today, so let us enjoy the precious time we have tonight. I know of a place to where there is a stunning view of the night. Then let's go. Sima Yu. I come back, I will find the procuress to redeem you. Alright. Chun Yao took her out and pointed to the tallest house behind and said, there is the tallest building. As long as you can reach the top, you can see the night view of Immortal Hex City. I didn't expect the tallest building to be here in Springbrook Pavilion. No wonder no one else knows this. Sima Yu looked at the top floor curiously, I will take you up. No way, you can only step forward here. I will take you there. Chun Yao took Sima Yu's hand, and the two started walking from the bottom to the top. The more Sima Yu went, the more uncomfortable she got, and her breathing became a bit heavy. This is actually a good place to cultivate, so you will feel a little uncomfortable. Chun Yao explained, is that so? Sima Yu had a little disbelief harbored deep down, but seeing Chun Yao smile, she suppressed the thoughts in her heart. However, Chun Yao is not tired at all. I often climb this, I've long been used to it. Chun Yao explained. The two came to the highest floor. Sima Yu came to the window and found that the scenery was really good. It's magnificent. It has a panoramic view of the entire city. Right? I used to come here when I was unhappy, when I couldn't support it. Looking at the scenery below, I felt relieved. Chun Yao said. Chun Yao also has unhappy moments. Well, it's natural that people will be unhappy at times, more so for people like us in this line. Chun Yao said sad, there are so many musical instruments here. Sima Yu saw that the room was filled with various musical instruments, such as flutes, lutes, and so on. See you, what I am actually good at is the flute. Let me play a piece for you. Alright. Chun Yao played a tune, and Sima Yu was shocked after listening to it. Listen well. See you, I want to ask you to do me a favor now, are you willing? Yes. I am willing to do anything you want me to do. Even if it is to sacrifice my life, my soul, I am willing. Sima Yu said. Chun Yao raised the corners of her mouth, waiting for these words. Are you really willing to give your soul to me? Chun Yao looked at her with eager eyes. Of course, when I saw you sad just now, my heart was all broken. If you really need my soul, I am willing to give it to you. Sima Yu said seriously. Then let's get out of here. Go to a place where you are willing to give me your soul. Chun Yao stretched out her hand. Sima Yu walked over, put her hand in hers and watched her open the space tunnel and let her in. When they came out again, she didn't know where it was anymore. I only knew it was a dark space, and Chun Yao was not by her side. Chun Yao? Where are you? She called out loudly, but the place was empty, and her voice floated far away. No one answered her. Chun Yao, where are you? Where are you? It's scary. Come out soon. See you, I'm so uncomfortable. Chun Yao's painful voice came from all around, seeming to be suffering some unbearable pain. Chun Yao, what's wrong with you? Chun Yao. See you, I am in pain, can you help me? Chun Yao, how can I save you? You said that you are willing to give your soul to me, really? Certainly. My current pain can only be relieved with your soul. Then take my soul. Sima Yu shouted, how can I give you my soul? You grab my hand, and when I call your name and ask if you are willing, you have to say yes. After Chun Yao finished speaking, a faint shadow appeared in front of Sima Yu. She stretched out her hand to Sima Yu and said, come on, put your hand in my hand. Sima Yu put her hand in her hand. Chun Yao looked at her and said, see you, are you willing to dedicate your soul to me? I am willing. Chun Yao smiled, and when she saw that Sima Yu's body radiated a little light, her eyes became joyful. But then all those joys turned into consternation. Those light specks did not gather into the soul as before, but all returned to her body. It failed? How could it be? She frowned, seeing Sima Yu's eyes had lost all focus, and said again, see you, are you willing to dedicate your soul to me? I'm willing. Sima Yu said in a trance. The light specks came out of her body again, and more than last time, and slowly gathered together. Chun Yao's hanging heart finally fell, but the smile at the corner of her mouth froze before it fully bloomed. Those light specks all returned to the body again. How is this possible? She looked at the light specks in surprise. Could it be that Siyu's soul was too special, so this method was useless for him? Why is it impossible? Sima Yu's voice rang in her ears, and Chun Yao only noticed her. She looked at herself with a smile at the corner of her mouth, her eyes clear. Where was the dazed and sluggish look from before? Are you awake? How is this possible? As I said before, why is it impossible? Chun Yao felt a sudden control on her hand and was dragged and pulled hard. Her body involuntarily flew out and came to Sima Yu. It really wasn't in the same space. Sima Yu murmured, but, we are together now. Chun Yao was thrown staggered and almost fell to the ground. She turned her head and saw Sima Yu staring straight at her. You haven't been charmed by me, she said affirmatively. Your level of sound attack has no effect on me yet. Sima Yu said. Impossible. With your strength, how can it be possible to maintain clarity while charmed? Chun Yao didn't believe it. In the beginning, she played a general bewildering sound attack. The flute played at the end was the bewitching charm attack. As long as one listens to the entire song, one will be fascinated. As long as the mental power is strong enough. Sima Yu said her thoughts, although I am not very strong, but my mental power is good. I'm sorry, I didn't fall into your trap. You haven't been obsessed with me from the beginning. Chun Yao said, you have always pretended. That's right. There is such a handsome person around like Ling Yu, why should I put you in my eye? You like men. Chun Yao gritted her teeth, but even if you like men, you can't stop my sound attack. As long as you are a man, you can't stop it. Who said I am a man? Sima Yu took off the ring and immediately recovered her feminine body. I am a woman worthy of the name. If you used an attack meant for both man and woman, maybe I will be caught in a pickle for a while. You turned out to be a woman. Chun Yao was surprised, and felt a raging anger and shame of being deceived. She was deceived by a woman. She didn't even realize that she was a woman. How could she do this? Also, I am not called Siyu, so no matter how you call my name, it is useless. Sima Yu said, my name is Sima Yu. Sima Yu. The Sima Yu? Yup, the Sima Yu. Sima Yu replied, I didn't expect to meet the young princess of the ghost realm in this place. Chun Yao calmed down at this moment, looking at Sima Yu, and stood up. However, your soul is really tempting. Although it is not our purpose to take the soul forcibly, the soul injury will also affect the effect of the soul. But now there is no other way. And as long as I take your soul and put another souls into your body, then the young princess of the ghost realm will be ours. You are too optimistic. Do you know who was the last person who wanted to devour my soul before and what was his end? Who is it? You do, my uncle, son of ghost concubine was killed by me, even his soul did not escape. Sima Yu said, although I don't know what happened then, but when you encounter our charm, don't even think of evading it. You are alone and dealing with you doesn't require any effort. Chun Yao said, aren't you curious, why did I follow you here, why? She really didn't think about it just now, but now when she heard Sima Yu's question, she remembered this question. Of course it is to find your hiding place. If you don't lead the way, can we find this place? Sima Yu smiled at her, and, who told you that I came alone? Chun Yao laughed when she heard what Sima Yu said, I really didn't think that the majestic princess of the ghost realm would be willing to put herself in danger just to capture us. However, did you really think that you would be able to obtain any useful information just by coming here? That you would still have any contact with the outside world after coming here? Sima Yu looked at her but didn't say anything. Do you know where this place is? Chun Yao asked. Where? Sima Yu really did want to know. This is a space that we established. Those on the outside have no way to find this place, much less even know about its existence. Once you're in here, neither heaven nor hell will respond to your cries. Chun Yao kept her eye on Sima Yu the entire time, wanting to see the look of terror on her face. However, she was disappointed. The look in Sima Yu's eyes didn't even change. It was as if her words carried no threat to her. Do you know what kind of situation you are in right now? Chun Yao asked. Of course. Sima Yu nodded, this place is thoroughly isolated from the outside world. Your people can't enter this place. Are you so sure you can continue to survive? Do you know how many people we have here? Of course I do. Sima Yu said confidently, I never said before that my people were going to come in from the outside. What do you mean? Seeing how confident she was, Chunyao didn't know how she could continue keeping a straight face even when faced with a situation like this. Exactly what I said. Sima Yu said, but I have to thank you for telling me where this place is. After saying this, she waved her hand and Wu Lingyu, Black Shadow and Huan appeared beside her. You guys. Chunyao looked in surprise at the three people who suddenly appeared. It turns out that they didn't leave at all but had remained by her side the entire time. That was true. She had been faking the entire time, which proved that she had seen through him a long time ago. How could she possibly have come here all by herself? She just never thought that Sima Yu would actually have a space that would be able to contain life. She took out her bamboo flute and looked at the four of them, calculating what the chances would be of her escape. As long as she could leave this place, she would be able to contact the people outside, trying to escape. Black Shadow saw her body retreat and immediately stepped forward, snatching the bamboo flute from her hand before imprisoning her body. A thread of black mist came from his body, and it wound itself around Chunyao's arms and legs, rendering her immobile. Furthermore, it was unknown what attributes his black mist had, but it was actually able to suppress her soul energy. This was specially brought here to imprison your soul clan. Black Shadow said hatefully. This woman was simply too hateful. She actually used a method that was so ruthless. It was a good thing that Huan had beat him into his senses on the first day. Otherwise, he would have done something even more embarrassing. Seeing her now, he didn't have any feelings of protectiveness like he had before. He only wanted to, he couldn't even say what he would do to her. Chunyao heard the words Soul Clan and her body shook. She even trembled with fear. She looked at them, and everyone's expression told her that they had already known. My body is exactly the same as those from the Ghost Clan. How did you find out? Is there really a need to explain something so simple? Your hand. The moment I touched it, I realized. Sima Yu said, however, I wasn't that sure before. Your reaction though, she had already admitted it herself. They actually said it to trap her. Chunyao grit her teeth with hatred. These people were too good at acting. I was wondering before, whether you guys were talking about all those from the Soul Clan or just some terrible powers. Right now, I'm already definitely certain. Sima Yu said. Chunyao wanted to speak, but Black Shadow had covered her mouth. Even if you were to speak now, you wouldn't say anything useless. I don't want to listen to rubbish. Black Shadow, I'll leave this to you. Leave this to me? No way, right? You want me to torture her? Although I hate her, to do something like torturing a woman is something I cannot do. Who asked you to torture her? Just kill her. What rubbish are you spouting? Are you trying to pick a fight? Can you beat me? Could he beat him? However, who else would kill someone apart from him? That left the princess. Could he let this little princess do something like killing someone? After doing some calculations here and there, he felt like he was the only one who could go and get it done. As such, under the watchful eyes of the three of them, he slowly took out a knife and came in front of Chunyao. You want to say that we don't know anything, and haven't interrogated you either. How could we just kill you like that? Chunyao's eyes went wide. She wanted to say something, but Black Shadow stabbed a knife straight into her heart. Ugh. The sharp pain forced her mind awake, and she could feel her body transforming slowly, and body slowly turning into a spirit. She felt her life force slowly drain away, and her consciousness slowly disappeared. We can do it now. She heard Sima Yu's voice and hazily watched as she walked in front of her. Sima Yu grabbed her shoulders, and she didn't know what she was going to do to her. Suddenly, she felt a sharp pain in her brain and her consciousness was invaded. She actually invaded her mind. Chunyao's thoughts were stuck there forever. She wanted to ask how this person could do something like that, but it was a pity that she could never speak those words. Sima Yu retrieved her consciousness and released Chunyao's dead body. She watched as she slowly transformed into a raw of light, disappearing into thin air forever. How was it? Did you discover anything? Black Shadow asked. These people, though they are from Seoul region, are from a place where they prioritize sound attacks. Sima Yu said, however, these people have no relationship with Su-Yi. Although that's the case, they aren't predisposed towards those from Ghost Realm either. Since we've discovered them, we might as well get rid of these people too. Those from the Soul Clan had unexpectedly set up their own space outside Immortal Hex City. It was clear that they had been here for a very long time, and had already grown a lot. To root out a power like this was not going to be an easy feat. It was a good thing that she had obtained a large name list from Chunyao's mind. She would first capture them all then interrogate them. She would then be able to obtain even more information. Let's leave this place first. Huan said, I'm guessing that there will be quite a few people here, and it might take quite a bite of energy to defeat them. Both Black Shadow and himself were experts at killing people, which was why most of their moves were lethal. The type that would kill with a single strike. If they were to take them alive, they would have to hold back and would take a longer time. Sima Yu left the same way Chunyao had. Standing outside, she looked behind only to realize that this space was merely the size of a few rooms. It was surrounded by dense black mist, so she couldn't see clearly what the inside looked like. This is the place where those from the Soul region remove souls from the Ghost Clan. If we remove souls here, we can make sure that they stay alive for a few minutes. As long as we place special souls into the body during this window of time, we will be able to transform it into another person. However, this is a secret art and cannot be used in high numbers. Otherwise, it will really give us a headache. However, even if that was the case, the numbers were shocking enough. Also, many of them were still those from Immortal Hex City. She could help settle the issues for Immortal Hex City right now, but as for the other things, she probably had to leave it to Deja and the others to deal with. She felt like she was becoming more competent at being a little princess. Who is it? Someone discovered their presence and shouted. Those people realized that the 4 people who suddenly appeared were not their own people and immediately shouted. We have intruders. Guards, hurry and notify the palace We were discovered so quickly. It seems like the people here are a little powerful. Very quickly, they heard sounds of people coming over, so Huan went to help as well. Wu Lingyu protected Sima Yu and stood far away, not allowing those people to get near them. He flew into midair, and the limitless water from the river of oblivion flew from his palms. Glub, glub. Those people sank to the bottom of the water and had bellies full of water. By the time they swam out, Theory was on their last breath and had lost all consciousness. As they fought, Sima Yu raised her head and looked to the sky. The overcast sky didn't look very realistic. She flew into midair with a single jump and gathered some spirit energy on her palm. With Mi-air's power added into it, a ray of light flashed with a single move from her. Boom dash. The space they created started to crumble, and those who rushed over from outside looked at Sima Yu with rage. A few shrimps attacked Sima Yu and Sima Yu called out Onyx. She lost control over this guy long ago and he was already crying out inside the space. Very quickly, the entire space crumbled completely. All the buildings were completely destroyed and landed on the ground. Everyone in here also appeared. Pai Ling knew that Sima Yu would act this night, so she had long since waited with her troops. The moment she heard sounds of activity, she rushed over with her people. Sima Yu saw Pai Ling and said, "You've come just in time. We've already dealt with these people, so get your men to tie them up. Have you already built the prison that I got you to?" "We've already built it based on your request," Pai Ling said. The prison that Sima Yu got Pai Ling to build was good for suppressing those from the Soul Clan. They made full use of the tight timeline and finally managed to finish building it. "How are things over at Springbrook Pavilion?" "After you left, our men went to capture every single one of them. We locked them up together with the guests." Sima Yu noted and did not have any specific orders, so Pai Ling picked a point person to capture everyone lying on the ground. The activity here quickly drew the attention of the people who were around. In order to avoid startling the enemy beforehand, Pai Ling gave some other reasons, but in short did not point in the direction of the Soul region. After Wu Lingyu, Black Shadow and the others returned, the 4 of them quietly returned to the inn. Black Shadow and Huan saw the people sitting in the hall, then said a few words before returning to their rooms. "You went to cause trouble? How was it causing trouble?" Sima Yu refuted, "I went today to do something big. You caused such a huge commotion outside the city, so yes, it was definitely big." Deja said, "You actually dared to run over to where the Soul Clan gathers. You're really rather bold. Thanks for your compliment, cousin." Sima Yu replied gleefully, "I didn't realize it before, but you're really quite shameless." Deja said. Was he praising her? She actually dared to reply to him like that. "In this aspect, I'm the same as cousin. Didn't I ask you to wait for me in Western City? You actually selfishly went to do something so dangerous again." Deja saw that Sima Yu was still beaming at him, and he couldn't take his anger out on her, so he looked at Wu Lingyu, saying, "You were beside her, couldn't you stop her?" Wu Lingyu became the target of his anger and said lightly, "As long as she's happy." "You." Deja wanted to point out that he was a devil king but was actually messing around with her, but when he saw the romantic look that they exchanged, he swallowed his words. Seeing how they were acting, they wouldn't listen to him no matter what he said. He was too lazy to waste his words. Anyway, it was fine as long as she was okay. He saw that the 2 of them didn't pay him any heed, so he coughed lightly and said, "The 2 of you better quit while you're ahead." Sima Yu walked to the side and sat down, saying, "Cousin, why did you rush over so quickly? I thought that you would only be able to come over after quite some time had passed. With you here, could I afford to tarry? I just sent some orders down and came over." Deja said, "Also, this situation is rather important. I was just wondering why they kept bothering me recently. They were probably trying to get me to overlook this place." Sima Yu told him about what happened that night. Deja was rather familiar with the powers over in Soul region, so he knew immediately who they were talking about. The Enchanted Music sect is a huge power in Soul region. They actually dare to reach their hands over to our side? Humph, I better teach them a good lesson this time. However, I'm guessing that they won't admit to things so easily. Let me teach you how to intrude into their minds. This way, you won't have to interrogate them slowly. Sima Yu said. She felt like her idea wasn't bad. If Deja could learn it, she could throw the whole thing to him. Ha ha ha. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Deja didn't know what she was thinking and thought about how she was willing to teach him this method, so he was even touched. However, after learning the method and interrogating each and every single one, he finally realized that she wasn't really that kind-hearted after all. She merely taught him this so she wouldn't have to do this herself. As such, he came to look for DE and DR as well, teaching them how to do it. He got them to interrogate those people and to take the information from their minds. DE and DR learned how to do it and it made the subsequent interrogations a lot more effective. They also managed to obtain quite a bit of information. After Sima Yu imparted the method to Deja, she immediately handed him the task of interrogation. Just give me the tasks involving the Enchanted Music sect. Deja said, it would be better if you interacted less with those from the Soul sect right now, got it? Her soul was just too attractive right now. If not because she was Young Ant's daughter, even he might have attacked her. Much less needed to be said for the Soul clan that was obsessed about souls. He was just afraid that she wouldn't be able to protect herself. That was why it was better for her to avoid interacting with those people at all. Sima Yu knew that her soul was very delicious as well and wasn't strong enough right now. She wouldn't interact with those people for no reason. Cousin, the general from the Soul clan. Have you met him before? Sima Yu asked. I've seen him before from afar. Deja muttered lightly, that person depends upon his powerful underworld beast and has provoked me many times. Recently he escaped when things got bad. He isn't a big deal. But I heard that he's very powerful. Sima Yu didn't believe him. She saw his expression and it looked like he had suffered quite a bit in his hands. You still don't believe me? I don't. Sima Yu replied to him honestly. About the incidents involving Western Verge City and Immortal Hex City. Sima Yu saw that he was about to rage, so she hurriedly changed the subject. What did you find out? I didn't find out anything. Sima Yu said, those people are very careful. Although I am already certain, those people have already been completely befuddled by the Soul clan. However, I haven't found the person who is controlling them. Tell me who those people are and leave the rest to me. Deja said. Alright. Sima Yu was very happy that he enjoyed doing everything himself. This way, she wouldn't have to bother about anything. There was no way Deja didn't know what she was thinking. However, he couldn't bear to and didn't want her to interfere in anything related to the Soul clan. It was enough to let her pass her days happily. Tell me everything you know. Then, continue to use your scarlet bees to keep an eye on the situation. If you have any news, just let me know. Deja said. Sima Yu thought about it, then took out a scarlet bee and handed it to him, saying, this is a scarlet queen bee that just emerged. Although it is not as powerful as mine, it will still produce some scarlet bees. You just have to form a contract with it and you will be able to form a link with all the scarlet bees under it. Scarlet would produce new queen bees after a period of time. The new queen bees would take some bees with it and leave, starting a new hive. A few scarlet queens had already been produced in her spirit pagoda. However, they could not be compared to the one she had. She had the real scarlet queen, the queen of 10,000 bees. You want to give it to me? Deja looked at those scarlet bees a little excitedly. He knew that Sima Yu used scarlet bees to scout for information and was envious that she had formed a contract with such a useful beast. He didn't think that she would actually gift him with one. I don't have much use for the ones that Scarlet produced. Sima Yu said, this way, your bees can scout for information and you will know at the first instance. This is definitely useful to me. I won't hold back then. Deja took the scarlet bee and immediately formed a contract. Later on, Sima Yu took out his scarlet bees, you don't have a contract with these. If you have no space for them, then let them follow you outside. They have a connection with the queen bee. If you tell it anything, they will know as well. There's no need to go through so much trouble. Deja said, keeping the scarlet bees away. It turns out that he had his own space that could contain life. Then you can go ahead and investigate on your own. I won't keep my bees, they'll just keep an eye on the situation. Sima Yu said. Alright. Deja replied. Although she kept throwing this issue to him and washed her hands off this matter, she still cared quite a bit about it. Oh, the sky is turning bright already. Cousin, you must be tired after rushing all the way here. Why don't you go ahead and rest? Sima Yu said. Deja stood up, I still want to discuss the current situation with Pai Ling. You should stay here. Don't run about for the time being, got it? Cousin, what are you worried about? Although Su Yu will deal with the arrangements for this, it might still be nearby. They love eating souls and are very sensitive to souls. If they discover you, it will bring you a lot of trouble. I got it. Sima Yu replied, The steward here is one of my men. That is why you don't need to worry about what happens tonight. Deja left and the people in the house left with him. The inn was finally quiet again. Sima Yu heaved a sigh and muttered, cousin looks too fierce when he's serious. Wu Lingyu laughed, he's worried about you. I know that too. Otherwise, I would have sent him flying with a punch. Sima Yu sighed, however, this is good. With him here, I can leave it to him and don't have to worry about anything. Wu Lingyu saw her smile. Although she didn't have to bother with this, she definitely wouldn't ignore it completely. She merely didn't have to take the responsibility and was able to relax. She returned to her own room to rest. Sima Yu slept till noon the next day. When she woke up, she saw a black-faced Wu Lingyu as well as Mou, who was leisurely drinking tea. N/O/vel/b/. She furrowed her eyebrows. These two people were too powerful. She actually didn't notice that they were here at all. When did my room become a place where you guys could enter and leave as you pleased? She sat up and looked at the two of them solemnly. Wu Lingyu glared at Mou. He had only noticed this guy after he had entered Yu's room. He had wanted to chase him out, but he would definitely wake her if the two of them started fighting. Hence, he could only glare at him. Mou ignored how angry Sima Yu was and said while looking at her, I want a scarlet bee too. That Deja. Last night, he had shown off the fact that Sima Yu had given him a scarlet bee the moment he returned. He was so smug and deserved a beating. Why did you come here to join in the fun? Sima Yu rolled her eyes at him. You even gave him one. I want one too so he stops coming to me to show off. Mou said. Sima Yu pursed her lips. Deja actually went to do something so pointless, he actually ran over there to show off. And she was even more speechless towards this person in front of her. He was an old man who had lived for so many years, and he had actually run over here to ask her for something just because of this. Where was his sense of pride? Previous chapter.